if you dump your util correctly, you're gonna kill all four.
कर
Doesn't
दिया कर
really
दिया
matter.
मैं वो
You know, that
जरा
confidence
इंस्टाग्राम पे
and
डाल
that
रहा था
unbelievability is gonna be a big thing for us throughout the season for sure.
You know, during these trials, every time that I would watch Kelly IGL, he would be like getting the new players that he hadn't played with involved in sort of like the culture of the team, even though it's just like, you know, 3 scrims or whatever. He'd be like bringing them in, like making plays for them,
अभी मेरा एक
hyping
और
them
दोस्त
up.
आएगा ज्वाइन करेगा
And that's the type of leadership that you really need on team. And on top of that, being a former duelist, he's not afraid to make plays, right? He's not afraid to be like, all right, something needs to happen. I'm the only person in position. I'm going to make this play for my team.
Yeah, I mean the thing is too, like at the end of the day, like this is turning into a game where like your IGL has to be able to frag. You can't. No offense, right? Like FNS, Boaster, these guys, the whole community knows them. Obviously, they struggle sometimes with individual talent. They're great IGLs, great leaders. Don't get it twisted. But you see them struggling a little bit, where like if they had a little bit more talent, etc., then it would be a little bit easier for their teams. And so I feel like that as a whole, like Kelly has also fragged hard. Like he did really well in the trials as far as individually as well, not just leading.
When it comes to the trials, are there any missed opportunities that we regret?
No,
2 मिनट में हो रहा
no,
चालू
we
मैच
got most people. Almost every.
What's up,
The
what's
only
up,
thing I
what's up?
regret is Nah, I don't even regret it now.
What's
Like I
up, buddy?
did
बढ़िया.
when we didn't get the player we wanted.
मैच
I
हो गई
regretted
चालू?
it, but now that I see the team we
नहीं
have and
नहीं
like the players and how they're playing together, nah,
अबे
zero
भाई
regrets whatsoever.
कितना
Not even a little.
भाई
And that
सुन
regret
के
was regarding
पागल हो
Grumble,
गया
wasn't
भाई
it?
ये.
Yeah,
15
yeah,
मिनट
that
से ये
Grumble,
बोके
just
जा
his
रहे
own
हैं.
personal reasons for why he couldn't. But yeah, he obviously he's a great sentinel. I used to coach him in
ठीक है
LB.
ना,
क्या
कल
So I have
जीते
a,
कल जीते ना
decent
bro.
prediction
relationship with
क्या
him
है?
in
Prediction
general.
क्या है?
But
E 2-0.
now seeing Udaton on Sentinel,
I
but
think
nah,
Naos is a
I
very good
this guy,
competitor.
just telling you
Maybe
right
मतलब
now,
2-0 हो सकता है, but
Udaton is about
एकदम
to
ऐसा एकदम कट टू कट हो सकता है, कट टू
to do
कट.
very very well.
हाँ मतलब
एक
कल
तो
भी
मैप
कट्टू कट्टी हुआ था एक
All
मैप
right,
हाँ हाँ
I like
एक
the
मैप
match
enthusiasm.
कट्टू कट्टू
हाँ
हुआ.
आज का एक मैप तो एटलीस्ट मेरे को लग रहा है OT जाएगा.
You know,
Let's
the
see.
buyout was pretty high.
अगर
as
नहीं
mentioned.
गया तो
Obviously
then
for
props to
Neos,
G,
they were losing
they're
one of
working
their
fine.
star players and
But
backbone
उन
of
लोग
their
ने आज
team.
वो सारे उन लोग
So
ने मैप
a lot
छोड़
of
दिया है ना भाई, हम
negotiations
लोग
took
सारे मैप
place
खेलेंगे.
until we finally agreed on a number. You know, both of us were
भाई
happy.
तेरी स्ट्रीम
To
बंद
be
हो गई
fair,
क्या?
नहीं नहीं
I
मैंने
think
ऑल
Bambi
टाइप
is
किया था मैं
going to
नाउ
be like
सर्च कर
the
रहा
top
था
two. You know, I really like. I know we are not supposed to have favorites, but he's like one of my favorite players in all of APAC, not just in our team. And I think he's going to do really well.
What is the team philosophy going to be like?
Yeah, as far as like in-game stuff for me, it's like I tell my players this consistently: is like ask for forgiveness, not permission. Make your play and I'll fix it later, right? Don't ever be afraid
भाई
to play.
पर इस
Don't ever
ये
have
वाले
any fear.
पॉडकास्ट में जो
Just
बोला
play
ना
fearlessly.
भाई
Because in this game, like, just take a look at
जुवेनाइल जो
Sentinels
बोला ना
at
कि
Champs,
रोसी
right?
भाई
When
टॉप
they
3 में
played
भी नहीं
groups against
आया था.
Gen G the first time. If you watch,
मतलब
अरे
like
उसका
if you
हाथ
remember this
टूटा हुआ
exact
था भाई,
Haven
नहीं
round. So
पता है
Haven
तेरे
on
को.
C.
नहीं भाई मुझे
Tens
पता
is
नहीं
crouched in a
था.
corner, the other
हाथ
guy's
टूटा हुआ
crouched
है
in a
हाथ
इनका,
corner.
टूटा हुआ
इधर
This
भी
उसका
crouched
खेला
in the
हुआ था.
corner is just
अच्छा
waiting and hiding, right?
बट
And they
ठीक
just
है
get
ना,
run
फिर
down.
भी वो
They just jet
खेला
dashes
बहुत
in, they get
अच्छी बात है. और
overflash, and
वो
they're dead, right? In
ठीक है.
this game, like you have to play with no fear. Don't play scared.
मेन
एक्सपेक्टेशन
Play to
मतलब
win,
हाँ
not to
ठीक
मेन
lose.
है.
The team
टेक्नो
who won
वैन
champs
का
last year, they're gonna go back
फ्यूचर
there.
है
भाई
They've
कल
arguably
इंडिया
कल
won
के.
the grand
कल
finals.
वैंका बहुत
They're gonna
बढ़िया
see
खेला.
tons of mistakes.
वैन
It's
का
gonna
बैंक
be
का
सेकंड
the
मैच
बहुत
team
में
बढ़िया
it's
खेला
the team who makes the less mistakes and the team who
सेकंड मैच नहीं
capitalizes
थोड़ा
on the
पिटा
other
सेकंड
people's
मैच
success.
फर्स्ट मैच तो
My
भाई
best thing
फाड़
was
गया
like
लेकिन उसने
obviously talking big about the
फर्स्ट
team
मैच
and all that
कड़क
kind of stuff, but
खेला.
that's because I have real
वैन का
expectations. Like
खेला
I
वहाँ पे
wouldn't
टॉप
say this if I
एमवीपी था
didn't
वहाँ
believe
का.
it. I wouldn't say like we're gonna be this or that if
सर्वर
I
का
didn't
टॉप
really
वैंका
believe
का
it.
एस भी
Yeah,
अच्छा
and then
था.
as far as
एस
any
वैंका
hate,
का
bro,
हुआ है
like
ना.
fans, just send it to me. I'll take your hate. Don't send it to the players. These
वैंका
are
ने
young kids,
वैंका
man.
ने
These are
ये
young
हाँ
kids.
मारा था
You
वो
don't
हेवन
need
में
to
मारा
bother.
था
Hey,
जंप
send it to
करके
me. I'm the
हेवन
one
से
making the decisions. I'm the one that picked the players. I'm the one doing everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is a brand new day. It's a brand new day to celebrate
finally
and
चालू.
watch global esports once again. I'm Universe.
भाई
With
माइक
me this
बंद है
time
यूनिवर्स
I've
का.
got
Nice.
my host brother Komodo. He's here all the way from Australia after a long, hard day of work, but never too tired to watch some
माइक बंद
Valorant
है
too.
माइक
No,
कहाँ बंद
that's
है
it,
भाई?
mate. You
Start-
guys know I
start
live
में
and breathe
बनता मैं
Valorant.
उसका.
You guys know that I traveled, for it to India once
बोल
upon a
रहा
time
था.
as well last year. So I was really excited
कुछ बोल
to
रहा
be
था,
able
फिर बाद
to
में चल
jump
रहा.
on board with everyone here at Global, with yourself as well, to see what the haps is, to see what's going on with this new Global Esports, to see and be a part of this face-off event. It's for you guys out there, right? So I'm really excited to be a part of this one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what we've got in store for everybody today as well, because it is been, quite the unfortunate stance that we couldn't get any other off-season event that came in the way. And of course, now we've got our own, and we've started off. Yesterday was, OG, who we did play, of course, from South Asia. And today we're going to be playing another team. And if you've not been following our socials, just wait for a little bit. We're going to be revealing who exactly it is. But if you want to know right now, then you might want to go follow Global Esports on Instagram and Twitter. And there it is. Okay, never mind. As I said, my producer has made it easier for you guys. It is going to be Naos, guys, ladies and gentlemen, facing off against Global Esports today, all the way from the Philippines. Well, there's a bit of history here, isn't there, Komodo?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for this. I would call it a grudge match in a degree, right? Because you've got 3 core members coming from Naus's home region, ex-players on it. They've played together before. So I think, and this is what I'm going to I'm alluding to it right now, there might be a little bit more pressure on a couple of these members from Global Esports just because they are playing their ex-comrades.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree, because we do have, one of their members right now sitting in this boot camp instead of that. Poppy, of course, who was on Naos for a good amount of time, has transitioned, and it's going to be a really interesting, I would say even emotional sort of kind of matchup going up against his ex-teammate. How is he going to be feeling about that? Is the pressure going to get to him because of that and stuff like that? We're going to find out. But what do you think? Do you feel like we're going to see Poppy step up against his own countrymen?
There's definitely an opportunity to. I mean, I'm always interested when we see players swapping roles within a team, players swapping teams as well. When you do play against players that were on your team once upon a time, you kind of have an idea of their tendencies and their tricks. You know what to expect from them. So it comes down to, can I counter them? Will they counter me? There's a lot of adaptation that we actually need to see within the server itself. And this is going to be a big proving ground in this, I'll call it trial environment that this face-off event is giving us right now for preparation and practice into these games.
Absolutely. And here's the 2 teams in their glory. Of course, you are going to be watching a lot of good Valorant. Now, the only thing that you guys need to remember about this Global Esports side is that yesterday was, of course, kind of a rocky start. Even Juvie mentioned that, it wasn't what he was expecting, especially given the fact that they were also playing off against a rather new squad in Orangutan themselves. Right? We're from, I think, just about 2 months before, this Global Esports side came to life. So, first game, they played on Haven, wasn't really that great. They did end up winning it. Required a lot of clutches from, I believe you're a big fan of him, Crystal. He ended up having a clutch, I think 2, maybe 3 rounds to finish it off 13-11.
December में होने वाला था,
Sunset.
but
That comfort and confidence kind of just, blast onto the scene, and they were just like, alright, we've got control of this game now.
Yeah, we're seemingly seeing a lot of repetitive agent selections when it comes onto those 2 maps.
पता अब क्या होता है? इस दिसंबर में होने वाला था, but कुछ तो problem हो गया ऑफिस में, कुछ हो गया, क्या सीन हुआ? उन्होंने कहा कि मतलब पोस्ट पे डाला था ना, टीसी पे डाला था पोस्ट, वो बताया ना अभी तक, वो बोले तगड़ी टीम है, एकदम तगड़ी टीम है। लास्ट ईयर 2 बहुत कड़क टीम से वाइटैलिटी और फुट स्पोर्ट्स, इस बार बोले उनसे भी तगड़ी टीम है।
Here
I don't know, maybe Bangalore,
kind of dragging them through the mud a little bit on that Neon. But you flip it on over for Global Esports as well, and it's the first map essentially. There's going to be some realizations that they need to come out with, and that was the perfect map to start it off. They shake off the nerves.
ये सीरीज कहाँ से आ गया? TC इस गेम में थोड़ी है।
अरे TC में काम करता हूँ।
You did what before with them? ये क्या है? Yeah, I mean, I feel like Sunset, OG kind of started doing a little bit of repetitive stuff, and to kind of get them out of it. He was also mentioned yesterday by Yudo-tan that he was doing a lot of secondary calling. So why don't we just get him on right now?
Favorite guide का होती है इस टीम में।
Welcome to Global Esports and welcome right now to the desk.
Yes. देखो मैं वहाँ पे अब खुद का इवेंट होगा तो SEKIRO ऑफ आएगा तो उसको भेज दूँगा, मेरे पास पड़ा होगा पास।
Yeah, we can hear you now.
उनका ऐसे में होना तो मेरे को गॉसिप पे सारा मेरे को मटेरियल डालना पड़ेगा। Last time पे नहीं था। I joined in March.
Good. Alright, how was yesterday was a bit of a tough day, yeah? The first game a little shaky, but second game really good, and you were doing a good job. How do you feel about day 2?
Yeah, yesterday we started having a good,
education क्या किया?
मैंने डिग्री की है बैचलर्स इन गेम डिजाइन।
But we fix it on second map.
And मैं esports and content creation industry में 3 साल से हूँ।
Right.
So
Abhi
Crystal,
full-time
it's
कर
good
रहा हूँ,
to
work
see
from
you again. Of course, I followed you through Scars, through She Like
Bachelor of
Gaming. Now
Gaming
you're
कहाँ
into
से किया?
Global
Max से?
Esports.
इंदौर,
Finally,
इंदौर,
welcome
इंदौर।
into Tier
नहीं,
1. But for
नहीं,
you
Academy।
specifically,
नहीं,
how
Mac में
different have you had to adapt through all these
गाली मत
different
दे।
teams and changing styles and changing
Hey,
leadership?
Team
How has
चालू है।
that kind of
Uh,
changed the
okay,
way
so-
you attack?
मना
Let's
Valorant?
keep
किया
it
हुआ है।
family
वो तो
friendly.
हाँ
Was
नहीं
different.
उसको
I
स्ट्रीम पे ही वो
think
सब है बोला गया
not different,
Right
but
से थे
you
सब।
know it's
इतना तो म्यूट ही हो जाए।
because
और कल पता है कॉपीराइट आया था हल्का सा एक
किसका?
ऑडियो, पता नहीं कौन सी
किसका?
ऑडियो प्ले कर दी थी। एक बंदा बैठा था पीछे में हमारा दोस्त,
हाँ।
तो उसने कुछ ऑडियो प्ले कर दी, कल कॉपीराइट आया था।
for me it's so hard.
हटा दिया फिर मैंने वो तो।
Yeah, you mentioned yesterday as well, right? That on Sunday.
भाई एक तो YouTube
especially,
बहुत
you did a lot of
क्रेजी है भाई,
securing
कुछ भी
calls. Are you
कॉपीराइट देता है। मैं
comfortable
साइलेंट हिल
with
2
that?
खेल रहा,
You've been in Nigeria for so
उसके
long.
अंदर
Are you
रेंज
doing,
साउंड पे कॉपीराइट आ गया कि
what you
रेंज साउंड भी
comfortable to
किसी
do
और ने ले
security
ली है।
calls with Kelly, yes?
क्या?
हाँ
कोई
It's perfect for me, you know. I can more
कुछ
focus
भी।
on my aim.
मैंने कहा भाई क्यों, रेंज
भाई
साउंड तो
बारिश
गेम
हो
की
रहा
है,
So yeah,
इस पे कौन कॉपीराइट मार रहा है भाई। पता नहीं, फिर मैंने वो क्लियर किया, फिर वापस दूसरी बार फिर आगे कि आगे के सेगमेंट में और थोड़ी बारिश की ऑडियो।
So after,
मैंने कहा भाई छोड़ दो यार। मैं
victory, have you
Gaming,
had some inner reflection and realized
I-
what you need to be bringing more towards
Konami
today's
fell
game?
down a
Do you feel a little bit more of the pressure relaxing
it's
too
okay,
because you've had
sorry,
that
sorry,
first game out of the way?
भाई ये तो गाली देके सीधा वो
yeah,
कर
I
रहा
feel
है।
a bit pressure, but you know.
अरे
इतनी आवाज तो नहीं जा रही, मैंने डिस्कॉर्ड की कम ही रखी है।
already realized
Yes.
that
कल के बाद
I
से मैंने कम ही रख दी। मैंने कल
so just
Mumble voice,
focus and
mumble.
it will be not hard for us.
Yeah, there's
चालू
one
कर
thing I
यार,
wanted to ask
पकड़ है
you. You know,
भाई।
a lot of people
भाई
love
Chris-
the way you play in general. Like you
Proper
are
Russian
one of the
भाई,
clutch
proper
kings
Russian.
of Asia
गाली देख
completely,
के
right?
समझ जा,
You know,
देखा
you've
दलाल
been
की
showing
लगा
that
लो।
since back when you were in Scars. And
उसका
right
आंखें
now,
देख भाई,
what goes to your
full
mind
blue,
during a
blue
clutch, like
play।
1v2, 1v2? Even yesterday, you had 2 1v2 clutches. Like,
एकदम
Yeah,
what do you
subscription-
think in a clutch? What do you usually
सब्सक्रिप्शन
go
दे
for?
दे ट्विच वाले बंदों को भाई, आके खेल लो।
Honestly, it's like automatically. Usually
क्या
I don't
करेगा
think in
तू?
clutches, you know, it's just automatically.
सपोर्ट
But
सपोर्ट
main
है, हैशटैग
point
जी
I think
विनिंग।
just, 1v2,
विनिंग तो ठीक है
it's
बट
try to find duel 1v1.
Good.
Try to don't pick
कल को ये
boss guy
फेमस
to
होगा,
get
यहाँ से मेरी क्लिप
this
किसने वायरल
hard.
कर दी तो।
And so just best point for me, just fight 1v1.
डाल दो यहाँ पे लिंक, आ जाओ यूट्यूब पे आ जाओ। ये छोड़ो ट्विच छोड़ो, मेरे चैनल पे आओ।
नहीं बना के है ना तेरे को
showcase
promote।
what this new global esports is
डिलीट कर
looking
देंगे
like
तेरा
to the
वो
world.
चैट बॉक्स।
But for
mod
you,
पर तेरा
what are
chat
you
box।
looking to personally get
अरे
from
mod
this
mod
week
mod को
long
भी
event?
सैलरी वैलरी मिलती है ना?
I think just practice
पता
our
नहीं,
tactic because we can
इसको
check
पता होगा।
कई लोग उसके लिए भी काम करते हैं ना, क्या बोलते हैं,
what tactic good or
वो चाहिए होता है अगर
doesn't
किसी को।
work. So yeah, it's just more
क्या
like
चाहिए होता है?
test for us.
Yeah, you are going to be facing off now. It is a team that's been a pretty long-standing team from the
मेरे को एक
Philippines.
बात बता, इसका नाम क्या है?
What are your thoughts about them? How do you feel like they're going to be as an opponent for you?
हैरी
I think now so it's a very
Hard,
strong
Yeah.
enemy. I think now
Amar
it's
Surve.
maybe better
Amar
than
Surve, Maharashtra?
half
Yes,
franchise
Marathi.
APAC team. I feel they
क्वेश्चन
really
है
strong.
बाबू।
एकदम मस्त था।
One of your teammates did come from there. He was Papi is
कोल्हापुर
from
वाला
there. Did he have some
अरे
thoughts?
मैं
Do you think
confused
how's the
करा लो
team
कोल्हापुर
feeling
में
right
से।
now? Because
क्या है?
there's 3 Filipinos
अरे यहाँ
on your
महालक्ष्मी का
team. So
मंदिर है
how's
ना?
the mood right now on the team?
I think my
मेरे को
teammates
चल
are
मराठी आता
confident
है।
now and they wanna win.
Photo,
Filipino
हाँ।
friend.
Nice.
Is there anybody on
25 साल
Nouse that
बोला
you're
ज़्यादा
kind
ही
of
आया
wanting to beat or afraid of?
Huh? One more place?
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't see.
Is there anyone on Nouse that
तो
you're
तू अभी work
wanting
from
to
कोल्हापुर
beat or are you afraid of?
वर्क फ्रॉम कोल्हापुर करता है तू?
हाँ हाँ, बैंगलोर में कंपनी में
I
घर
think
पे बैठ के
you
काम
guys-
पैसा कमाता और कुछ नहीं।
बैंगलोर में तेरा अच्छा वहाँ पे इंटरव्यू वगैरह दिया होगा ऐसा?
Can you
नहीं,
hear us
मैं
now?
घर से इंटरव्यू दिया है।
अच्छा
यस।
मेरे लिए कुछ
Yeah,
पार्ट टाइम
yeah,
मिलेगा
yeah.
क्या?
Yeah, you can hear?
क्या है तेरे
Yeah,
तेरी
go ahead.
स्पेशलिटी क्या है?
मैं फाइनेंस का बंदा हूँ।
Oh, good.
फाइनेंस।
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let
okay.
me ask
Is there
around.
anybody on Nouse that you're
Hmm?
really
अगर
wanting to
finance
beat
में वो
or
होगा
anyone
तो-
that you're afraid of?
No, I don't.
क्योंकि
No, it
टीएसए की
doesn't matter
फाइनेंस
for
टीम
me.
में कुछ लफड़ा तो चल रहा है।
Yeah.
लेट मी आस्क अराउंड।
Yeah,
मेरा
I-
वो
I-
वाला
I-
at the
फाइनेंस
end of the
नहीं
day-
है। मैं
I was
तेरे को
gonna
कैसे
ask you
समझाऊँ?
about even
मैं
China, right? You
अपना
spent
stock
a good amount
exchanges
of
होते हैं ना
time
जो
there. And you know, you
मैं
again,
देख मैं तेरे
there's
को
so
अपना
many
सीवी
connections in
बताता
this
हूँ
team that
पहले
you have
मैंने
right
इक्लक्स में
now
काम
playing
किया है
facing out.
और मेरा
But
क्लाइंट था
Yudotan
मॉर्गन
was
स्टैनली आई
somebody
गेस
you
पता
did
रहेगा
be
तेरे को
able to
मॉर्गन
come
स्टैनली
here, and now he's your
हाँ
teammate
तो
on Global Esports
उसमें
as well,
हमें
right?
न्यूयॉर्क
So
स्टॉक एक्सचेंज
talk to me a
अपना
little
और
bit about how
ओटीसी
that final
डेरिवेटिव्स
was in the experience. Did you
ये
think
हैंडल
you
करता
would
था
end
पूरा
up
का
on the
पूरा
same team as Yudotan? And tell me a
उसमें
little bit
क्या
about
करता था
what you
अभी
think
देख
about it.
नेम चेंज इवेंट होता है जैसे
I
फेसबुक का नाम
think
मेटा हो गया
about Yuda, it's
करेक्ट
like, you know, it's very perfect
तो हम
player.
लोग ने वो
He
न्यूयॉर्क स्टॉक
one of the
एक्सचेंज में चेंज
best
किया था
player in China
समझा
Ascension
अभी
for
मेरा काम
sure. And I
बेसिक
think I can
अंडरस्टैंडिंग आ गई
adapt
ना तो
together.
सेम
Yeah,
अभी उसके बाद
you
मैंने
know,
कैप जेमिनी में
already have
काम किया हुआ है
good
करंटली मैं
synergy,
ढूंढ रहा हूँ
good
जॉब
chemistry.
मतलब पार्ट टाइम
Yeah,
बेसिस
so
पे मैं एक
I
जगह सेलेक्ट हो
feel
गया हूँ
we
अच्छी
will
जगह पे
adapt
वो ठीक है
good.
मतलब हुआ 3-4 जगह
Yeah,
पे
no,
सिलेक्ट हूँ
that's
बट मेरे
really
को
good.
उसमें से ऑप्शन है
I guess
मैं
one
उसमें
more
से एक
from
पे
me.
जाऊंगा
When it
ऐसा
comes
चीज़
to this roster
और
and
मेरे को ऐसे
you're
पार्ट टाइम नहीं
removed from
चाहिए कुछ
IGL
वो नहीं
duties,
चाहिए फुल
do you
टाइम
feel like it's way more
और मेरे घर पे
comfortable
तगड़ा
for
सिस्टम
you
है जैसे
now in
सकीरो
the
का है ना मतलब
server,
उसका बहुत हाई
or
ग्रेडेड
do
है
you kind of
समझ
miss
उसका
the
80%
IGL a
सिस्टम
little
मेरे
bit?
पास अवेलेबल है
अच्छा 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 अच्छा
I
अच्छा
cannot say
टीसी
I
में तो
miss a
ऐसा
job because, you know, I have
सीन
also
अवेलेबल है तो नहीं
some
बट आई
call
आस्क
in
अराउंड
this
एंड सी
team. I can
देखना मेरे को कुछ
Yeah.
go
और भी
mid
कुछ हो
round,
कि समझ
so I cannot
मेरे को
say
देख
I
यार ये
miss it.
फाइनेंस में ही मेरे
Yeah,
को नहीं
and
पसंद आता इतना
for me it's
फाइनेंस
more comfortable.
अच्छा
तो ऐसा कुछ
Sometimes
और
I can
इंटरेस्टिंग
just, you
जैसे मेरे को
know,
तेरा इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा
focus in my
है वैसा
aim and yeah, it's more
यस
comfortable
मैं
for
भाई
me.
इस इंडस्ट्री में 2 साल फोकट में
Alright.
काम किया तब जाके
Right
रिकॉग्निशन
before
बना
we let you go,
एंड
Crystal,
नाउ
before you get into the
इट इज
game, there's
ऑल
a
लाइक
सच
lot of
में
people
भाई
that know
फोकट
Crystal
में
very
काम
well.
कराते हैं
A
भाई
lot of
आधे
people
लोग
from India
कुछ होते
हाँ
हैं
है
really love
नहीं
you and they
मैंने
call
भी
you
ये
the Clutch
वीएफएक्स
King.
मैं वीएफएक्स
Anything you want
स्टूडेंट
to
भी
say
था
to
ना
your
मैंने
fans
मैथ्स
who
भी
are going to
किया
be
हुआ
watching
था
you while
मैं
playing
पहले
this?
पूछ रहा था कि
जब
तुझको
मैं और
पास
सिक्योरो
है
एक साथ
Hello guys,
काम करते थे ना
thank you for
तब
supporting.
बहुत फोकट
मतलब
है
गुड गेम नेशन में
We'll
गुड
go
गेम
on
नेशन
best.
में मेरे को 3 महीने का 5,000 रुपए मिलता था
All right, Crystal, thank you
ठीक
so much for
एंड
joining us.
नाउ आई
All
एम
the
जस्ट
best for your
प्रिंटिंग मनी
game and hopefully G winning.
लेकिन स्टार्टिंग में तो कुछ भी नहीं मिला था तो मैं तो पहले ही
Bye bye.
चले गया मैंने कहा छोड़ बाहर में यार
हम दोनों को उस टाइम बहुत बात होती थी कि भाई क्या करवाते हैं रील बनवाते हैं ऐसा तैसा
Interesting man.
हम
And
तीन
Fedor
थे
as well, he's got quite a lot to say on
कंटेंट भी
the
क्रिएट
server.
करते हो तुम लोग
Yeah, I mean, and
मैं
that's I
मैं
think one of the important
मतलब
things
ऐसा
right now as well, right?
मेरा पूरा
you're
फोर्ट वही है
taking,
क्रिएटिव
a little bit of
स्पेशलिज्म
time
है
for your
पूरा
preparation to
तो
come
क्रिएटिव
on
मतलब
and have a
स्पेशलिज्म
chat
तू
with us,
हुक
give a
कोई भी
little
एक
bit of
20
insight
सेकंड
on
की
how
रील
things
बनाने
are
के
for
लिए
Crystal
हुक होता है
specifically
फिर
in this global esports roster.
रिटेन
But now it's
रिटेंशन
gonna,
होता है
he's
फिर
gonna
वो
shift
होता
his
है फिर
focus
एक
कॉल
now.
टू
He's ready to
एक्शन
get
होता है
in
ना
गॉसिप
towards
का
this
आईडी
game
देख
time,
उसमें तेरे को मैं
ready to
दिख
prepare
जाऊंगा
and focus
मैं
up because
मतलब
I mean now
ऐसा क्या
not
बोलता
going to
हूँ
be a
घर
team
पे
that
होता
is
हूँ
going to
तब
be
मैं
a
सोशल
slouch
मीडिया
on the
मैनेजर होता
server.
हूँ
So he
मतलब
really
पूरा
needs to get his aim prepared,
गॉसिप का
right? He's
सोशल
talking
मैं
about that
संभालता
being
हूँ
a strength
जब
right
कोई
now.
इवेंट होता
कहाँ
है
पे
We
यूट्यूब
want to
पे
see
देखो
that.
कि इंस्टाग्राम
नहीं
पे
Yeah, and
Instagram
Instagram,
पे।
right? He thinks
गॉसिप
that now is
गॉसिप
actually
GG1 करके
रुक 2 मिनट रुक
हाँ एंड कोई ऐसा इवेंट होता है जैसे
of
मैंने
VCT
कॉमिक
teams.
कॉन मुंबई
So he's
कवर
got a,
किया
you
बिग
know, he's
जायस
got a
कवर
high
किया
opinion
BMPS कवर किया
about these teams,
उसमें
about
मैं
this team
ऑन
right
क्या
here.
बोलते हैं
So
ऑन
he
स्पॉट
clearly knows it's
जर्नलिस्ट
not going to be an easy task
इंटरव्यू
and
और
now,
जर्नलिस्ट
you know, even though
हाँ
Poppy was one
हाँ
of their, you know,
बरोबर
strongest players,
जी
is
ओ
now going to
एस
be playing against them.
डबल
I
एस
still
जी
feel
ओ
like
डबल
Naus
एस आई
has
पी
a
जी जी
lot to
वन
give with players like Emin, you know, leading the charge as
GG
well. So much experience
1
on that
हाँ
मेरे
Filipino
स्काउट
squad
स्काउट
टीम
के
को
is
आ
साथ
रहा है ना
actually going to, you know,
हाँ
propel
हाँ
them
स्काउट के
to
साथ
हाँ।
make
बोली
decisions better
पहचान
than
है
what we probably saw
काशवी
OG
मुझे
make
पहचानती
yesterday
है
and not crumble onto that
जोनाथन का
second
इंटरव्यू
map
लिया है
opponent pick, right? And that's what I'm
मतलब
hoping
है
for as well.
पहचान है
ये
एक
Yeah, I
तेरा
mean, there's
तेरा
going to be a
अकाउंट
lot of
है
a premium on towards
मेरा
this
अकाउंट नहीं
video,
ऑफिस
I
का
feel
अकाउंट है
like as well.
ऑफिस का ही हैंडल
When
करता है
I'm
पूरा
thinking of the maps that we've already
Oh,
seen,
I see.
I'm thinking of immediately Moja.
मतलब
Moja. What is
उसमें
he
तू
going
आज
to
के
do
टाइम
if he's able to get his neon to come
चश्मा
out,
पहन
right?
के
So I'm
बैठ
thinking that's going to be a scary
बताता हूँ कौन सी
tactic
वाली
that
क्यों
we have to
अभी को
consider in a bit of Vito
डेट
chicken.
हाँ हाँ ये
Yeah,
ग्लोबल
absolutely.
e-sport
I feel
अनाउंसमेंट
like, you know, that
ये है क्या
Patrick
तू नहीं
Coup
चश्मा नहीं है
versus Moser
तेरे को
fight's going to
बताता
be another, you know, kind
चश्मे
of
में
Vector
लंबा
versus
सा
Patrick
होगा
fight. But hey, to
ऐसा
break all
नीचे
this
नीचे
down,
जाकर कोई
what
डेनिम
exactly
जैकेट
is
में
the
चश्मा पहना हुआ
contrast
इंसान
between
दिखेगा
yesterday and what might happened today.
डेट
Ladies and
डेट
gentlemen,
बता रहा। हाँ
here's
हाँ,
our
डेनिम
assistant
जैकेट में
coach
हाँ।
elevated to talk about what
माइक पकड़
exactly
के
happened
रुका
as he's
है,
got
ब्लू
a
जैकेट है,
breakdown
जोनाथन और
in
सब
simple
इंटरव्यू ले
words
रहा है, वही
about
है।
what happened against orangutan.
नीचे नीचे जाएगा तो और मिलेंगे तेरे को फिर मेरे।
नहीं नहीं,
Yeah, what's up,
तेरे को
guys?
टैग नहीं
So
किया
I
है।
wanted to
वाह,
just
फिर
pick out a
साले
round
तू खुद को भी
from
तो टैग करवा।
yesterday's match
हाँ वो
against
करता हूँ ना
OG.
मैं, I
That
guess
sort
वो
of
इसमें
encapsulated what
है ना,
we
ये
were
कम
seeing
सारी
a lot from DE in that
अंडरस्कोर
particular
ये है ना
match.
इसमें
And I decided
कोलैबोरेशन
to go with the first map of Haven,
अच्छा हाँ,
and
ये
specifically
कम
focusing on round
डिजिटल क्रिएटर।
19. Let's see here. Basically,
अच्छा
this
देखो
is a
इसके
round where
रिगार्डिंग
GE
कंटेंट
is trying
बनाना
to
पसंद है।
capitalize on their
यस
sub
मतलब
ultimate with an early
मेरे को
kickoff using
बीजीएम
this
आई
sort
एम
of
नॉट
play
मेरे
that
को
I
पसंद
think
नहीं इतना,
Fnatic or
बट
Mobile
वो
gaming.
ऑफिस का है,
popularized
मोबाइल
by
गेमिंग
lobby, along with some
मेरे
pressure
को
from
मैं
mid
पता है
players,
मेरे को
and then
बहुत अच्छा
try to
चांस था
catch somebody out.
बीसी ये अपना
Ag from the
वैलोरेंट
recon,
मास्टर्स बैंकॉक
and
के
then
लिए,
go ahead and use the
तो
But,
क्यों नहीं गया?
or the sub ult,
अभी
rather,
होगा ना
to
फरवरी
get
में होगा
a
ना,
quick
बट सीन क्या हुआ
kickoff.
कि बीएमपीएस में खर्चा बहुत हुआ,
So
बीएमएस में
now,
खर्चा बहुत
if we
हुआ,
switch over
हाँ।
to
तो दे वर लाइक कि
Valve,
ना
I
वी
can
कांट
kind of just
अफोर्ड टू
illustrate
सेंड यू
the
नाउ,
idea behind this.
हाँ
So
यार
the dart is
चांस
going
मिस
to
हो
come
गया।
out. Players are going
बोल
to push
50-50
up. And
करते हैं ना।
मैं बोला वो भी बोला तो वो बोला वो उनको पता है ना कंपनी इट्स नॉट इन आवर स्कोप ऑफ स्कोप ऑफ स्पेक्ट्रम भाई ब्ला
कोई ऐसी कोई है जहाँ पे इंटर्नशिप मेरे को मिले जो समझ कोई बंदा बना तो एआई रिलेटेड मेरे को इसमें नीच मेरे को एआई का पसंद है ज़्यादा
एआई का I'll ask a friend वो मेरा दोस्त करता है मैं I'll ask
मेरे को भले फ्री में मेरे को भले काम करा है मेरे को चलेगा मेरे को किसके अंडर में काम करना है सीखना है चीज़ें एट द एंड ऑफ द डे
स्टार्ट कब होगा एस पर भाई अभी चालू होगा बस थोड़ी देर में
2:30 को स्टार्ट होगा टाइम
अभी ये गलतियां दिखा रहे हैं कि लास्ट मैच इन्होंने क्या गलतियां की
गलतियां तो नहीं दिखा रहे हैं बट ठीक है वो स्क्रिम्स है तो
हाँ
ये लोग ने पुश करके ही खेला
बट हाँ कल सेकिरो बोला तो बराबर था भाई पैट्रिक को थोड़ा ज्यादा ही पुश करता है
ओवर कर रहा था वो कल
ज्यादा ही पुश करता है वो थोड़ा सा हम्बल हो जाएगा ना तो आई थिंक ही कैन गो गुड
मैं वो फॉलो कर दे रहा हूं
यस यस यस
and Omen is still spotting A. Now, what's about to happen here is basically just like a
तो यहाँ पे कैसे रहता है मतलब सैलरी वाइज रहता है कि कितना तुम कंटिन्यू प्रोड्यूस करते हो
सैलरी अगर एक महीना कंटेंट ना भी बनाओ तभी मेरे को मिलेगा
ओके
एंड मेरा काम भी ऐसा है मतलब सम डेज आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ वर्क सम डेज आई डोंट
वो वैसा ही होगा ना अभी कोई इवेंट आ रहा है तो फिर तेरे को काम रहेगा कोई
इवेंट भी नहीं मतलब नॉर्मली अब तू देखेगा ना गॉसिप में ऐसा पोस्ट वगैरह डाले मतलब
ये गेम आ रही है वो गेम आ रही है
हाँ किया इंडस्ट्री में ऐसा हुआ वैसा हुआ वो सब पोस्ट मैं बनाता हूँ
ओह
कभी कभार होता है न्यूज़
गेमिंग 15x GAMMAXX न्यूज़ इन सबको फॉलो करके रखा होगा
मतलब वो इसीलिए डालकर वही काम होता है बेसिकली I'll give a ballpark में 40-50 तो easily
there's a little bit more that's going to go on here.
And living at home right now मेरा first है
and then see that
तो तू अभी यहाँ पे फिर तू एक्सप्लोर नहीं करता है जैसे एक बैंगलोर गया मुंबई या दिल्ली
हाँ मतलब उन्होंने मेरे को चांस दिया है बट मैं कंफर्टेबल हूँ घर पे
घर पे कंफर्टेबल हो
because
गया
of all the action that's happened on the map.
अच्छा
बाहर भाई बैंगलोर
There
को
are
नहीं
some
करेगा
holes in the GE
मुंबई?
defense now, and OG does a
मुंबई
good job
मुंबई में
of
तो
figuring
रिलेटिव
out
रहते हैं
that
मेरे
B is open,
उनको मुंबई भी प्रॉब्लम
and
नहीं
they
है
are going to push all the way
अच्छा
through B site to the
मुंबई
A
में
site,
पूरा
grabbing the
खानदान
spike
रहता है
along the way
कहाँ
with the
पे
Omen
मुंबई
ultimate,
में
and
एग्जैक्टली
putting themselves in
Worli
a pretty good
police camp.
spot to at least set up
अच्छा
for a post plan.
यस
Now,
मेरे
obviously, as
मम्मी
we
के
can
साइड
see
से
on the
पुलिस
mini map, Poppy is still controlling A long, which should be sort of like a good ace in the hole for GE to close out this round by collapsing on the site together.
भाई जो काम
And
क्यों लग
this
गया
is
मेरे को
also a pretty nice take from GE. We're going to see that they do not get surprised by OG's Neon in heaven, and they immediately take this space away from him with a quick dash and push.
भाई वैंकर ने लेकिन
Now
खेली
GE
है
have
प्यारी
the
नियॉन
second
खेली है
position.
कल
They control heaven,
हेवन पे तो
CT, and they also control
क्लिप्स
A
दिखा
long.
रहे हैं
This should be a pretty straightforward collapse onto the site with the 4 players against the 3 from multiple different angles. Now, what ideally would happen is that the Omen would sort of make a move right as the players.
यार मेरा मन है कि मैं बुक माई शो में मिले मेरे को तो कंटेंट क्रिएशन का थोड़ा सी
Coordination is such
बुक
that
माई शो में मिल जाए ना ताकि शोज वगैरह अटेंड करने में भाई मैं शोज के टिकट खरीद करके गरीब हो चुका हूँ भाई हर शो की टिकट और मैं चाहता हूँ कि बुक माई शो में हो जाए तो भाई मिले भाई टिकट कम से कम फ्री की और मैं अटेंड भी कर पाऊँ और
पता यही
पास
से
से
मेरा हुआ जाके बीजेएम में मतलब कोई भी इवेंट हो फोकट में पूरा क्या बोलते हैं वो गुडीज मर्च होता है फोकट में मिलता है कोई किसी भी टीम का मेरे पास एक्सपार्क की और रेकनिंग की जर्सी पड़ी है रेकनिंग की और नई जर्सी आनी बाकी है मेरे पास गॉडलैक की जर्सी आनी बाकी है मेरे पास अभी सोल की जर्सी आनी बाकी है
मिलती कहाँ से फिर ये
मैं पहचानता हूँ ना उनको अभी मतलब पहचानता मतलब मिलते हैं थोड़ा पता है
मतलब एंकर है तो देते हैं हाँ ये इंटरव्यू
ऐसा होगा दोस्त मैं ऐसा में ये भी नहीं कि हाँ भाई एकदम ऐसा इंटरव्यू के मैं बस ट्राई करता हूँ कि हाँ भाई दोस्ती वगैरह तो स्काउट लास्ट टाइम का स्काउट से मिला स्काउट को पहचानता है 2 बार काशी से मिला काशी बोला कि हाँ मैं इसको पहचानता तो वो भी सीन शॉर्ट है भाई फोकट में मिलता है खाना वाना सब फोकट में
हाँ वही इंडस्ट्री है थोड़ी वैसी बट ठीक है
क्राफ्टन है अच्छी कंपनी है
chemistry, and so that's going to be one
I'm not saying in bad stuff. Please.
A little bit of mistiming, maybe some miscommunication, a little bits of the deeper chemistry that you'll see from more experienced teams who've been playing together for a while. is something that a lot of
भाई
these
क्योंकि
teams
मेरे
do
पहचान में
and
है
they're
कि जो
showing
बुक
you,
माई शो में
but
वर्क
they
करती
will
हैं
get better over time.
और मतलब
So
वो
I would
ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम में
expect
मतलब
GE to
तो
continue to improve
उन्हें
in
सब
these
मालूम रहता है कि कौन सा शो कब
situations,
होगा
and
क्या होगा
hopefully
और प्लस
today we will show a
भाई
slightly tighter
बहुत
version
चीज़ें आने
of
वाली है
what
उन्होंने ये भी
we
मेरे को
showed
बताई थी
yesterday.
कि लीक नहीं करनी लेकिन बताना मतलब मैं तुम्हें बताया अब भाई
हम्म,
उन्हें फ्री
सेकिरो
टिकट मिलती है
Watching that
हाँ
round, you know,
देखो
while it
पता
was
है मेरे को रैट
happening
में
was
काम
kind
करने
of
का
a
मौका
painful
मिला
one, especially given, you know, the
भाई
damage
अभी
control.
फिर यहाँ पे
As
क्यों
Levin
कर रहे हो
explained, right? They cleared
अरे
out
मतलब
heaven, they had a
मैं
lot of
ऐसा मेरा
space to
ऐसा
gain,
एक जगह
and those are
कमिटमेंट
the kind
देता
of
तो वहीं
mistakes
पे
that they
रहता
were
हूँ
actually
हर
making,
जगह
वाह
मुंह नहीं
you
मारते
know,
फिरता
हट
repetitively on that
अभी
heaven
मतलब
जैसे
है
match.
देखो
अभी भी
मैं
अभी
But,
भी
you
अभी भी
know,
ओपन है
they
मेरे
were
लिए
able to learn from it
स्लॉट वो
really
चले
quickly
मैं
जाने
यहाँ
and
पे
दो
थोड़ा
implement
मुझे
their own
यहाँ
map
पे
pick.
थोड़ा
And of
एक करके
course,
फिर
why wouldn't they?
आलसी
Because it is their map pick.
मतलब
They're
कैसा है वो
well prepared.
एक कंपनी
And
है
it kind of,
जो
you know, shows the fact
एपेक में
clearly
जितने भी
that GE,
बड़े बड़े
like
क्या
he
बोलते
mentioned, is still
हैं
a team
फर्म्स है
that's trying to
बेसिकली कोई
grasp
भी फील्ड
onto
के
any
उनके
route
सोशल
it can
संभालती है
find of the nearest tree,
और
and
उनका
they're
एक
just trying to
सबसे बड़ा
make their
क्लाइंट है रेड
way
गेम्स
across it. And, you know, hopefully they'll
तू
be going
अच्छा
strength
वो
to strength
कंपनी के लिए
starting
तू
from
काम
today
करने
itself.
वाला था
हाँ उन्होंने
Well, I mean, it's the
उसका
nature
दोस्त
of an early team,
जो
right?
मेरा
You're a
दोस्त
little
था
bit formless
वो मेरे
from
साथ
the
काम कर रहा था
beginning.
पहले
You have
गॉसिप
to
में
put in this
फिर
practice.
वो
You've got
वहाँ
to
से
put
निकल
hours
गया फिर वहाँ
upon
पे
hours to
एज
get
क्रिएटिव
that
स्पेशलिस्ट था तो
repetition
ये
to
अप्रोच
figure
मी
out
लाइक कि
how your teammates are going to be
कोई
playing
है तेरे
rotations
पहचान
and
में या
really
फिर
drill
यू
in
आर यू इंटरेस्टेड
timing
इन
with the
वर्किंग
team,
बिकॉज आई
right? I
नो
think it's one
यू
of the
आर
biggest
वेरी
things
गुड
that
एट
we
योर
can take away as a
वर्क
highlight from
राइट
yesterday's
नाउ
game
ना
is essentially
आई एम
timing and
करेंटली सम
pacing together
मैं
with
देखो
the
ऑनेस्टली
team
बताऊँ अभी
will
मैंने जो
only
दो
become
कंपनीज में
better
काम की एक
through
की जगह पे
experience
18-19
in the
महीना काम
officials,
किया एक
getting
जगह
more
पे
scrims under their
12-13
belt as
महीना
well and
काम
fine
किया
tuning them.
मैं
So
मैं भी
that's
मार्च में
really
ज्वाइन
one
हुआ
of
तो
the
इसीलिए मेरे को भी ऐसा
great
ये नहीं है
purposes of a
हाँ
tournament like
एक
this as
साल
well, is to
निकले
get that
और
experience
निकलो
under
भाई
their way. Heard from Crystal earlier, right?
Yeah.
Essentially each day
Sekiro
it
my
should
full
be
body
getting
राइट
better
build
for
राइट
करके
global
जा
esports
तू
when they're playing, when they're
मेरा
putting
फ्रेंड है
what
भाई
ना
they
सर
need
भी
to
लग रही है
work, and then realizing after the
वो
fact
राइट में
where they were
काम
strong,
करता है
where they
तो
were weak, and against
बोलता है
other
मुंबई ऑफिस
competition
में ही
day
है
in
राइट
day out.
बांद्रा में
It really
वही
makes
तो
you
बैंक
change your
ऑफिस में ही है ना
encounters and your
हाँ
mind
तो
time and time
भाई
again.
तगड़ा है
Absolutely.
वो
Well,
उसका
let's
वो जो
talk to the
बताता
man
है ना बोलता है
himself, who
चिल
is going to
काम
be
में
working
7
a little
बजे
bit
के
to
बाद
get
काम
this squad
बंद कर
up
देने
to
का वर्क
its
फ्रॉम
most
होम रहता
potential
है
form. Juvie,
एक
let's
दिन
get you
खाली
have
ऑफिस
back
जाने का
on.
रहता है वो
Komodo's
भी
got some
कंपलसरी
questions
नहीं
for you.
रहता है
भाई और
What's up,
20 मिनट
guys?
Hey
क्या
man, yeah, I did have
क्या
one,
20
which is a
मिनट
bit of a fun one
स्ट्रीम
as
देख
well. We got a
अबे
little bit of
भाई
insight from Crystal earlier, but three
ता-
more Filipinos playing against
देखूंगा मेरे
5
पास है
Filipinos
एक्सेस
on the other
देखूं क्या
side.
गेम में
Have you seen yet any worries
देख
or any
देख
fun
इसके फ्रेंड लिस्ट
banter?
में ऐड है एक बंदा
Because
जो
essentially, you know, you look at it,
वो होता है
it's,
पार्टी
these
लीडर
guys were picked up
होस्ट
over the others, so there's
अब पता
got
नहीं
a
कहाँ
bit
से
of a
ऐड है
game here, right?
इसको भी नहीं मालूम
हाँ मेरे
No,
को भी नहीं
I'm sure
पता
there's a
है
little bit.
बाप रे
Obviously, it's
जी
Poppy
out of
League team,
nowhere
so I'm
कर
sure
था
he
ना
really
कल
wants to
दिखाया था
beat
ना
them.
देखो
I'm sure they
शक्ति को
really want to beat
हाँ
Poppy, right? So, yeah, it should be super exciting. It should be really fun.
आउट ऑफ नोवेयर
रुक
Well,
देखूं
like
एक तो
you
यार
know,
मेरे
Elevate
को पूरा
mentioned, there
गेम
were
का
a
है ना
couple rounds
इनका
like this,
डिले
right,
है
where
30
Global
सेकंड
Esports
10
kind of,
10
you
या
know,
12
had
सेकंड का मेरे को पहले ही
chances to
स्कोर
actually
पता
settle
चल
it down
जाता
a lot more
है
easier than you know
नहीं
they
वापस
did
आ गया क्या
before in yesterday.
क्या
So
वापस
what do we
वो
expect
था
today?
20
You
मिनट
know,
पे
are
दिखाया
you
फिर
still
वापस आ
more
गया
comfortable with Haven? Have the mistakes
फिर
been
मैं
देख यहाँ
rectified?
पे
नहीं
नहीं
Are
चालू
you
अभी हो
okay
जाएगा
with being in the map
चालू
pool
है
today,
चालू है
or are you
सर्वर
trying to
पे बैठे हैं
avoid
वो
it?
लोग
हाँ हाँ हाँ
No, I'm
15 का
full okay
15
with
लोग ही
Haven.
बैठे हैं
Us,
10 लोग यहाँ
us,
के
the
5 लोग
mistakes that
वहाँ
we made in Haven are nothing to do with
रेडी
like
है
मेरा
पूरा
we
सर्वर
play. It's just
मेरा
nerves,
मेरा
right? Like nerves
ब्राउजर
happen.
ट्रिप कर रहा है
Those kind of
Yeah.
things are normal. First match
चालू है
jitters is
चालू
very
है
normal. You guys got to see us on
ब्रेव
Sunset,
साला
reset, mentally reset. We were ready to go. And I expect us to be ready to go today.
भाई पर
completely.
ऐसा है उन्होंने
I
लाइट
will
क्यों
say
लगाई
Nas is
है
a good team. We've
फ्लैशिंग में
definitely
कुछ
played them in scrim so
परेशानी
far,
नहीं होती
and yeah, they
मेरी
played
भी
well.
अरे
स्पोर्ट्स
कुछ
क्लब वालों के वो
है
थोड़े बहुत मैच ऑर्गेनाइजर से
Right.
पहचान हो गई है वो जो
You know,
कराते रहते
speaking
हैं ना
of
हर वीक या
Vito, right?
मंथली
I ask you, Sunset
नए
is
रिप्लेस
still
तो
one of the
पहचानते हैं
strong
कि फिर आ गए तू
contenders,
खेलने
right? But on the other
और
side,
इस
looking
बार
at
अलग
this,
टीममेट लाया है फिर हार के जाएगा। मैंने कहा यार क्या करूँ मैं अकेला, भाई मेरे को कोई अच्छा बंदा मिलता ही नहीं, तो मेरे को हर हफ्ते अलग अलग, हर महीने अलग अलग बंदा लाने पड़ता है कि किसके साथ मेरी वो बैठ रही है। बोले ठीक है यार आ
I
जा।
think both of these. Yeah. I feel like if it does go to sunset, yeah, I feel like it will be a little bit more competitive. Just as I said, we've played
अरे
now,
तो
so we know they're good
तू ये
on like,
कंपनीज ढूंढता कैसे,
you know,
मतलब
most
तेरे को खुद
maps.
से अप्रोच
You know,
करती है
we haven't ran into
कि
them on a map where I think they
जिस
suck
कंपनी
at.
में
So
वो
I
नहीं?
think
हाँ
any map
समझ,
we
अभी
end up
जैसे
picking
तूने
this
बोल
full
दिया
will
कि एक
definitely be
राइट
a
के
close
एक जो
match.
क्लाइंट्स है वो है।
So a
सीन
bunch
क्या
of
देखो
these players on the roster, you know, you're always going to have
जब
players
मैं
come from
गॉसिप
tier
में
2
आया
into
मार्च
tier
में,
1, and
हाँ।
we see a
तब
coach
हमारे
who's
एक
been
आर्टिकल
floating
राइटर
around
था
tier 1 for a little bit. There's going to be
ब्रायन,
potential disconnection and not
तो
scaredness, but
2-3 महीने
involvement
बाद
that they might
ही लेफ्ट
not be
गॉसिप।
too comfortable to speak
अच्छा।
फिर
up.
वो
So how much have
जिस
you
कंपनी
actually
की बात
seen
कर रहा
from
था
the
उस
team
कंपनी में चला
speaking
गया।
up and having a conversation
देन
with yourself as
वो
the
आउट ऑफ
coach,
नोवेयर
as
मेरे को
opposed to
अप्रोच
you
किया
just kind
कि
of telling them
डूड
what to do?
मेरी कंपनी में एक जगह है
No, like
प्लेयर
me
टू
as a coach,
स्पेशलिस्ट के,
man. Like I push them to
एंड
speak. I
हमारा
push them
सबसे
to
बड़ा
give their
क्लाइंट है
input
राइट,
because it's
एंड यू
important. Like as
हैव
much as I
एज
can build
पर
whatever,
एज
I
आई
want
नो
to build a system
तेरे
that
को
they're
बहुत अच्छा
comfortable with,
नॉलेज है
right?
क्योंकि तूने
You're not trying to force them to play
वैलोरेंट
exactly how I want
मास्टर्स
to play it. I
शंघाई,
want to build my
वैलोरेंट
system
मास्टर्स
around their strengths,
बर्लिन
around what
और
they're good at.
चैंपियंस
So yeah, they've
कवरेज
all
बहुत
had
अच्छे
some
से किया
input.
तूने।
Kelly obviously
वहाँ
एंड
पे
more
गया
than
था?
most, but
नहीं
Everybody
घर से
definitely has
घर
a
से
voice in this
अच्छा
team, and yeah, I expect
तो
that to
he was
continue.
like
And only
कि
get better and better as we go on.
people are here are
All right,
interested
Joey,
to
we're
have
gonna
you,
have to send you off.
or
You've got
do
the
you
video
know
coming
anyone else
up.
who is
Let's head straight to it.
have the
It's not gonna freak me out
same
this time.
knowledge as you? Like कि कोई पहचान में तो है नहीं मेरा
All
अभी.
right, all the best. We'll see you
I'll
there.
search around. और
I
मेरा
see,
अभी
guys.
तो को पता है मैं gossip में काम कर रहा हूँ. It would take me some time.
Hi, Joey.
I can't say anything now. We'll see.
Before I get to you
Like
guys,
okay.
I need to talk to somebody.
चल
ये
गेम चालू.
टकला कौन है
Hi,
भाई?
chat.
गेम
कैसे हो?
गेम मास्टर जेडी.
क्या हो गया यार?
जेडी.
इतनी चीजें बता रहे लोग तुम लोग को वैलोरेंट और गेम के बारे में और जी के फ्यूचर के बारे में, दूसरी टीम्स के बारे में. सुन लो जरा, सब्र कर लो. और उस सब के पहले भाई लाइक और सब्सक्राइब तो कर दो जल्दी. पहले वो जाके करो एंड मैं वेटो कराऊंगा तब तक, ठीक है? मेरा असली का.
Is there name mode?
जोई एमएक्स.
एबीडी अबे ये कौन है भाई? नंबर 3 असेंडेंट नहीं जा पा रहा.
Yeah, always.
भाई
Always.
असेंडेंट 3 ना तू रुक गया.
दिस इज हेड्स.
जब तूने कल हाई दिया ना, हाई वीसी में बैठ के,
एमएक्स इज अ गेस्ट.
बिना वीसी में आए खेलूंगा.
एमएक्स व्हाट विल यू कॉल मी? Okay, Joey, why don't you call?
All right, tails never fails once again.
नंबर वाटे चले था.
Okay, tails never fails.
Tails never fail. ओके भाई.
Heads it is. AMX is one.
कभी नहीं जा पाएगा,
So I'm going to ask you.
याद रखना.
AMX, are you going to
अच्छा.
pick first or are you going to?
I
pick
guess कल
side?
की हाई फोर्टनाइट में भी उतर गई थी.
अबे हाँ, फोर्टनाइट में भी नहीं जीत पाए तेरे चक्कर
Hopefully he
में.
knows sign language. You can sign what he
Literally
wants.
close आके आ रहे. दूसरी बार.
Do
Your
this
mic's
for
muted, my
map.
friend.
कल लेकिन मजा आया मेरे को ट्रोल करने हैं बंदे भाई हर मैच.
Technical difficulties. That happens sometimes. Don't worry, guys.
एबीडी फोर्टनाइट आई हो अगर लैपटॉप दे दिया एबीडी सीनियर ने.
Make sure you allow the settings in your browser.
Okay.
का माइक खराब
What
है.
is he doing? He's doing a map pick or he's doing a side pick?
ये कहाँ की टीम है वैसे जिनके साथ मैच है?
फिलीपींस.
Yeah, it's a ban. Yeah.
ओके.
फिलिपिनो टीम है.
We ban Abyss.
Okay, now's bans Abyss. Cool, Joey, now's bans Abyss.
All right, we banned Vine.
You've banned Bind.
भाई यार
What's going to be
राहुल
now's
भाई आ
pick?
गए. राहुल इंदुजा, I know राहुल इंदुजा personally. एकदम अच्छे
I'm
से.
waiting for now's pick.
मेरे व्लॉग में उसने भाई मस्त कुछ बोला है भाई. एकदम बढ़िया.
टैग कौन कर
You
रहा है?
pick split.
इंक्लूड ऑल सर्वर कॉन्टेक्ट.
Okay, Joey, what's G going to play on split which side?
Start defense.
You'll play defense.
Sorry.
You'll start with defense. Perfect. What's going to be G's pick?
Split आ रहा है भाई.
Let's just run it back on Sunset again.
मजा आ जाएगा स्प्लिट पे भाई.
Sunset. Okay, now what side will you play on Sunset?
We're gonna go
Split defense. Okay.
You're going to go defense?
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Sunset.
What's going to be the next
Split
ban?
sunset.
Now's.
फाइनल देखा ना कौन सा?
देखा.
Ascent.
Sunset diff.
You're going to ban Ascent?
Sunset defense. Now
Looking
it's
forward
okay.
to seeing that, but okay. Juby, your next match?
So it's gonna be between Haven and Pearl. So let's go with
Ascent man. Okay.
let's fuck it. Let's run it back on Haven. I'll ban Pearl. Let's go Haven last map.
अबे वो खुद गाली दे रहे हैं भाई.
Going with Haven. Haven was really tough.
कोच उनको क्यों मना कर रहे हैं?
Juby, do you
ban.
think it's a wise choice?
Fall back.
Yeah,
fall
I
back.
feel like we didn't play bad because of any kind of map choice. We played bad because of nerves. We'll be good today.
Ah,
So
let's
best
go.
luck to you and your boys, Juby. Best of luck to AMX and Naos. Costas, take it away.
Look.
Well, that was quite some veto there. Welcome to the experience, by the way, Komodo. I think that was the first sight for you as well. What just happened there? Thank you, JD. Really well done on the veto. But hey, we
Split.
got split now coming
Kada,
in
split.
as the first new map, and of course, we're gonna be seeing
Split Sunset
Global
or Haven.
Esports,
Let's check Haven.
take on Sunset once again, and we end on Haven if it all goes to it. What do
I
you feel about
chat,
this?
pop out chat, pause chat.
It was a quick one to pick out Sunset there,
Split
wasn't it?
Sunset,
So
Haven.
it feels
Let's
like
go.
that was
Let's see what
expected that
happens.
was going to come through. But I think I want to poke and prod a little bit more and throw a jab into that decider, Pearl and Haven. There was a bit of contemplation there for Juvenile coming in towards that one. Wasn't really sure. I'm going to paraphrase and extrapolate it. Screw it. We'll run it back on Haven. So that to me, with that contemplation and the way that he's just said it, Is he expecting Haven to come through? Is he expecting this to not go 2-0 to GE?
I'm not sure. He did, kind of, I'd say in his mind he flipped a coin between Pearl and Haven, just because he had to choose one. But Split is something I'm genuinely interested in looking because, honestly, I prefer, playing Split a lot. And
thumbnail क्या मेरा है तो सही तो है
where you can put in a little bit more variety compared to other maps. There's no set meta for
वैसा वाला अरे
Split,
इतना
but Sunset, Ascent, Haven.
मैं फेस स्वैप कर देता हूँ वो बस इतना आसान रहता है
वही
बस
बोल रहा हूँ ना देखो क्या करना है ग्लोबल स्पोर्ट्स तो बाय डिफॉल्ट एक टीम है ही है तेरा फेस तो बाय डिफॉल्ट है ही है हमको पता चलता है कितना 10 मिनट पहले पता चलता है कि भाई ये टीम है 10 या 15 मिनट पहले वो जगह खाली रख दे बाकी पॉपकॉर्न लेके बैठ तो ऐसा कुछ बना देर से बनवा यहाँ तो ये अपना मैनेजर साहब भी बैठे हमारे
these roles against a team like G is going to be the question.
देखा
Yeah, and I think it's one of those returning difficult as well right now.
Difficult नहीं है, but time यार मेरे को
time
I'm not necessarily expecting any Lord agent picks to really be coming through into this series. I think it's going to be
अरे वो तो मैं उससे जनरेट कर लूँ
right now in their
generation वाला जरा सा
and the best way to make sure that happens is to play the meta agent comp. So if we don't get something, it means that there has already been some really large thought to how they want to play Split. And they start off on the defensive side too. So
don't change
let's see if they can come out with a good strength.
Global Esports.
Absolutely. I think the agent select should be ready. I think we should be heading in. Just about a couple of more seconds as the players are getting into the game, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to be starting off on Split. Global Esports once again on defense on this map, which has
बहुत बंदों वर्सेस ये वाले थंबनेल पसंद है फेस पे वाले तो जैसा अभी मेरा ये डिस्कॉर्ड पीएफपी है डिस्कॉर्ड पीएफपी है मैं रोनाल्डो ही मेरा चेहरा स्पीड देख
वो देख
तो ऐसे यूनिक से भाई मेरे दोस्तों सही लगते हैं मेरे दोस्त ऐसे बनाते रहे सही है
उसमें थोड़ा टेक्स्ट डाल एक नंबर हो जाएगा
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind a double duelist coming through from them, but I'm getting already the structure that they're not going to be running for double duelist, right? It's going to be a little bit more thought out, strategized as a plan. So maybe we are just getting onto the single, maybe we're getting a little bit more flex with the initiatives. I gotta say, for me, I don't know if it's the duelist that I'm really going to be too excited for on this one specifically. I think I'm more excited to see Crystal pushed off the Sova for an example.
Tab Gaming कल मेरे मैच में आया
है fade because we know that that's an agent that gets played or whether or not it's going to change the sky and he's going to have to bring out something new towards that. I think that is more of the kind of thoughts where I'm going towards for a pick like this one. But then again, you also got to consider on the flip side, right? With
तू लाइव कर रहा है क्या?
मैं लाइव नहीं कर रहा
towards global and the role shifts that we're seeing
बंद हो गया मेरा कैमरा नहीं ना मेरे पे
like for them as well.
ले लेना 2000 रुपए का
तो है. Running a single omen or an agent.
क्या है वो खाने में पैसा उड़ जाता है.
So there's a lot of unknowns at the moment that off-season events do get us a little bit of a
Here comes Harry ये Discord वाले यूजर नेम पढ़ जाएगा.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just gonna have a quick look at what exactly.
तेरी भी होगी 10,000 plus प्रीमियर रेटिंग.
Played on Split. They did have a double duelist themselves.
मैंने भाई 12 के हुई फिर उसका मैचेस पता नहीं मिलने थे तो मैंने भी छोड़ दी. बहुत टाइम लग रहा था.
So they did play double duelist for the last 8 times that they've played this, and the most recent one I think was just about 3
मेरी CS की 40,000 की इन्वेंटरी थी.
About 3 months ago. So it's been a while since they've played this map.
कल मैं दोस्त को जो है वो Dota 2 का खरीद रहा था एक बंदा CS की स्किन बेच के उसकी.
Unless of course the
Dota 2 की लोडिंग स्क्रीन खरीद रहा है. मैं हंस रहा हूँ उसके ऊपर.
I wouldn't be surprised thinking about it now as well if we actually see a really old composition come out for global esports. Seen a lot of teams shy away from the Sage, right? But we know that Crystal is an actual Sage player once upon a time. Still Sova being the preference. If you bring out Sova on Split, I'm asking questions. I'm always going to ask questions. But I wouldn't actually be surprised if we get that, or maybe even a chamber. I mean, try and flex on towards that. I think that's where it's going to be interesting. But to steer back on towards the now side of things, even though they're changing one player in a couple of roles, the majority core 4 still know how they operate on those previous agents, right? So that kind of is the no-brainer.
Comic-Con इस साल दिल्ली में अभी अगले महीने है जाना भी है मेरे को लेकिन मेरे एग्जाम का भी सीन है कुछ.
They're going to be
कब है एग्जाम डेट?
So I think that does make a lot of sense to again really get
वो
the
ये है ना
fundamentals
अपना
down pat for these new
वो
rosters.
गवर्नमेंट का कौन सा waves
Yeah.
waves 2025
You know,
के लिए
I'm pretty sure that you would expect
Phase 2025
that
क्या है उसमें
Crystal's
Dota है ना
gonna
शायद
probably play
MOBA
on
games
that
है ना
initiator
BGMI
role,
हाँ
you know,
BGMI
in
है
most
Dota
sense, I
है
mean, Skyward Fade. But if he picks this
भाई
Sova, then there's
इंडियन
definitely
ऑडियंस
some thought behind
मतलब
it in the sense that
मोबा में है भाई
they
अच्छी
want to keep him on the Sova because he's so effective with
मोबा
that
खेलने
agent,
वाले अच्छे
no
प्लेयर
matter
है
what map it is.
मेरे पापा का एक
Or,
पुरानी
just mentioned Chambers.
फ्रेंड है
Honestly,
उनका
I would
बेटा
not be
मोबा
able
का
to
ई स्पोर्ट्स
score
प्लेयर है
on a
वो ऐसे ही
Chambers.
रैंडमली मेरे को नाम बताया था कि इनका बेटा ऐसे गेम खेलता है तेरी तरह
Yeah, I'm thinking
और
for
वो
Unitad
तो
as well,
पैसा
right?
कमाता
Are
है
we getting
तो
the
मैंने सर्च किया वो
Cypher,
तो
which is
सच में
still one
फेमस
of the
प्लेयर था
double
भाई
entry
वो तो
agents
डोटा
coming
2
onto a
प्लेयर
Split?
है
Are we going a little bit out and beyond onto a
मैंने
Killjoy?
कहा वाह
Are we
यार
getting a Vice? I think that would be really interesting if we are starting to cook with some new different agents as well. If you are running, you know, the Sage, you don't necessarily need to see the Cypher, so you can be a little bit more relaxed and assistive on potential flash variety. You know, so I think there is a lot to kind of theorize when it comes toward this one, but for a completely new roster, right, coming onto a map that's still technically one of the newer ones back in towards the pool, there is a lot of questions that you can raise and theorize.
भाई करानी क्या कर रहा है
Though, from what we're hearing from Crystal earlier, they are kind of ready for this, right? They're figuring out what they needed to after yesterday's game. We hear it from the coach as well. It's not their tactics or anything that is lacking, right? It's just a little bit of that chemistry and cohesion in timing. So you pick that back up. A map like Split starting off on the defensive side here, Uni. I mean, pistol, bonus, you know, you get those.
अबे यार तुम कमेंट्री बाद में करना सपोर्ट करना है टीम को यार
Esports at least look at an 8-4 as a minimum success before they head into the second half because it's not going to be easy, you know, attacking on Split, especially against an experienced team. Which clearly has been together for a lot longer, barring the one player change that they've got, of course, in the hands. So I expect Naus to do, you know, really good on their map pick. This is, of course, what they're comfortable with. But Global Esports, I fight, and because they're starting on defense, I would say anything less than an 8-4 will be a little concerning for the second half for me.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking toward it as well. And
मैं पानी बॉटल की बात कर रहा हूँ भाई वो भाई क्या मस्त पानी बॉटल है
and Split go hand in hand, right? That was a very large successive stat that, you know, we see for their Split success time and time again. So you remove, you know, you kind of star from the equation. You're left for the remaining guys to really pick up the pace, to step up, to get those clutches, or to not even see those clutches be required. Where you, again, flip it on over to his head for Global, where you've got the clutches that are coming in towards your side right now on this map, right? So he can fall back onto, you know, those common tendencies and those common...
यार कल की स्ट्रीम देखने में कार्ड क्लेम हुआ था लेकिन अभी तक मेरी इन्वेंटरी में आया नहीं कार्ड वैल्यू भी यार थोड़ी सी वैसी गेम है अजीब सी
heading straight into the game, and here is a really interesting set of comps. Both teams have opted for a Viper, and it's a single... No, forgive me. I was going to say single controller. Never mind. Oh my god, flashbacks. Double controller, of course, on both sides. They got an Astra on one, Omen on the other. A double duelist as well for the side of Naus, as they're going to be going for that Jet and Race combo. But...
एक भी Sentinel नहीं crazy.
No Sentinel on Naus. Pretty... you know, they've piqued my interest now. I'm really curious.
नहीं बैकस्टैप यार ऐसा सीन भी नहीं है बैकस्टैप तो होल्ड कर सकते हो अगर एक बंदा अच्छा खेल रहा है ना
a little bit more autonomy to play into the Viper.
जरूरी नहीं है Sentinel
and उनके पास दो controller side, but you flip on over and I mean we are getting the Sova to come through on Split. It's always one of these questionable scenarios, but we know how powerful Crystal can be with this agent, and more importantly for the rest of the squad, how they're going to play around it as well.
नहीं Raze good idea भाई Raze बहुत बड़े एजेंट है
रेस स्प्लिट पे बहुत अच्छे एंट्री ले सकते हैं
बहुत अच्छे
बाय माइल
अब देखे ना वहां पे नियॉन है ना
जेट भी ठीक है यार मेरे को लग रहा है नाउस का सही है नहीं नाउस का ठीक है
ये निकाला अरे यार केली
Oh, right click.
And it's going to be Emin to make sure that the B side is going to be empty for the taking.
No.
That's definitely going to come down. It's a 2v3, but he might have a jump on them here. Patrick, will he be able to stop the planner? No, he will not. He's going to walk out. Hurry. The drop down gets the first. Swings out for the other. Not too aware of the pillar position.
Clear kar le bhai.
Left.
Damn.
Half diff kar.
Full. Oh.
No cigar. It's gonna be Xavi.
Bros, don't fake, bhai.
From mid, just in time to secure that.
इसके बाद गलत हुआ यार क्रिस्टल के बाद बेचारे का राइट
That's a
क्लिक
little
डिफ हो
bit
गया
unfortunate. I was looking on
उसका राइट
towards
क्लिक
the
नहीं
radar
था
as
दूसरे
well.
का
There was
रहेगा
that potential alert coming through from
ये
Xavi
instant
way
replay
late
कैसे
into the
बनाते हैं
piece as
वो
well.
on
So
the
you
spot
technically
video
only
edit
needed
करते
to
हैं
see
लोग
Eman buy
नहीं, उसमें
some
option
time
होता है
on
ना।
those rotations.
ये
I was
इसमें
also
right
kind of
वालों ने
interested
option
to
नहीं
see
किया
how
रहता है
Papi's
game
playing
in
around
game
it because they're
हाँ
opting for the
मतलब
Astra
उसमें क्या
to
होता
again
है
play a little bit more autonomy.
OBS में
We're going
option
to see a
होता
lot of this off-action
कि
gameplay
you can
potentially come from a
like
lot of
10
these
or
members
10
on the
15
global
seconds
esports
before
squad.
तू button
And
जब
as you
दबाता है ना
mentioned
तो
as
उसके
well, you know, running
screen record हो जाता है
sentinel-less over on the attackers, it means that they're going to have to get a little bit more spread around the map and picking and choosing
यार
where
ट्रिम
they
तो हो
want to
जाता है
take
बट
their fights, what
उसको दिखाना है
information they
उसी
want to
टाइम
be
पे कैसे
using.
होता है
And I wouldn't actually
वो
mind
scene
seeing
switching
them
use
go a
करते हैं
little
बस
bit
और कुछ
quicker
नहीं।
as well, right? You've got the standard ability
थोड़ा
of
सा
putting
edit
the
और
flash
scene
with
switching।
double duelers to get in your face very quickly.
सही है
You can play with
उनका
the up
क्योंकि
and down
अपन
of the
जैसे
wall
OBS
over
यूज
through
करते हैं
the
ना
A site.
प्रोडक्शन लेवल का
It
OBS
is
बहुत
just
अलग होता
around
है
a
बहुत
Corsair
अलग
beauty,
होता है
and
एडवांस
we've got this B stack to come out from
वही
Global Esports. 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100. It should be now winning this sort of
रेडिएंट
round.
एपिसोड 2 बड़ी
And yeah, well, they're just going to path correctly to the other side of the map, and they're going to see no one home.
Yeah, there's just one camera there from Yudo who's left it just in case anybody comes through, and I'm pretty sure that they've spotted it as well. Yep, it's been taken out, and that's going to give the cue to Global Esports. This is going to be an A hit, but they're still going to stick around, expecting it to be a fake, most likely. But not going to be the case now. Still giving them the respect, playing it really quiet here. They're just going to walk through as they've gotten a free sight in their hands. They still look at.
Yeah, well,
they're actually really careful about how they head in, even if Global Esports are on eco.
Yeah, well, this is one of the things when you've got the solo initiator as well, right? When you've only got a Trailblazer and 2 flashes, if you're sacrificing them into the site, there's still a couple of angles that they could be hiding towards. So you do have to cut a couple of corners in this agent selection that Nous have found. As we now switch on to just damage allocation for Global.
Yeah.
पैटर्न नाम वापस चेंज कैसे किया कल
Does have that one disgusting weapon, which of course is one of his best attributes. The Bucky is gonna get into the side, slides down, nobody on elbow, but there is a trade. Crystal exchange one, and yes, get another one after the other. For keeping their mark here, and they're finding 3 weapons. That's a great eco from them. Even
ये अपना फैक्ट्री का नाम है वो
multiple नाम बंदे he considers a good eco round on any day to be at least 3 kills coming out of that, and hopefully just dropping
damn day turn saturation to 200%.
This is actually a decent damage round for them.
अबे saturation तो monitor के लिए होती तुम्हें कैसे दिख रही है भाई क्या बात कर रहे हो
right? It will be a little bit assisted for the guys over on Now, so they did get that plant down as well, but when you're considering Bucky getting a kill and a couple of classics in there as well, you're getting this extra utility on the side of Global coming into this 3rd round where it should lean a little bit more heavily in their favor. We're already seeing a little bit of spread action around the map in the exploratory form of the early rounds from Nous, so I wouldn't expect really anything too different on the back of that, as they are all grouped up over at A main at the moment, the wall blocking over with that dart, and no immediate rotations from Global Esports. They're playing a lot more reactive at the moment instead of gaining that initiative to get some forward action, because they really only do have what the recon dart from Crystal can find.
Yeah. They were hoping that
अबे कैमरा क्या एंगल है
mostly was gonna end up working against Now there.
नहीं ये स्पेक्टेटर का बोल रहा हूँ स्पेक्टेटर
का and he close tripwires and he's detected. He's gonna be having a lot of pressure. Come on him. He's moving around his own cages here, but Johnny still found one, and Yudo trades back. Still gonna be Now. And here comes Patrick on top. The other one's gonna blast a bunch of bullets into his face, and it's gonna be Mosier punishing him with his own favorite weapon. And once again, it's Global Esports on the back foot here. 2 versus 3. The ball's gonna go down, open for main, and it's up to the Clutch Kings here to bring.
Sorry.
Yeah, you got to wait to see what Poppy Smokes are going to be able to do right now as well. But they really need to get this crossfire into the mix together, and it's just not going to work out, is it? Nixie, right position, right timing as well, and at the end, it feels all too clinical for them to close that one out over on the side of the house too, because you just look at the beginning engagements, right? They're settled, they wait out Crystal's utility, he moves away from the action, and then you're putting in a Trailblazer with both of your duels
मैं क्यों नहीं थोड़ा सी वेट गेन होता मेरा मैं भी तो एक ही कुर्सी पे बैठे रहता हूँ पूरे दिन भर मेरा वेट गेन क्यों नहीं होता है
मेरा वेट लॉस क्यों नहीं हो रहा है
kind of difficult for Global to counter that, unfortunately.
Yeah, honestly,
4 साल हो गए एक ही कुर्सी पे बैठे बैठे गेन नहीं हो रहा
They're
है.
gonna put up maybe 4 on the back of this, and on attack, getting 4 in the first half of the first 4 rounds is a big win on split. Unless of course we see
हाँ तो भाई बहुत पसीने छूटते हैं.
This is right now Now's playground, and they're showing why they picked this map.
पसीना वो
Yeah, there's a lot more of a premium on Crystal's utility being successful as well.
क्या
You can't really just
hello
rely upon the Cypher camera to be playing back either. It needs to be forward to gain early information. Because you immediately see one player on side of Global Esports spotting out 2 in mid, and that's caused for immediate
अरे moshpit वगैरह
expecting that there might be a bit of a pinch coming in towards it. This is one of the deficits on this roster of agents that Global is seeing. They have to
भाई लास्ट शो में तो ऑरा हुआ था मेरा भाई. MC स्टैन का गाना बज गया, मैं फोन में कैमरा खुल नहीं रहा, मेरे दोस्त ने बोला क्या हुआ, मैं सीधा फोन जेब में रखा, बीच में आया, क्राउड के एकदम सर्कल गए और हाथ ऊपर कर लिया मैंने.
They do have the ultimate coming in, and there's lightning strike. Overdrive gets the one, and this is a big round changer. It always has been, but the instant coming in towards the B side, they're running in towards B heaven. There's a Mojo here to take the charge.
Oh boy, crazy movement.
A little bit. He's on a half HP. Poppy's ready for
क्या मस्त रही है.
It's gonna be a big kill. They turn around, the flash comes in. There comes once again. It's gonna be Patrick, but now jump down like a waterfall with all
hang on.
Oh shit, ऊपर उन्ना.
To stick this plant now, Nexi. He spotted Yudo.
Oh, this him? He saw him.
Yeah, he did. It's gonna come down the wire here. He's gonna have to stick it. Cam goes out. He's gonna try and take it out, but the tag comes in. Yudo plays it safe, holds on for a second, spots him again, and he clutches it out.
Nice.
It's gonna be a global esports.
Better.
We saw something similar yesterday. We're gonna see something.
Big round of neon art copium.
The incision point being that overdrive from the neon.
Nice.
I mean, what did we hear earlier on in the piece with our input of the coaches, right? We heard that it's going to be your duelist to find the space with the team on the sides, and it's going to be your sentinel to solo find their space and find their impact, their frags around every other part of the map. And that's exactly what we see from Yudatan at the end there. The 1 versus 1 coming forward. But the heavy lifting, really, the information that they spotted out early, having the right players at the right time and stalling Nouse from flooding out heaven. I was concerned for Papi overstaying his welcome, playing towards hell, but he did what was required. Some damage, some time buying for the teams to rotate and
game
get the
खेल रहा
job
मतलब
done.
समझ नहीं
Now
आया
you shift
मेरे.
into a quick A creep from Nouse up towards ramp to find full control, but immediately initiative up through mid from Global as well. They know that they have the rotation covered.
कर सकता हूँ मैं.
Yeah.
अरे मेरे को अपने न्यू चैनल में खोलना पड़ेगा.
By one, does not follow for the second. Yudo still on
न्यू
site.
चैनल खोल के तो थोड़ा सी गेन करके तब हुआ.
Yudo goes out of the smoke. Unfortunately, could not have done anything else. Xavi was ready for him right there. And Kelly on the flank might just be found. No, he's going to be taken out. Xavi's gone. And that is a flank they need to worry about now. Once Heaven, the heal comes back. The Rigot is going to help Mosier.
भाई राइट फिश बम बड़ी यार मेरे को कब मिलेगा.
On towards Poppy if he decides to come into CT, and that's exactly what he's done. But now it is.
ट्विटर पे है मेरा एक दोस्त डेवलपर बट
Poppy, a lot of stars being deployed here. Lovely smoke. The stun goes through, and there it helps Kelly. He gets the first, but they don't know Mojo is here. Poppy needs to check this, and he will. It's come down to this Nexi now.
Nice.
Smokes the entire side, keeps himself healthy.
Oh,
does not get the
yeah.
It's going to
saved by a mile.
Once again, clutching for his team. This time against his ex-team. And,
instant replay last play हो गया sir.
I mean, we talk about Papi, right? The clutch rate that he comes through, where required at the end. Though, not for a lack of effort from Nexi. The 1 versus 2, playing around his opponent's utility, dropping down a dark cover for himself. An opportunity if he wants to relocate into that one as well, but takes the angle. Gotta say, that was a 2 versus 3 conversion in the end that we do see from Global Esports. Papi having Cosmic Divide available too, reminder, but not using it. So some great communications you would expect in that scenario for the 2 remaining.
अब खेलने सिंगापुर के सर्वर लास्ट शायद ये हांगकांग के सर्वर
still
खेल
keep
रहे
this
थे.
map in contention, right? 2 rounds in a row.
तभी 70 पिंग थी.
We're seeing Nouse get in towards these sites, but we're not seeing them with enough players.
क्योंकि वो पैट्रिक फिलिपिन में ही है.
So we'll change now going into this new 6th round. They're going up through the guts of mid. They're pushing Global Esports back already, and the hunt is actually on to Kelly S. He has to give up full control of events, so you can pause if you are now.
Crazy.
And look for a bit of a reset. That's quite unfortunate for Yudatan.
Yeah, he gets the favor return that he delivered to Xavi 2 rounds ago on that eco round. That's what started off this 2 rounds.
आ गया.
There he is, Patrick
भाई
finding the
इतना
trade
damage
off
क्यों
on
ले
the other
रहे
side of
हैं?
the map
Yeah.
for what was lost.
बेटा की जगह पे
And now
headshot
It's
था.
a counter
have
2
a
though,
plan now.
Uni.
Yeah, it is.
It's counter 2. He saw both of them. They have to still be quite paranoid that there might be a flank because they saw that Xavier AK was running away from the opponents, running away from the teammates there. Now they've found him. Okay, advantage. Hunter's Fury, actually, if you want, for Crystal to rip.
Indeed. They do have the Cosmic. Yeah, as soon as I mention it, it comes right down. Stars across to make sure that they don't get any room to play with. They spotted Mojer, and there comes another one as well. He's going to come into Hunter's Fury here, just to give him
moment try, but बच गया वो list.
He's going to tag Mojer, but Shah, he's holding actually a pretty great position. He could get into a nice little hole here and find himself around and
damn.
well. The crossfire, the triple crossfire.
Oh bhai.
One from CT, one from Heaven, and
Lift
one
कर दिया
from
भाई.
the back of the site. Really great post-line positions here from Naos as they find themselves on number 4.
I gotta say, that is a gorgeous pick of plant position from Naus at the end there as well. Recognizing the fact that they've lost control of Garage when that kill comes through on towards Nexi. Recognizing that Xavier AK is no longer near the action as well. You can't be planting in a default spot. You know that the Hunter's Fury, or rather the Cosmic Divide at that point in time, is normally going to be placed to offset that main spam line, right? It's going to generally be planted for main if you've got full control of the site. So just the quick recognition for the guys over on Naus to plant over towards side spawn instead, it really throws a spanner in the works for what Global tried to do. You could immediately see as soon as the Cosmic Divide went down, they charged to try and get on the spike defuse at that default spot. And, well, what do you know? The spike wasn't there.
Yeah. You know, it was actually really smart play from Naus to plant it all the way so deep, right at the edge of, you know, where the spawn cavity is. And they just got Mojer to take in all of the attention. Ja was untouched by the Hunter's Fury. He played at the edge of that, you know, wall, expecting somebody to walk in there. But it was such a great, you know, play from Eman because he kept the, you know, attention continued onto Mojer, because the minute Mojer got tagged by the Hunter's Fury, there's a flash that came in from Heaven, and Ja went completely undetected, and he found 2 there.
Yeah.
Followed up, of course, by his
It's great.
Yeah,
it's great movement from Moja as well on the raise kit, just to make sure that he is, you know, getting around that. I got to say as well for Eman, really great playing around this regrowth. As we'll put a pause on that one because we do have some space and control over in the main. There is some significant damage to 2 of these members on Global Esports already.
Yeah, a lot of it. They've set up the bucket a little close by getting those smokes down. Now it's exploring every part of the map at the moment. Once again, Xavi back on his alert towards A. He's going to just hold on to that as Patrick is eager to find somebody just jiggle in and let Poppy do take the first contact. On the back of it. The regrowth is here once again. Got to clutch this piece of utility.
Exactly what I wanted to highlight was the time that the Eman has been always finding for the regrowth to come on out. But now when pressure starts to build, Uni, we're seeing a little bit of ill-advised duels from Global Esports sticking around against these primary rifles when they don't really have enough to be able to throw at it. And you've also then got a gap in case things do start to come back towards the A site. 40 seconds? An opportunity still. But it kind of really just depends on what Yudatan can do over at the A side.
Yeah, Xavi's still not made any peeksy whatsoever on that A side. He's not been spotted. I think he was just now. I just saw a fading question mark towards A main. But he's good job. And now know for a fact that this B side is a lot more easily you know, comparable from them. But Crystal.
Oh, time. Oh,
but gets the one big kill that see.
मैं बोला timing हो गया, उमन छिप गया भाई पीछे.
If he decides to go down towards the inside, you could actually pick up 2 weapons.
Yeah. You might have to Viper's Pit here as well if you are now. I mean, you want a little bit of the protection because this is where things get a bit risky in the 3 versus 3, and you've given guns over to Global.
But
now they know this is going to be mostly a main hit. There they spot. This should be a CT take, but Kelly, his position is going to be paramount. And like you said, there comes the pit, but it's already given up one. Emin's going to have to play around, but he cannot. It's all into Xavi to keep this pit alive, to keep his team alive for this round. It's a counter wiper pit coming from Kelly. But time is of the essence here. He needs to play against it. Xavi gets Kelly, and that's going to drop it down. But Crystal, once again with the club, there is no time. It doesn't matter how much he sits there to try and it's not going to work out. Around really
timing bhai crazy
as well. Even though they drained out, you know, that Viper spit from Naus, they lost the neural depth and their own Viper
alt unnecessary tha bhai.
Yeah, quite expensive for themselves as well. I was really questioning as soon as I saw Kelly S going for that Viper's Pit as well, because it was Kelly and it was Crystal who were relatively low before even getting into that environment, right? So that's what you're kind of considering. Okay, they're 2 players low in the pit, counter pitting. It's an open plant, spammable from side spawn. That is extremely risky to go for that in the end there. And yeah, Crystal gets the trade, but too little too late in that point in time. So now it's starting to really build up with great padding on this attacking side right now, but a shutdown in the B main immediately. Oh, wow. And now this is where I say settle down. You've got the advantage. You don't need to give anything up.
Yeah. Okay, he finds Kelly in an awkward position, but Patrick once again ready for the aim.
2v3.
We'll find a little bit of an opening towards the A side. Yudo and Xavi have their constant fight going on at that A main. It's going to be Xavi coming out on top once again, but Crystal's there to try and make sure that there's no more penetrations on that side of the map. Whereas actually crawled in. He's got a lot of information here. He could call Xavi to just come back to the B side once he gets a little more deeper, and that's exactly the call. Look at him. Xavi's already made his way into...
It's not only Emon's information as well. It's the fact that the call from Xavi is that Crystal is still over at A. That they know that it is maximum 2 players over at B. It's why you've got the solo pathing. You clear everything out. I would not be surprised right now if Emon gets the plant and then hits the Seekers to see if there's any late flanks coming through. If there's anyone coming through that's really close to protect it on the plant. Because this is that gamble rotation over for Global Esports, and it's okay, it's very valid because they've still got the player advantage, but 20 seconds to go, now you start to consider, okay, have we potentially opened up to a B main flank? Because this smoke, it throws a bit of a spanner in the works again. You have to consider it. I'm expecting the speakers to be ripped from Emon, and they are.
Yeah, there they are. Now they know that all 3 are here, and it's going to be a all-out brawl, but Crystal!
What a shot!
The Phantom Curse! The Phantom Curse hits him, and Emon's gonna have to fight it out.
भाई.
The recon does wonders. Let Patrick stabilize at the last second there. And it's Global Esports making a good decision to just stick together, not leaving anybody on.
Phantom का 140 damage भाई.
Sure that both, you know, Patrick and
यही तो गलत है.
Crystal and not really give anything to Emon to play with was actually, you know, paramount. Because if Emon had gotten even 1 kill, it would have been a 2v2 real difficult because Crystal's on the other side of the map.
It's just playing strength in numbers at that point in time as well. You're either playing a full retake with a player advantage, or you're having all your members there for a battle and to justify getting trades very rapidly, right? So really nicely done for Global Esports to just make sure they're all on the same page at that point in time. And I will still say a valiant effort for Naus, the caveat being a very big Phantom versus Vandal diff in one of those decisive duels as well.
Yeah.
As we still keep things competitive here, now structuring up for yet again some great ramp control that kind of does have to be respected.
Oh, Crystal so aware. He just knows, doesn't he? He knows he dodged that recon, came up close with that, a little bit of that tangent. Look at his position. He's actually kind of crawled in to win.
Yeah, but he can't do anything with it really.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So we'll have to see a little bit of lull in action now come through. Although, with that drone, actually, there is timing. The camera didn't even spot out Jar. Unfortunately, Crystal was ready with the gun, but it's not available for that one. And now it's a little bit more awkward for Patrick, isn't it? Because they're like ships in the night. They pass each other in darkness, but 2 versus 2 now.
No, never mind.
Eman, he could win a potential 1 versus Patrick. What a shutdown on that shot. Uni, now it's all on to Papi.
This is what is called muh pe chappal.
1v2.
Crystal भाई फटके में गायब.
So that is a takeable duel at the moment. He needs to find it because he knows he's low.
अरे यार.
He knows that one's
भाई वो जो प्यारा टैब दिया है.
जुवेनाइल भैया. क्या कुछ कर रहे हो आप?
Confuse him about his own position.
देखो आप खिलाड़ी क्या कर रहे हैं.
Push in from CT. There's every corner. Time
भाई
working against the cluster. He needs to move right now.
वो खेल अच्छा रहा है, वो दिक्कत नहीं है.
But takes out his knife. Not expecting somebody to be watching the outing there. It's gonna be number 6.
मेरे को लग रहा है 9-3 भी हो सकता है, 8-4 भी हो सकता है.
I'm gonna say, Kamado, this is a little concerning given 6 on split.
Yeah.
अबे वो सब जानते. Let's mention the elephant in the room.
I'm looking at Papi as well, and I had a bit of a thought, have we actually ever seen him play on the Astra? And the answer is no, right? So there's a little bit of that agent exploration that you have to come in towards it, and again, perfect tournament to be able to do so, right? When you're trying to figure out things,
Guardians is a choppal diya, crazy.
Changing agents, you know, is there role comfort for Papi on the Astra at the moment? It doesn't really
अगर वो shot नहीं लगता ना,
he's out of the action a lot of times, but for right now, I mean, who is feeling comfortable? It's that man right there.
Oh, nice.
Patrick with that bucket, it's Crystal with the Sheriff. Disregard the Sova. It's 5 versus 3, and an opportunity for Global Esports to actually pick apart this round.
Nice. नहीं ओवर एग्रेस कर रहा है भाई. पोकड़ ओवर एग्रेस.
वो भाई
पोकड़ ओवर एग्रेस किया.
नहीं वहाँ फालतू में ओवर एग्रेसिव क्यों हो.
बस अब एक लेफ्ट में है.
ये फैट चाटा.
ओके crazy.
Look at the recovery, man.
Bhai.
That is clinically insane. I'm not gonna lie. From the 5
भाई ये निकल जाता भाई. 2v5 था.
2 members.
Oh, 3v5 था.
One back for the side of Naus. Yeah, that one is real interesting. Should have been around for Naus to be able to get that one back.
इमाम भाई खेल रहा है भाई. इमाम भाई.
Right here.
We'll have to see coming into this freshie.
Right here.
If Global is going to be able to at least make it interesting and bring us back onto the 7-5. Again, a couple of these ultimates that they do have in possession. But once again, I got to say, the amount of space that they keep getting up towards the ramp for now, so I'm surprised that there's no real connections on that Hunter's Fury coming through. You've already got the creep up through mid as well. Patrick isn't able to find too much there, but Yudo Tan on towards next. You start to get
इसकी ulti सी को effect कर गई.
Just the trades, the battles in 2 separate parts of the map. Jar doubling down. And it's once again onto Crystal and Papi to see if they can recover this one. Great positioning from Crystal, actually. It'll be unexpected, but maybe spotted out. The answer's going to be no. The one onto Emma, not the second. On towards Jar, who's looking for the 4K. And it will be Papi.
Oh.
Just again, he can't get that one. A 4K from Jar going above and beyond. Now,
millisecond का dip भाई. Millisecond.
Solid effort on split.
I'm back. Am I back? Can you hear me?
किसका पहले गोली निकलती है.
Welcome back. All right. Thank you. All right, I'm back. Sorry, small little technical glitch on my end, but another round for now, as it seems, should have gone around. I actually kind of missed a bunch of that round because it's trying to just reconnect. But we're here on the final round. A bunch of ultimates to work with over here for Naus. Actually, this should be anything but a GE round at this point, by the looks of it at least. An aggressive mid-take, it seems. There comes the ultimate, and G just commit to the fight. Moser finds 2, but
ये भाई ये थ्रो कर रहा है क्या? बहुत ज़्यादा ओवर एग्रेसिव हो रहा है भाई. बहुत ज़्यादा. क्यों?
To no avail. The enabler here, the double clip comes out. It's gonna be Emin to find the trade. He's got a Yudo up against him. Out goes the flash. He's a blind man here, but somehow okay.
Spike down mid.
And at the end of it all, it trickles down to a quiet 1v1, which, well, after a pretty chaotic.
It's all really down to timing and experience and a little bit of luck at this point as well. You've got your utilities over at the A side if you are Yudo, but you sit back a little bit. You let Xavi kind of reveal himself at the moment, though. I did just notice that Xavi is 1 away from Viper's Pit. So
हमेशा B plan देता है, उसे मालूम है.
That Yudo going to be able to figure out. I'm also seeing from that mid-duel, something that Moja's been doing really well so far is finding immediate space on this raise. And something that Patrick, I'll give some free analysis to them right now. Every time we see a kill from Patrick, he always doubles down and goes for a slide in for a second one almost immediately. And he's bitten off more than he can chew once again. So there's a little bit of free gimme. That one needs to be reeled in just a tad.
Yeah,
ये बस टैप करेगा और ये गया.
Does he push up towards
lag.
गलती कर दी.
Down as his smoke is gonna cover him up for just a couple of seconds.
गलती कर दी भाई.
As it comes up, goes down just as quick as GE find a 4th round. You know, I did mention before the game that it would be great for GE to find the 8-4.
भाई क्या
would be the minimum
गंदे
for them. It seems
देखना
like they heard the opposite.
अबे मिड फाइट हो रही है, वो वाइपर बी पे क्या कर रहा है? जल्दी आए ना, सीधा हेल्प करे
Valorant experience at the end
यार।
there for Yudotan too, right? In recognizing the fact that the plant goes down, the pit will be available. You've got that deploy time that it comes through, which you pretty much usually guarantee to kill unless that body gets the better of you. So well done at the end to bring a sense of stability to the
क्योंकि aggressive खेल रहा है ना वो, उसको बस kills
global esports. And as we just peek into this scoreboard, look at old mate Patrick. He's currently on 16 frags on that side. He's putting in.
But उसे भाई throw भी वही कर रहा है फिर उस हिसाब से.
It's got to come together, and this attacking side is honestly going to be quite important. Layering their utility quite nicely because a single spot of information and a single duelist for entries with, by the way, 0 flash ability. That is a little bit of a worry for me.
मिड में 4 बंदे.
Set play over here. Kelly is lining up for Molly, and he's gonna go down right at the back of the side.
Nice.
Oh, there he goes. It's gonna be Patrick once again, leading the charge for his team. A great
Oh, nice.
Instantly trades.
Oh.
Oh my God, these duelists are exchanging it all, and it's gonna be a blinded.
एस था उसका.
एस अबे तो अपना जेट भी तो भाई क्यों क्रेजी मारा उतर के.
वहाँ से उनका जेट.
That's crazy. That is crazy shots from Jar, but I think more importantly, that's Global Esports showcasing a full set prepared execute on towards the B side. You can see the combination of Snake's Bite and Gravity Well to off-put and offset the opponents, making them vulnerable by 2 pieces of utility no matter what, allowing Patrick to rapidly run on in, to slide around the site as well to get the kills where required, because you've got no vision from the top of the site with the smokes that are down. You've got no straight shots on the bottom of the site. If you're vulnerable, you're dead very quickly. So that was really nicely done from Global, and technically Ace also stolen at the end there by Kelly. But hey, look, it's okay. They got the pistol, right?
PRX कैसे खेलती थी भाई, एकदम घुस-घुस के मारो.
वही तो.
वहाँ पे जिंग.
Something भी ऐसा ही खेलता है.
हाँ,
something तो भाई वार्ड लगाता है वार्ड.
Go up. It's gonna be Patrick once again. No,
nice Crystal, nice.
Supporting him there. And the other two, there's 2 more.
इनका aggression ही क्या fault है क्या?
Potential for them to actually drop.
क्यों है ना aggression दिखाना भी चाहिए.
It seems like they are gonna be doing it, but
Oh.
no way, Shabi, how do you get 3?
ठीक है चलेगा.
Yudo's
That's
gonna
a free gun, by the way.
Yeah,
भाई लेकिन 3 मार कैसे गया वो?
expensive round for
वो भी
Global
crystal हो pistol से.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ah,
Again,
classic
you think
se mara
about what we saw
banda.
in the first half, right? 3 kills in that second round can certainly have an impact coming in towards the bonus, but we also have to consider that Naus did win that bonus round pretty convincingly, mind you. So there's a lot more pressure on Global Esports right now to ensure that they are also dotting I's, crossing T's, and how they're navigating this round, because they're going to be up against the better weaponry. They're going to have a bit of lacking utility for their own. I mean, I'm looking at the light shields. You got 2 Spectres carrying over. You got 2 Guardians as well. You're kind of expecting maybe some early set of utility that you need to force them back. But Hello Sunshine over in the distance, ambitious from Jar. Look where he's died. He has been flashed in and pushed very deep. And now you say goodbye to Nexi. Long range from the Spectre. Okay, hello, Global. This is now their round for the
Nade plant spot पे Nade plant spot.
Well, I'm pleasantly surprised that
Nade
they're
bhai hai
doing
nahi na
exactly
Nade.
what Naus did in their first half. The 3rd round, Xavi does get the trade on though, and that stopped the plant for a couple of seconds. Mojo is going to deny it a little bit longer with his nade. The paint shell's making it a little bit easier.
Crazy.
Closer, and now they've got that Sky.
उसे मालूम है corner पे.
The utility, and there it goes. It tags
Oh, nice.
Trailblazer.
Oh, nice.
It's gonna be the fingers that's gonna pop the lightning strikes, and there he goes, putting extra pressure on Naus. Patrick.
God,
Hold on, no, he can do it.
Nice रे अबे.
भाई आ रहा है, comeback आ रहा है, comeback.
हो गया comeback अभी क्या?
नहीं कल भी ऐसे ही सीन हुआ था.
अरे इनका डिफेंस अच्छा है बे.
Really good stuff, but also I would say, you know, kind of got lucky that, you know, it was now it's kind of giving those.
इनका डिफेंस अच्छा है.
Well, there was a small turning point in the round actually at the end there as
Defense
well.
किसी अच्छा नहीं, दोनों का attack अच्छा है, ये
nearly offsets Patrick's aim enough that the kill goes the other way, and then you're looking at nearing that equalization because it was really Patrick finding a lot of that time before the spike play goes down. So for Global Esports, a little luck
defense इतना अच्छा
through, and now they're knocking at the door of now. 1 round difference.
Sentinel होके आ गए थे.
Bit more of that mid exploration again. Standard default across the map for Global. And just the how do you do peaks to come through from Naus, who do
He
have,
got
a
but
little
agar
bit of
Neon thoda
conversation
sa
to be
ये हो
had,
गया
right?
ना,
These free little
तो
lower
nerf
equipped
होना।
rounds, you can use them
ये
to get
Neon
yourself
nerf
in
nerf
order
होगा
on
तो
how you
सही,
want to navigate it
क्या
a little
होगा
bit
वो नहीं
later.
पता।
Uni, so far you've seen that Yudatan is
भाई
narrowly
जैसा
lurking
था
towards
स्टार्टिंग में
the
वैसे ही कर
A
दे।
side. Secure that he's here by the cage, by the flash.
भाई क्या trap था।
Significant shot on
मजा
towards
आ गया
MR2,
भाई।
but if he keeps on going,
मरेगा
there's
वो।
an opportunity for Jar to find him
वाह।
and steal. Now
ये
that's
देखा ये
directly-
टैप करके फिर ऐसी छोटी मोटी मिस्टेक हो जाती है इनसे।
मैक्रो मैक्रो में खाली प्रॉब्लम हो रही है बस, बाकी नहीं अच्छा खेल रही है।
Jar actually rotating, come in. The flash is going to help him blind in the darkness. Once again, is
What buffer?
पार्टी लेफ्ट पीछे
Mosier
अबे यार
going
shit।
missing his shot.
बफर क्यों हुआ?
देख ले।
He wants to give enough damage,
कोई ना।
and it's just the Patrick who's show right now. Jar
इसकी
is
गलती
going
नहीं
to
है,
try
इनकी
and
गलती है।
contest that, give his own little
8-8 भाई।
round, but it's not going to be enough. 8-8, Global Esports almost seemed like there was
8-8,
never a
8-8.
deficit with how quickly
25
these 4
kill
rounds have
भाई।
gotten by.
भाई
Yeah,
server
it
भाई
definitely
तो
feels
उड़ा
like
है
they've
बंदा।
got a little bit more
क्या किया?
preparation in towards their attacking side on split just by armchair
दिखा, दिखा,
analysis
दिखा।
at the moment.
कैसे
They've
ठोका
got a
इसने।
lot of these timing executes down pat. They've got a lot on how they want to play their lurks for Yudotan, but more importantly, just the reactiveness at the moment that we're seeing from the duelists on both of these sides has been really important. We've got Patrick who's dashing and sliding and being very reactive, but we've got also Moja. Yeah, the kills aren't really showing it, but the mechanics of trying to fly around and trying to find a couple of these duels, he's losing them, so maybe reel it back a little bit.
लाइसेंस दे के रखा है भाई तू उड़ा।
Point for effort.
भाई 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 गया चढ़ गया
On towards
ए
अभी शॉट
मत बोल तू।
rotated away, and he's not going to be
मत बोल
okay.
तू।
He is. Udo should have gotten that kill there.
not expected from Overton.
Only a matter of time before he kind of was reeled into a false sense of security, which is exactly what happens there with Jar on the operator, who now secures extra space at a forward line, hearing that Heaven is vulnerable, Ramp is going to be vulnerable in a few mere moments, so they do have to start to piece together extra information. That's why
Attacking
you see
में
the creep
op
up
भाई।
from Naus in towards the garage at the moment. The
Confidence।
idea is that that is a weak spot. They're losing
Attacking
mid.
में
You've
op,
got to pick up the
defend कर रहा है
space
ना op।
elsewhere. Harpy now he secures it. Do not fight again.
Defender
Your
है।
team needs your smokes.
Yeah.
हाँ
Yeah, but he's getting pushed upon. I'm not sure he
क्या हो
can
गया?
angle.
अब
He
मैं
does in the
दिमाग
end
को क्या हो गया भाई ये
restabilize
जाना।
his aim, gets the one, but Global Esports extending elsewhere, and they've lost Poppy in towards mid as well.
2v3 नहीं 2v4
He's gonna
सॉरी।
he's gonna put the spike down as
भाई ये बंदा प्लांट कर रहा है भाई, कोई बंदा है मेरा नहीं है।
He's gonna need to win this first duel. Yeah, Chris
प्लांट ईगो निकल जाते हैं ना फिर नेक्स्ट राउंड अगर बाय आ जाए।
Patrick
1v4 भाई 1v4
either.
हाँ
A
चल हाँ
big,
चलेगा
big,
एंटी।
I would say, sigh of relief for now.
पहला किल भी
winning
इसने ही
this
मारा था
round
ना,
because
नहीं
they
पापी
were
छोले ने
letting
मारा
Global
था।
Esports dictate the pace of the game. And to be fair, Global Esports, pretty much across the entire first 4 rounds, they've
ये
been
बंदा
playing
जैसे
that
लेट के
contact
खेल रहा है ना,
approach
ऐसे ही
that
लेट के
way.
खेलता हूँ मैं
It's
पूरा।
been mostly their execute coming on the
कौन
back of the
लेट के खेल
minute.
रहा है?
It's gonna be Patrick or
ना उसका एक कौन सा
Crystal's
बंदा था
drone
जो
that finds
पहले
the
नंबर पे
contact.
था
If that
एकदम।
happens, they're just gonna burst out of the scene and let Yudo do his thing on the other side of the map.
बस इसकी
And
चेयर पूरी
they
नीचे तक जाती है,
actually
मेरी
got
नीचे जाती है तो मैं
Kelly
गिनने लग
playing
जाता हूँ।
sort of pseudo second duelist with the Viper. He's been helping
कि मेरी
Patrick
ऑफिस है,
really
मेरी
well.
गेमिंग चेयर
It's
नहीं
been
है।
Crystal as well, who's kind of swinging out the same angles, and the rest is just letting Patrick being set up by the utility that Poppy's putting down to just kind of suffocate these players of Naus on that B
वाइपर
site.
के लिए इसको भाई वाइपर डिप बहुत गंदा वाइपर डिप हुआ है।
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking on towards that round 5.
हो रहा है
where we
भाई,
do get
हो
one
रहा
back
है।
over towards Naus, but I'm thinking more importantly the
Oh,
building
nice।
of that lurk from
मैं
Udotan.
इनसे निकाल दूँ उनका, फिर
I
बाकी
thought
गेम
they'd be able to
अपनी
play it a little
हमेशा
bit
यही
differently,
होता
a
है
little
वैलो।
slower, and
यार,
keep a body from Naus eyed on towards that potential later lurk, but an immediate challenge from Jar, an immediate dispatchment, and an immediate head scratcher
timing.
for Global Esports. What do you want to do to try and get back in towards this one, right? You're going to have to play on the back of a little bit of timing on this toxic screen. There's a gap in it.
निकल गया
It
भाई,
does
निकल गया
allow Crystal
क्रिस्टल।
to escape, but once moreover, Udotan again is just going to have to shift
Nice.
into this really late lurk. So you're essentially looking at a 3 versus 5 where the action is concerned.
Yeah, Yudo's just trying to keep them busy on the A side, taking out.
मेरे को ना हर बार ऐसा लगता है कि भाई
Trailblazer
प्लेयर अच्छे
putting
होते
down a
हैं,
tripwire,
टीम
just
में आके
give a
क्या
little
होता है
sound
कोई
cue,
समझ
but
नहीं
now
आता।
नहीं
they're
नहीं
not
नहीं ये
able
बार
to
ऐसा नहीं लग रहा
any
है।
sort of attention
Yeah,
to that.
उसको
They
लगा
might
कि
have
नहीं होता है, वो होता है,
Texas
हाँ
G में
होता
था,
है।
Texas G में
Heaven's
था।
considering a move back towards B.
नहीं नहीं वो
Tech-
फर्स्ट ईयर तो
Still
काउंट ही
doing
मत
as
कर।
much
फर्स्ट
as
ईयर
he
पता है
can.
तेरे को
He's
क्या
getting
हुआ
up
है?
close now as
क्या?
well. Could crawl into
ग्लोबल
wins. Maybe find the timing.
पहले
He's
ऐसे
gonna-
ही इंडिया में
Yeah,
वो
there
हमारे
comes the flash
इंडिया
on
में
B
ऐसे
main
कई
though.
बार ऐसा हुआ है
Next
कि
he's
जो
gonna go
फ्रेंचाइजी
down.
उनको
Couldn't
शॉर्ट
find the
मिला
proper fight. And
बराबर।
Kelly is snapped
तो
on Mosier
आरबीआई
as
में
well.
रूल गोल्स ही नहीं थे भाई तो करोड़ों रुपए मिल रहे एवरी मंथ सॉरी एवरी ईयर।
अच्छा हाँ वो वाला था
हाँ पता है ना तेरे को वो चीज़ तो रिएक्ट कैसे करना है आरबीआई वालों को पता ही नहीं था। तो फर्स्ट ईयर तो खाली भाई बंदों के पास फोर्स ये वो फलाना ढिमकाना करने में वो सब हो गए थे। हाँ रॉसी का वीजा का इशू था वहाँ से अपना लाइटिंग फास्ट था 7 लोग इसके लिए तो किए थे भाई दूसरों 5 लोग के पासपोर्ट जो अच्छे हैं उन लोग को ले लिया अपने में। फर्स्ट ईयर तो समझते रहे ये करने में क्या अब सेकेंड ईयर में तेरा ये प्रॉब्लम हुआ कि सारे लेट हो गया सेकेंड ईयर चालू करते करते ही तो तुम्हारे अच्छे प्लेयर्स चले गए फिर जो प्लेयर्स बचे थे उन लोग को लिया। कौन सा फेमस प्लेयर थोड़ी
चल डिफ्यूज अबे यार
एरिन था देख पहले रास्टर में एरिन था एरिन भाई एक्सेप्ट
हाँ
का
एरिन अच्छा था बस फर्स्ट ईयर का तो यार फर्स्ट ईयर का तो तू वही एरिन फर्स्ट की टीम जबरदस्त थी सेकंड ईयर की टीम ही अच्छी नहीं थी कोई फेमस प्लेयर था ही नहीं।
So I'm looking at this round and I'm looking at a
ये
little
बार
bit of
टीम
time.
बैंका का बोल सकते हैं मतलब
बैंका यार
You can see the fallback from towards the side and you can see a little bit of a premium on waiting for Yudotan's flank to come through in the expectation that it will as well. Right? So that first kill that actually comes through from Crystal is paramount to this success to be able to get into the site because you can't reset if you lose him in that position as well. There's 30 seconds to still try and get some players in towards the site, and you're not doing it at an advantage anymore. You're doing it at more of a deficit than an equalization. So really important that that's one, but also that they mitigate those sort of circumstances as much as possible going into these forward rounds. You don't want to let the time tick down to the wire, and it relies on these required items happening in this sequential order. You need to be making sure that bits and pieces of the puzzle are built in certain different locations at the same time, which we're not really seeing too much in the last couple of rounds. We did in the pistol in the secondary rounds, but these last 4 we haven't really seen too hard.
Yeah, I know. There is one thing I believe they could go for it now. So maybe get Xavi to deploy that, practice fit towards mid. Just deny any control whatsoever. Set him up with one player there. Kind of make Global Esports find their way through the extremities.
अब अगर इन्होंने मतलब वापस चालू किया वो
momentum on mid is especially difficult because of the amount of damage you have to take to try and chase anybody down.
And with no flash to push through these single extremities that split exactly as well, if the pit is in mid, it does make it a little bit more difficult. So you're right, you're not wrong, but for right now, I mean, they're setting up for once again this B execute to path in and the recon dart that'll go back towards backside. So it really comes against this bit of an eco from Naus that they might just have to make this spike and they're going to be away from it into a 5 versus 5 post plant where you've got Crystal on a Hunter's Fury playing in towards real deep spawn if required too. So this should 100% be
so अच्छा है भाई split पे
giving Jar options. He's gonna take him.
Yeah, the Viper spin is right now the only condition they've got. A Hunter's Fury committed from the attacking side just to give a little bit more pressure. Trailblazer's gonna spot him. And they're gonna run straight in with Nexi. Fires a stray bullet and it finds the head of Yudotan. It's gonna be on to Kelly.
Oh!
This drop with Moser slaps him in the face. And it's all on Crystal. But the time is against him. Will he get that shotgun in time? No, he defused it. It's not even gonna be enough damage for him. And Global Esports, that is not a round you can lose. Not like this.
I mean, the pit goes down for Kelly S, but the plant isn't on for the backer site, so it is the ricochet required for Crystal to get that shot rolled out in the end. And I gotta say, a nice shot for Nexi in it and for Moja. Finally on the back of bouncing around on the blast packs, he gets kill in a little bit of style, but yeah, really, those trades to come through, and the biggest glaring face puncher is literally going to be the operator that Jar gets 2 for in the open and now opens up for the B main early pick.
Scout
destroyed. Early information exchange towards A main.
ओए gift दे दी membership.
Trailblazer destroyed, so he knows there's at least 2 players here.
Rusindaran है.
Global Esports, they're probably keen right now taking their fight on towards Rams. Mosier's here. The flash is gonna help him. Oh, he does spot a bunch of players, and he's gonna get one and does not.
मैंने बोला ना देते तो हैं ये
because his teammate's gonna get out, but he finds a counter trade a little too ambitious once again there. Actually didn't really need to commit to that fight. I understand the stun and sliding, but
बूम बॉडी बढ़ेगा इसके पीछे अभी तो
50-50 whether or not he gets caught, and especially if he's not completely, you know, taking that area.
I mean, we've always seen Yudo-tan over at A main, right? So it's always a position that you really have to expect to be played from somebody over at Global Esports, and it's a no-brainer for Nous to have a couple of eyes there at the beginning of the round, almost every round it feels like. And I mean, the tail end of this round is just Yudo-tan probably go die. 30 seconds to go, 5 HP, flanks cordoned off, uncharacteristic miss from Jar, it feels like at the moment. There we go. 4 alive at Fort Nous. Universe, this is looking a little bit more dire for Global Esports now on Split.
Yeah, they've kind of let Nous, get so much confidence on the back of that last round that they just won. And that's given them, you know, the advantage to actually just kind of go ahead and take peeks. Even Mosier, who's not been having the best of game, this round secured 2 really well on that ramp side. And I kind of have to, you know, mention that Patrick didn't really need to overextend. I understand that, you know, he's been playing, you know, the forefront role. He's been carrying the team so far. He's been getting great entries, you know, for some of these rounds. He's been clutching them out as well. But the decision making in the early stages of some of these rounds has been a little bit questionable, needs to be fixed, and I'm pretty sure Juvy's going to be focusing on that, you know, in this little break, the timeout. You can see he's pretty vocal, and he's, you know, he's gesticulating what exactly he wants to be translated to his team, because they're kind of falling apart at the moment. No real, those set executes that they had in the first couple of rounds, just not visible right now. They're going a little bit more for information.
That's the thing. That's the thing I wanted to highlight right now as well. When you come in with a full new roster and you come in with a different agent selection on a map, you're going to have unknown strategies, right? Those are the strategies that teams usually don't have counters for or adjustments for immediately. It takes a couple of rounds to recognize that. And that's the scenario we're seeing right now. Nous have had that breathing room by the half that they found at 8-4 to have this recovery, figure out the strengths of their opponents, and then look to close it. So, you know, right effort from Global to come out with, you know, something that they feel comfortable, new initiative, but we are also seeing some brilliance from Nous to early recognize what Global are throwing at them to counter it, and yeah, look to close out the map. Now the Viper's pick goes in through towards mid, no flash to break in towards this B site where you're going to try and bust in yet again. Jar, operator, prized and ready for when this wall goes down. At least Global don't give him that chance now.
Yeah, the Viper's pick is not going to help them. They're going to have to concede it. Maybe that allows Yudo to kind of actually find a backstab, but they're going to be finding him themselves on towards mid. He's not going to connect to Sheriff. It's going to be Nexi, and now Global Esports will be worried about 2 different angles, a flank as well that could potentially be coming in. But no, Nous actually rotated back. The Trailblazers are going to clear out any close angles, and that's going to allow Nous a little bit more space to walk in above. Look at who's come out. Patrick Koo, the blind's going to actually help him. Emma takes him out. Poppy gets one. Kelly follows it up, and on the side, they're going to keep themselves busy. The Paint Show not going to touch Crystal just enough as much as they would get a kill. It's gonna be Ja who needs to make the decision point here. Poppy, it's gonna be Kelly's next contact.
अबे मेरा बफर क्यों हुआ?
Cannot take him more than 1 kill.
Okay.
The recon comes out. It's gonna find him. Crystal. He might have just enough. Yep, he's done enough.
भाई क्रिस्टल ने निकाल दिया.
Surviving for as long as he possibly could. On the back of Mosier, forgive me, on the back of Kelly and Poppy, playing that little line of sight defense
Crystal ऊपर आ रहा है अब धीरे-धीरे.
And that allows him to play.
क्रिस्टल ऊपर आएगा तभी जीतेंगे मैच.
Yeah, I mean, at that point in time as well, it is a moment of everybody be quiet, let me hear footsteps, let me hear positioning, see if I can clutch out this round at the end, because you know that there's so many angles that now start just charging against Global, who are kind of looking bit a little bit at the end when that spike goes down.
भाई वो ऊपर आ गया सामने का जेट उससे ऊपर. वो 25 पे ही रहेगा.
वो एक बार ऑफ लेके बैठा, वो ऑफ भी लेके बैठा है.
Sort of attempted early play from Jar once again. He hears the camera, knows he doesn't need to overextend a little bit. Now they start to put him more on a forward line. There's a full rotation from Global over to this A side of the map as well. Are you expecting a drone and a clearance to try and get earliness? We know that there's this line that Jar is still holding. He can't get out of dodge uni. He's lost the tailwind, of course, but if he's good for 1, at least, it'll be gorgeous.
Yeah, now they know there's 2 players here up close and personal. Good amount of utility deployed by Global Esports, but once again, being set up for Patrick there. I think he had a stun. I'm not quite sure why he didn't choose to deploy even the fast lane to get himself the cover he needs to kind of isolate that player towards Cubby. Yep. The neural theft is going to give them so much information. The B side, the only one guarding there. Nexi at the moment and beyond. Hunter's Fury comes through. Kelly has finds the 3 and it's going to be the IGO. leading from the front position. He wants his team to
Oh,
win
nice.
the game no matter what. But MX
Okay.
Abey, oh shit.
with the flash is all in his hand.
Oh,
Nexi. Not expecting somebody close 5. And it's on to Nexi now in a 1v2.
Yeah. Very doable, actually, as well, if you can isolate 2 of these kills. Paranoia and Shrouded steps around. But I'm expecting the time eventually to tick. And for Crystal to get that recon back online, they can use it a little bit later.
I'm not being cocky or something, but agar face off में Senprisa हो, agar and उनके साथ मैचअप होता समझ में आ जाए कि franchise में
Oh my god! It's actually a horrible decision-making mistake there. I'm not sure
positioning.
why. Yeah, exactly.
It's positioning from Global at the end there. They dart out over towards screens.
Like,
and, you know, if someone's coming in from a heaven drop, you're going to hear the drop. So you got to consider in your head, okay, no Shrouded Step. He's not on the bottom of the site unless he's come in through ramp. I am actually really surprised at that end. By pieces of utility that they have thrown there, that they don't choose to double swing together for a bit of a ramp peak. Or a bit of a rafters peak. The fact that Nexi paths in and is able to find both of those kills isolated and settled down, really well done from him.
ये ऑफ भाई तगड़ी कर रहा है, उसके हाथ में ऑफ दे दिया तो दे दिया भाई.
Is really big mistake in decision making of positioning, post plan positions. We've seen them do better.
इसका डार्ट तोड़ देना, बस इसका डार्ट तोड़ देना, सही जगह बैठा रहे.
Global Esports desperate attempt now once again on that B site, once again trying to maybe set up Patrick here, and Mosier has been spotted. It has to be finished off.
Oh!
They don't check him drop down. They don't hear him. They didn't even hear him. And Mosier capitalizes on everything. He's gonna be stopped with his own in his hand, but it's all on to you.
Oh भाई.
It's gonna be now.
भाई उनका रेस बॉटम रैक कर दो, वो निकाल के राउंड क्रेजी. Bro, said ये राउंड में रहा है.
Yeah, I mean, you look towards those ending spots as well, and it's another situation of we've got a strategy that we haven't deployed just yet. For now, so it's elevating a player for a position unexpected, and you got the reveal of that recon
as
well.
Top frag हो क्यों है?
Not expecting him to drop down. So again, for Moja, he had a really stellar bring back up in this map, didn't he? He was down on 8 kills when we were highlighting him midway through the second half.
अबे यार ये कैमरा एंगल उनकी टीम का खोल देता है ना बार-बार, अपनी टीम का तो दिखाओ.
Getting successful in a lot of those kills, really stepped up toward the later stages. So great for him, but it feels like
यार ये पैकेट क्या है? ये कुछ और है पैकेट, ये जो दबा रहा है.
अबे वो हीटर हैंड हीटर
होता है. To a degree, I would argue that they've
क्या
kind
बोलते हैं,
of
हाथ
got what
पसीना
you
हो
would
जाता है ना,
want
तो
in a fresh team for this.
ये कर देता है.
You've got a lot of weaknesses that you want to try and pick up and figure out a little bit later on, which is always going to be a big thing to highlight. But also, I mean, now Matt best of 3 from Split, you're going into Sunset.
भाई इतना छोटा सा हैंड हीटर भी आता है यार. मेरे भी बहुत आता है कि वैलो खेलते हैं, मैं भी जरा रुकियो.
You know, boost that they've gotten in the last 2 rounds, especially with the fact that they've gotten a clutch off of Nexi, and they're going to be, you know, pushing that, you know, to the next map to, you know, kind of just continue that little, you know, aggression. They had a slow progression in the first, right? Now we're playing pretty easy. They were taking it a little bit slow in the beginning, but then the pace started up and going. They started finding a lot more confidence in the way that they could exploit these, you know, no flashes comp that the Global Esports have, because you don't need to actually turn away from any angle. You can take that fight head on, unless of course you're being pushed off back by a drone or a recon with, you know, somebody, or, you know, sliding through that, you know, cavity. But the one thing that I really was kind of disappointed by was the fact that, you know, Patrick was actually not really effective in the last maybe 6-7 rounds, because he's been on 25. I think he got 25 when he was 25 and 17, and, you know, 25 and 16, I'm not sure. He's not gotten a single kill in those last couple of rounds. The entries have not been there. Even though he's created the space, his teammates have not been able to follow it up. But you know, even that doesn't matter, because if you're gonna lose a 2v1 in the way you did, not carrying up, not watching a particular open part of the map, when in a post plan situation, it kind of just stung them right in the back, which kind of broke them.
I'll carry on towards that as well,
RB.
Patrick Hu, right? Ending the half at 16 kills on their defensive side, and you switch it over. He gets 9 kills at the end of that, right? So, yeah, it kind of falls off, but the rest of the team did a little bit in that one as well. I flip it on over to the impact that we saw from the flip side duelist, right? Jar coming on through with those operator shots. 5
second match क्या होगा?
He got 1 on the attack, which, you know, did feel a little bit more flat for him in the start, but then he really started to propel it up when he ends on 12. So, a lot of these first bloods that he found on the impact department was massive, and I'm looking towards Yudotan as well, right? He's up there on the first bloods, but where is Yudotan finding a lot of those kills? It's in the extremity. It's by himself with no teammates to assist him. Late flanks if he misses that more often than not as well, because you also got to consider that Yudotan, I mean, he's dying on a lot of those as well. It's 50-50. He's either winning it or losing it 4-4 in that map, it just so happens. So that's something that he individually, you know, is showing his tendencies, that he's always going for a lot of these lurks, and yeah, it's working, but a lot of the time it's also not, and then everything falls apart.
Yeah, absolutely. Wait, let's find out what exactly happened through the coach himself. Juvie, what went wrong in those last couple of rounds?
Hey boys, it's really honestly just playing with confidence. The big thing, like I've tried to tell them consistently, like just go look back at the old Genji Sentinels match 1 at Champs, right, and then watch match 2. The only thing that changed was confidence. Instead of playing scared, sitting in corners and clutches, you're swinging together, you're making plays together. Don't be afraid to make plays. Obviously, Ja was playing lights out there, and honestly, we just we had a bad defense. So if we had a better defense there, it's a win instead of a loss. But like I said, these guys are good. We played them in scrims before, and this is one of the few teams that actually beats us in scrims. So yeah, I already think this is gonna be a tough match, and you know, time to lock in for map 2.
You know, there was a point where come on, go on.
Oh, thanks. So talk me through the idea of this composition, right? Because we know that Split and Sova is usually a forbidden tactic, but we also know that Crystal and Sova goes hand in hand. So whose formulation for this agent lineup really was it? Because I'm also noticing that Papi's not played Astra before, so what's the thought process there?
I mean, Poppy's played Astra before, maybe not in the recent season because Astra wasn't in meta, but Astra with 5 stars now is a lot better. In general, when you're more
क्या बोल रहा है बंदा?
comp like ours, our comp's a little bit more defaulting.
पता नहीं भाई, मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रहा अब.
When you're running double duelist, Omen is better, but pretty much any other comp.
मेरा weekly recap देखें तब तक.
From a lot of teams.
You know, there was a point, you know, where, you know, kind of feel like you said, right, the defense kind of slipped away from you guys, but you guys made it back almost instantaneously, right? It was 8-4, and within just a couple of minutes, you guys were back on 8-8, and it almost seemed like you were more prepared for the attacking side. You know, the executes are really great, especially on that B side. But when it came to the retakes, right, you guys were trying to make it work. It was kind of a step and a miss in terms of where exactly you were finding Nows to be in their, you know, post plan positions, because they play their post plan really well. You know, you mentioned that, you know, this is a team that, you know, kind of give you, you know, tough time in scrims as well. Have you played on this map before, and have you seen the kind of stuff that they bring out, and was it anything visible today as we've seen?
I don't think we scrimmed on this map before, but honestly, we just weren't proactive enough on our defense. I think we were a little bit thinking too much. Double duelist means rush a lot, and they ended up not rushing, right? So they weren't really doing very many rushes. I think we just gave them too much space, too much credit, and we weren't being proactive enough. Too much asking, should we do this, instead of let's do this.
Yeah, that's something that I actually wanted to touch upon as well. How quick in that map was the team to recognize the situations and try to adapt? Because we're seeing a lot of, from our side, right, getting the whole view, we're seeing a lot of early rotations on misinformation, because there's not a lot of reconnaissance ability, right? There's no flashes, there's the single drone, single dart, single cam. How early was the decision-making you feel from the team on that map costly?
I mean, obviously it was costly. We lost, so it was costly enough that we lost. But I don't think it was necessarily, like I said, the comp isn't the reason why we lost that. I think that's actually one of our best maps in scrims. Scrims, right? This is why scrims don't matter, guys. And so I feel like it's definitely not a comp issue. That was, again, just us not starting fast. We have an issue starting fast, honestly. Every single day it feels like our first scrims always go bad compared to the rest of the day. So hopefully you guys see another turnaround for us.
You know, one more point I wanted to, you know, bring up was last question that, you know, Patrick started off really well. He had a great impact in the entire game. Even in the first couple of rounds on the attacking side, he drove the team into, you know, good positions, found them great openings, and the spacing from him particularly was great. But towards the tail end of the game, he kind of stopped, you know, finding the kills, even though he found the space, which is absolutely fine. Now he's doing his part for the team. but there were a couple of split decisions that he took, a little overextensions at times that we saw a little bit, kind of, similar to yesterday. What have you given him any advice to, overextensions or just not using utility sometimes, where especially in that last round where he got taken under Cubby, he had a stun available even on Heaven when Mosier took him out, kind of overextend. Have you given him some sort of, advice in that general direction yet?
Yeah, I mean, that's something we work with him every single day, man. The kid is very new to competitive Valorant, very new to playing at this level. And it's just something that, yeah, we're working on every single day, guys. We still have 2 months until the season starts, so I'm not stressed out about that. I know there's improvement from day one to now is immense, and his improvement from now until the start of the season is going to be immense. So.
All right, great talking to you, Juvie. Once again, all the best for Sunset, and we'll see you.
Thank you, boys. See you guys later.
Well, that was Juvie just explaining what just went down. So clearly, he's thinking it's not a comp issue, and
not a comp.
It was just not a comp issue. It was clearly a bit of just little bit of misplacement of positions and a little bit of miscomms as well. I will have to slightly agree because they did show potential in those first 4 or 5 rounds, right, on attack, that they were able to work it out. Defense, it was a different story. They wasn't, like he mentioned, they weren't as proactive as they would have liked to be because they can't clear out angles as much as they want to because, of course, they don't have the flashes. Like Nexi, he's got the Omen Paranoia, which you put it on B main, just kind of opens up that space for somebody to, occupy it from his own team. But yeah, I'm hoping to see what they can pull up. Maybe we see another split.
I'll counter you on that one. I think to a degree it can also be contributed to a bit of a composition problem as well, right? Because you are missing, one of the fundamental aspects on scaling ability that a flash will provide, right? And the blinding effect. Because if you don't have that into the site, what are you relying on? Patrick Hu to throw a little bit of disarray into the mix with Neon sliding around, a good dart from Crystal. We're not seeing Yudo-tan be in the action where you can get a camera deep into the site to assist the team as well. So you're really removing a lot of those bits from the equation, right? There's a reason why agents are in meta on certain maps, right? So if you are really playing outside of the meta, you damn well have a good reason as to why. And there was an argument, don't get me wrong, there was absolutely an argument that we did see in the beginning of that half on that attacking side for Global. They come out with a great amount of rounds, right? Those 4 rounds that looked pretty damn sharp. But as soon as your strategies are up on a new composition, as soon as your opponents know what's happening and they can figure out that weakness, that's where things can crumble a little bit. So I think to a degree, okay, Juvenile's recognizing that a lot of these players' strengths can be showcased on this agent lineup and towards split. But maybe it is just practice that they do need. I'll agree, it's always going to be plausible, but I'll also agree, if you go and ask a lot of the other teams out there, what do they kind of think about this global esports composition on towards split, it might leave them scratching their heads a little bit as to why, they would make a strong case for it.
Yeah, it's been an interesting game in the sense that we saw
इनकी बातें कब खत्म होगी?
Not being needed kind of part in the first 4 rounds of their attack, but instantly it seemed like Mouse were ready for it because they started getting proactive, right? The operator
मैं खुद गाने
does a
सुन रहा
lot
हूँ,
of
मैं
work,
म्यूट तो
in the
नहीं है
hands of
लेकिन गाने
Shah.
सुन रहा हूँ
When he found out, there's no flashes, I can just take a peek wherever I want. All I need is a little bit of support.
Just hold the line
surrounded
every
by
time.
Exactly. Yeah, and even the one thing I actually did want to mention was, like you said as well, right? Yudo completely away from the action, and he constantly had his fights mostly with Xavi, right? And I feel like he had a little bit of a lower end of that output when compared to Xavi, because I feel like Xavi was catching him out at better positions at better times. And even times like this where Yudo, he got into good positions, but unfortunately, his timing was just a little bit off when it came to finding value for his team in those lurks. And overall, there's stuff, like you mentioned, like Juvie mentioned, there's stuff to fix. They're gonna fix it in the upcoming, weeks and months to come. There is still 2 months of the season, but honestly, I would love to see in the upcoming days if they play another map of Split. How are they gonna improve on what they just played? Would be my question, but that's for us to watch. I mean, in the next couple of days.
The interesting thing as well, right, is the Neon nerf is around the corner if you consider it too, right? So within the next, let's call it the 2 months that you have before the season, if Neon does get nerfed into a unviable position, are we still going to see that continue, or are we going to need some more adaptations to come through from Patrick, who we know is very fresh to a tier 1 capacity, right? We know that there's going to have to be a lot of learning. So is it because you're doing that on a meta agent an abusive agent right now. If we're bringing him onto something a little bit more mainstream, like a Jet, like a Raze, is that actually going to be a little bit more beneficial for him in the long run? These are the questions that we don't know the answer to until that nerf happens and potential other agent buffs. But I think more importantly right now, it really is going to be highlighting, okay, communications, layering, positionings. These are our 3 focuses that we need to try and get out from this tournament.
Yeah. You know, he mentioned it. I had a conversation with Juvie as well, you know, just a couple of, you know, days ago. He did mention that, you know, when they were practicing up first, you know, when the team was just coming up, you know, into the boot camp and they're just, you know, finding out what's working, what's not working. He did mention that scaling and positioning was something that they were, you know, finding troubles with. And, you know,
बेटा साउथ की मूवी देखते हो?
trying to fix. It's actively
आपका फेवरेट एक्टर कौन है? कल्लू
but it's not been, you know, a problem so far. Like example here, this round, right? Scaling and positioning. Once again, awareness of the fact that there's nobody in screens. Maybe you need to have a PT towards main. You know, is something that they need to work upon in the upcoming games as well. But hey, we are done with game 1, ladies and gentlemen. We can reminisce about it a little later. But right now, we've got a strong sunset from Global Esports showing yesterday. That could
भाई मैच चालू कर दो.
Don't forget, it is a great map for now as
वो
well.
रील देख रहा है बैठ के भाई. ट्विटर सॉरी रील भी नहीं, ट्विटर देख रहा है बैठ के.
coming up with that one?
I'm sorry. They played Sunset 2 weeks ago in, I believe, in SEA Split 3, right?
Yeah. So the Sunset game, this is a fun one to pull apart. Brutality, but not for the reasons that you do think. There was a lot of sloppiness. There was a lot of sloppiness to come through from both Rapid Lo-Fi and Naus in that series. It goes in towards overtime. Of course, a team that was the Ascension representative as well, coming in from the Vietnam region. But I'm looking at that game, 15-17. It did get won by Naus at the end. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, you know, laying back a little, agent selection was the same. So there's a potential chance for a mirror match right now, and if you're taking a mirror match into consideration for map number 2, I think that actually spells a lot of interest for a lot of people out there too, because we've seen, you know, a great showing from Global Esports against Orangutan 13-4, and we're seeing now get it into overtime, so we're thinking, all right, Global should have that, right? But then map 1 gets lost. All right, agent's going to be the same. I would love to see a mirror match. Don't get me wrong. I would love to. Already seeing Global run in with the same agent lineup. So I'm expecting that it's going to be the exact same for Naus. And Jar, don't prove me wrong. Hang on. He's proving me wrong. He's proving me wrong. They've changed it up.
Here we go. This is going to be fun. And it's going to be Xavi this time on... Okay, there's a bit of a role change. Xavi exchanged their positions in terms of initiator and controller. And they're going to be switching it up with the ISO in between as well. As Mosier now going to be going head-to-head with...
अब तो sunset इन्हीं का मैप है भाई, कल की तरह होना चाहिए.
This is an interesting play as well.
English commentary में बोलता है भाई कि लास्ट टाइम जब ये लोग नॉर्थ वाले खेले थे ना 15-17 पे गेम गया
था. That role of the smokes, right? But we also just saw immediately on map number 1 there that it was changed up again. So we're changing once more coming in towards map number 2 right now, where Eman is going on to the smokes. Xavi's playing the same Sova that we were kind of guess expecting, but for an ISO to come on out right now, that's wild.
Yeah, not to mention also the fact that Nexi is also playing on the Cypher now. He was playing the Omen of the previous map, so there's a lot of role changes here on this map of Sunset. It just have to, you know, they just have to show how comfortable are they, you know, switching up these roles this drastically.
भाई मेरे दोस्त का 30-80 फूक गया था, तो उसने उसको पेपर रेट बना लिया टेबल पे.
Esports, you know, returning in kind here. It's going to be a trade 1-for-1. Crystal's going to get back Shah's favor there. As it's going to be Patrick.
30-80 को as a paper rate use करता है बंदा मेरा दोस्त.
भाई अबे तोड़ दिया भाई, अबे तोड़.
Okay then, all right. It seems like everybody's going to take a little bit of, you know, the warm-up round towards mid.
No strategy on that one, just guns up, shoot down mid, everybody get a piece of the pie, and Bob's your uncle, have a good day. A little bit ill-advised for Naus at the end there, because it feels like Global Esports were a bit elite in that round. Having the right numbers at the right time and just shooting, I mean, there's no real which way around it, right? The crosshair was at the right spot for the guys on Global.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, Naus had an idea about getting 2, maybe 3 players towards mid, but then everybody else kind of just came into the party and joined and say, hey, I want a piece of cake. But Nexi, this time it turns a favor. Okay, back again towards mid we go. It seems like every round's going to be here, guys. This is going to stick at mid. No A, no B. Don't need it.
They both dinked him with a classic.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really unfortunate.
John's not been detected, by the way. Back they go, a triple
takes
out 3 of them, and the remaining 2 are still here as well. It's just a duelist who are left here. Moser's trying to take up as much of the attention as possible. A bulldog for him to grab up on the ground as well. And Shah could pick up 1, maybe 2. Yeah, they're gonna get away with 2 weapons here.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit dual.
The gun retrieval.
One way smoke में कल परसों ये
The
video
gun
देख रहा
retrieval's
था.
an interesting one, but it's a bit of a safer plant given the scenario. A little bit more open. The door is closed. Moja, you are lucky to be alive for the time being. And if I'm Crystal, I'm thinking, okay, I should probably actually disconnect from the action right now, even though it's 3 versus 2, and that's exactly why. Because there was guns down in mid, and you're challenging back towards the same spot. You can activate the double tap now as well as Jar, and this is really risky. Still 1 versus 2 winnable.
Yeah, it is winnable. Jar's got a shield up. Needs to be a little quick about it though. He's gonna lose it in just about a second. And the minute he loses it, he still gets 1 though. This fight, not necessarily, but taking win at the end there. Really scrappy. Once again, that mid brawl.
But defense तगड़ा उनका.
Pretty favorable for now as they find 4. But Global Esports, 3 of them had pistols, so I wouldn't say it's completely lost on them, but it still is an investment that they're gonna have to commit.
It's another costly secondary round, though, for these teams. Like, what did we see on the second round in map number 1? 3 people dying each time. This time it's 4 coming on through over the side of Global. So that makes things really awkward coming in towards this bonus round. Although I will also add another caveat that the bonus rounds have been won already. So we'll see if Global Esports can double down on it. Though, Sunset plays a bit differently to Split. It's a full layering up together with the team scaling up through B main, and you're going to have a really strong hold at the moment from old mate Cypher and Sova playing in towards market.
Yeah, they've set up Patrick to go deep in towards this side. They're going to get the plant down. This is a heavy marketplace so that they can have a little bit of space for retake, it seems. That's the kind of setup that they've done for now here. Oh, he's got a player right above him! I'm not sure why Patrick decided to go into that smoke. He could have played a little bit more safer, play on the back of his teammate's utility if at all anything was possible for him. But he's given up his life there. Just had a Bucky. Flash is great. It's not going to help too much, although the fights are not coming through. The tap on the spike comes in. A lot of bullets being spammed here. Moser finds the first. Kelly has gone down. And the smoke is right there. Evan's going to keep it going. And Evan's going to find it all the way through.
भाई बहुत तगड़ा डिफेंस है इनका, बहुत तगड़ा डिफेंस है.
Credit to the fact that, you know, Xavi and Nexi did not at all push outside of that smoke, no matter what, because they had that, you know, control in the fact that we're gonna hold market, we're gonna keep it as retake position, and this is where we're gonna attack from. Let them have the site.
There's good patience from them, all things considered, and I'm looking towards the ending scenario there for Crystal. He's in the right spot for the double ricochet recon bolts to go, you know, in main in towards the site. But the fact that the dark cover was the one-way dark cover as well, I think actually off-puts the crosshair correct position. So it'd be very funny if that actually was the outcome at the end of it, as he started to get his drone into the mix. However, Uni, as Valorant is, and Valorant should be the second or the third round, which is the bonus, does go the way of the team that finally gets the guns. And you're going to Groundhog Day yet again back towards the B site, though actually this time locked out by the utility.
Nexi just keeping a keen eye towards mid as well. He's got the tripwire there, but Udo once again continuing that streak from the previous game, getting himself found out pretty early in the round. It's just been the 30 seconds into the game that he's, you know, going in for his lurk pretty deep. And okay, Moser. Okay, finds a double. That's a big kill, and there he goes. Kelly versus Ja is gonna be interesting. Ja ready for it no matter what. The spike's been dropped as well towards A main, and Global Esports.
बहुत प्यारा डिफेंस है भाई.
Played here. Both sides of the map that they try to, you know, kind of take control upon. B, they give an initial contact, didn't really get much out of it. Again, what he mentioned in the previous game, Komodo, the rotations, you know, a little bit of misinformation to rotate back again, and they lose out on players who might have repositioned, not expecting somebody to be up close and personal from Naus.
I mean, Papi doesn't have From the Shadows either, so had to make the marathon journey.
Why would double duelist
single dark cover, and you know together as Naus that you are just playing into a retake. Let him go for the plant, even shuffle up a couple of your feet to try and scare him when you go for the plant. But now the jig is up, this man can come through. They're just gonna come together as a unit, and yeah, great dart placement at the end. Really well done to equalize from Naus.
Stay taut as a bowstring.
Well, it's gonna be a second for Now's here. Global Esports put down to an eco now, and they've got just a bunch of
मतलब
sharers.
4v5 ही खेल रहे वो लोग
They
बे.
do have the ability to set up Patrick once again with the overdrive, if at all, you know, he's allowed to pick up that ward towards B main, which of course in the previous game was a round winner.
The problem with going for the overdrive in a situation like this is you kind of got to consider what utility your teammates can buy as well. If they need their standard set of utility to assist you going on in, they're overbuying and you're potentially lesser equipped into the next round if you do lose. And if you're playing for the numbers, that is a very real scenario. So yeah, he can get his ult, but it might not even be a premium to try and use it if you're not getting an opening kill or two first.
Shorty के texture इतने प्यारे ही लग रहे हैं.
Actually use it. You're also not seeing shock darts brought up to be able to destroy these deeper trap wires in towards the site. So it really does come down to playing in numbers for Global Esports and only using that ult if they get a kill or can guarantee to get a kill and an upgrade to help the team.
He's going to be expected here. He was looking in his direction, Yuratan, but was not.
तो नाइस उसके लिए बोल रहा है कि हमारे लिए बोल रहा है?
Face of Vandal, Poppy spots
हमारे
the
लिए
bash
मतलब?
as well. They're making them uncomfortable. Now it's pushing
Global
every nook and
Esports
corner.
वाले
Look
थोड़ी
at
बंदे ने
Shah, dude.
मारा.
He's just going around the map.
यार मैं player support कर रहा हूँ अभी.
Got a scare there, but puts on his shield back.
मैं दोनों player मतलब मैं shots जो प्यारे लग रहे हैं उनको support कर रहा हूँ.
यार क्या कर रहे हैं बे?
भाई क्योंकि crazy support है ये, जो crazy team play है ये देख. भाई crazy एक दूसरे का पूरा.
Kind of walking towards mid. Went into tiles, finds Yuratan, goes
एम डिफ नहीं बोलेंगे, ये बंदा बोल रहा है एम डिफ चैट में. भाई एम डिफ नहीं है, एम डिफ कुछ भी नहीं है भाई, बस वो डिफ है कि टीम का एक वो बना हुआ है.
If you're trying to pop an
Synergy,
overdrive at a deficit scenario, there are too many angles that you have to look after if you are Patrick. I mean, you see him dashing around, you see the team of Naus already available to get in the dirty to assist the team to dispatch of him. So kind of ill-advised in that scenario to be popping an ult like that, where had you hold it, could have been a massive instigator in towards the site.
I don't like to play Velo but love to watch. Same यार, love you यार.
वो इसके लिए पूछा मैंने भी. मरेगा मत जा.
Stop him there. He's gonna spot it. He knows it's there, Patrick, and he's gonna hold on. A little bit more patience. Nexi laying in that smoke. He does have support in the form of Xavi in back of sight. He comes up to the smoke. Here comes on the Fury and the slide out. He does get the one, but it's gonna be jumped straight back down again.
भाई ये जा बंदा बहुत प्यारा खेलता है भाई.
For his team as they now put themselves in the 3v2, make that a 3v1. Great pickoff once again from Patrick. He did have support.
अब देख, अब बोल एम डिफ बोल रहा था बंदा चैट में. एम डिफ नहीं है भाई.
Yeah, in towards the site this time and being patient as well to not overexert themselves in towards the trap utility that their opposing Cypher does put on down. Nice timing as well. Distractor Hunter's Fury in the mix from Chris.
Team game
finding Nexi, finding more angles of space for his team to just frolic around the site. No real massive overextension from them, and even putting in that Rolling Thunder in the chaos as well from Kalias is really nice. So well done from Global Esports.
भाई एम डिफ की बात तब होती है.
All chat पे क्या लिख रहा है वो?
Timeout come on through. I also want to highlight just Eman at the moment. He's not got any kills, but what have we been seeing from Eman on the server? We've been seeing
एम डिफ की बात उन्हें वो लिखा ना .s
with a player on the team. So yeah, it doesn't translate into a kill
.p
but his teammates have been, you know, safeguarded by his presence to then find those kills and have impact.
हाँ वो लिखा था इन्होंने,
वो है हाँ.
कल लिखे थे बंदे चैट में और बोल रहे कि भाई चाइना रीजन का था सबसे वर्स्ट रीजन. भाई चाइना रीजन की टीम जीती है वीसीटी, ईडीजी, हाँ चैंपियंस जीती थी.
पता नहीं है.
Pretty smart about it, you know. I mean, it doesn't matter how many kills he gets. He's going to continue on with the utility, you know, valuable, you know, the value that he provides. And one more thing I do want to point out once again, Ja won off his ultimate once again. They've got two more, and even Emin actually is one off, you know, from the shadows as well. So now the ultimate, you know, economy right now is pretty great. Global Esports do have two available, but the other three are far off from it, at least 2 rounds.
It's always great to see the proactivity of ultimate gathering, right? When you've got duelists, for example, let's say Phoenix, when you've got a 6-point ultimate, likewise of a Cypher, for example, if you're getting them plants or diffusers and a kill here or there and an orb, you're able to refresh that every second, every third round, and it can be massive. But we'll stretch in towards a quick round at the moment to come on through, and Eman, I mean, he's not got a kill on the board just yet. He's got a sliver of HP to try and survive with, which does not happen. Here's one of the ults that I mentioned to come on through now. Neural Theft, just for your information, as plant goes down.
Spike planted.
Yeah. Yudotan getting up a little closer to personal. He's gonna go in through, but he's gonna lose his life. No support there. Poppy does trade him out though. Another flash to keep Xavi busy. And that's gonna leave now in a bit of a mix. Back he goes to fight, not ready for it. Too many members to face. Nexi does have a bit of a moment to slide into the side here. He's gonna play on the back of Mosier's
Oh, nice.
He's gonna get 3 here. And once again, Global Esports making sure that the pace stays the same and they get the same reward for another round in their bag.
Yeah, Kelly's just always at the right position at the right time, but in the pack, watching the angles that is required with the rest of his team covering off what's there as well. Really nice work for the team department to come through from Kelly's. After the execution in the beginning of that alleyway control through elbow dispatching of Eman is, we got the guy on the flank. As a team, we get the plant and we close it out. Really well done. An immediate adjustment to come on through for Aorus as well to stack 4 players over towards A. And you know why? One-way information, kill contract available if you hear any steps. They don't immediately, so it means
unexpected होते हैं ना angle का
adjust their positions and essentially reset on this round. So luckily for us, Uni, luckily, Global and Rush B.
Yeah,
they did it.
यहाँ से 2 1-way दे रहा है.
Pretty heavy stack still on towards that A side. There's still feeling like it could be an A hit. Yudo's gonna hold on to any sort of lurks coming in from the mid region, which has happened before. But Xavi's gonna spot out all the utility coming into that B side. The drone's been sent out. That's gonna clear out the close site, and pretty soon Patrick's gonna be sliding into that region. But the rotations have already come in here, Komodo. This is gonna be a little troublesome for Global Esports now.
And it's good timing again on that dark cover. Eman rotates to the right position of B. Xavi's held a lot of this utility, bar those early shock dart lineups as well. So he's got drone and dart for the push retakes when they come out, looking for spam through the utility.
Yeah, he does not get the kill there, but he does allow Xavi to actually play in a little bit sneakily here. Udo's found 2 towards mid, and he's cut off the rotations completely. Xavi's gonna get another himself. Kelly this time returns the favor on the job, but Xavi, he's crawling aside single-handedly, staying alive the longest on the side. He somehow found this in a 1v3. Stick it. There's no way, right? Nah, they're gonna swing out far and wide. There's no way he was gonna be able to stick that. Out of the 1v3, he's not.
अगर स्मोकर एजेंट होता ना आराम से
it makes you wonder if there's any miscommunications from Global at the end of that one. He could get upset, but this time it's a good execution of a flank maneuver working well, right? Yudotan finding the 2 kills. Yes, Avi finds some space towards it to find Kelly S when he comes out of the kill contract, but there's not much you can do in a 1 versus 3 when you're playing together as a unit like GE do at the remainder of the round. So very well recovered for Global at the end there, and keeping it consistent, balancing out their credits as well, affording themselves enough of a pass mark in these next couple of rounds where we do start to actually consider the damage that Global have been finding. How much of an impact does that have onto Naus's chances to get 2 rounds in the next couple, right? Half buys, full buys, you drop that, half peels away from you, it's barreling down a little bit. We've seen Jar just use the kill contract, so you can't rely on that in the next couple of rounds. You're starting to piece together that this half is at a little bit of a turning point for Global Esports to really exceed in it if they get this next round or 2.
Absolutely.
PaperX
Well, this timeout's going to give them a little bit more to work with. Global Esports have taken a solid amount of lead here, at least in terms of momentum. And they've thrown those once again into a bit of a semi-buy. 2 Vandals to work upon Xavi and Eman. Would consider giving it to Ja once again, but I feel like they're probably going to go for a heavy ultimate execute here. Mosier does have the overdrive available, and it seems like he's going to commit it. There he goes. There's a tripwire to stop him this moment, but the recon's going to help him. No, it isn't. Yudotan gets him out. Eman's gonna trade out in the other way. One more he finds.
Eman on the board.
Yep, he's gotten 2. It seems like the Vandal worked out perfectly as the ultimate created enough distraction for Eman to actually find space towards that south region. And now Global Esports follow to the B side, forcefully having to plant now, and they're covered everywhere. They're cut a flank as well.
They're
gonna have to use this Rolling Thunder and take some further space. Play a deficit in this scenario whilst they're vulnerable, going for a plant too. I mean, look, already Naus here.
Yeah, and they've got no clue whatsoever. Yeah, both of them are gone. Eman, of course, he starts
भाई ये बंदा बहुत बढ़िया खेलता है इनको man. Last match Sky खेला था, क्या मस्त मारा था.
Wow. What a recovery. What a round to come through from Aman, though. I've got to say, man, like, to just individual, when you're not finding kills in the server just yet, you've been peppered down time and time again. You come out with something like that, and I'm talking about the scenario, right? That's an eco to come through from Naos. That's a pivotal moment for 6 rounds to be found for Global Esports. You drop the next rifle round against theirs, and your money's already skyrocketing. You're building more ultimates as well. You've probably wasted a couple of ults of your opponents who, to be granted, did use Overdrive for Moja and Hunter's Fury for Zavi in that one, right? But they didn't really net too much.
Oh boy.
गया कंफर्म था गया टाइमिंग उसने मारा पूरा
लोड है जी का लोड है तो नहीं बोलूंगा मैं परफॉर्मेंस अच्छी दे रहे हैं
Yudotan keen on finding it back. He does have Emina across him, and he will find him, I believe. Yes, he will. The Neotef goes in, and that's a lot of information. Ja pops out of the smoke for his own death, and the Rolling Thunder committed to clear out Market as well. Nexi does get affected. The Paranoid followed up as well. Great utility here, but the B side has already been plagued by Naos. Can they hold it off? Yes, they can. Nexi gets a double, and Xavi curves him up from behind pillar. And Global Esports' full value from this round has been stripped away by just a single double kill from Nexi, while he was the only one being stunned by that Rolling Thunder as well.
I was going to give a lot of praise to Yudotan's courageousness to stick around over at that A site, to go for the kill on towards Eman, to use the neural. I mean, you're looking at the utility that you highlight in that scenario, but now you overlook a crucial position and you're down. That was a very good-looking 4 versus 5 deficit conversion that Global might have been able to pick on out in this one, where you lose Patrick first. Yudotan looks to bring it on back, but then you just have a bit of an overextension here. You overlook what? A little sliver corner that Nexi abuses, and some nice pivot timing from the rest of Naos to close that round. I mean, when you're looking at the timeout that comes through earlier, Uni, you're looking for what sort of conversation you need to have when it's 5 versus 3. Now it's 5 versus 5. Whatever Naos decided to talk about.
भाई वही मॉनिटर के पीछे कीबोर्ड करे कैसे खेल लेते हैं भाई
कैसे Put your heads together. It's been 2 rounds. There's still 2 more to go in this half. What do you need to do?
मैं मॉनिटर के आगे रहता लेकिन मॉनिटर नीचे रहता मेरा मतलब है
had the information, that neural dev gave them enough to know that Naos are really quickly just kind of hurrying through obstacles to run into that B site. So kind of committing to that decision there was maybe a little too hasteful from Global Esports. I'm not sure at what time the clock was ticking. I didn't kind of catch that, but I feel like Global Esports need to maybe take it a little bit slow when they've got a little more information. That neural dev gave them everything to win that round. They found Ja as well popping out through that smoke. Maybe right now they need to kind of hold and see where Naos is starting to push, because Naos
बहुत toxic है बहुत toxic है
they were in the first couple of rounds.
I mean, this is an important one for Global Esports as well, right? Look at their credits at the moment. If it's lost, you're playing with a couple of lesser weapons in the next one. No real ultimates built up either, so there's a big premium on figuring out this round at the moment. And you're immediately getting counterspammed. Util trying to get on in, and flashes around, and there's no kills just yet until finally Patrick dispatches of his counterpart Neon and overstays his welcome.
Yeah, a barrage of utility there. Yudotan gonna be left again once on mid. And pretty early into the round, that he's trying to find a pick off. He does miss the timing onto Javi, but Javi, look at him. He's actually crawled in towards mid. He's going to try and maybe get away. The timing is off here, and it's all going to be on Yudotan's pick. If he finds Javi, or Javi finds the flank before he does, but just put the pressure on them. Poppy's gone. That's going to be no smokes, and they cross each other, and Yudotan's been found. The timing's off, and Naos have probably gotten the round in their hands just on the back of that kill.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is as well, what timing do you want to see from Nexi around the map to be able to use that neural theft too? He's not going to relinquish control of the A site that he still has.
तुम्हें लगता है third map तक जाएगा?
Well, you're playing a numbers game now as now, so you're waiting to see where Global goes, because what have you already considered?
Third map तक जाएगा?
They use their utility to gather some of this B-man control. They don't have any ultimates to throw into the mix. Yeah, Eman doesn't spot anything with that relocation from the shadows, yields nada.
मेरे को पता नहीं क्यों गठरी नहीं जाएगा.
You've still got 20 seconds on the clock, and as soon as Nexi sees any liquid damage, they rotate over. Global Esports have to multi-frag early in this post plan.
Yeah.
आज बहुत छोटी-छोटी mistake हो रही है इनकी, बहुत छोटी-छोटी.
दो मारेगा यो काम दो मारेगा.
Swing out comes. The stun is a little too late. Kelly it could have been a little earlier. The timing was just off.
Wall bang.
They know exactly where he is as well.
चल भाई तू तो मार अबे यार चल वैसे सेव राउंड था
misaligned. A little bit of miscom, I feel like. I'm not sure if the stun was available. Maybe the fault line was just not there because they spotted him earlier.
यहाँ पे 2 मारने थे क्यों नहीं मारा मेरे को तो समझा नहीं.
Half a second earlier.
The problem is they spotted Nexi out over a spawn and they weren't exactly sure.
मैं बताता हूँ क्या हुआ है. मेरे साथ भी होता है. उसने 2 बंदे देखे. दोनों बंदों में कंफ्यूज हो गए किसको हेड में मारूं और बीच में मार दिया उन्होंने. उन्होंने बीच में मार लिया.
But also then assisting the team for their peak, and it does come down to that literal half a second difference.
और ये हरकत करने में बहुत गुस्सा आता है खुद पे कि भाई एक को तो मार देता.
Now this is the other end of the stick that I was talking about.
I guess same उसके साथ भी हुआ होगा.
हाँ वही. उन्होंने सेंटर में मारा दोनों.
Getting the plant actually and a little bit of the damage, they still do manage to muster up an okay purchase in towards this round.
TT push है.
भागा रे.
We saw this yesterday on Sunset against OG. That triple split they do towards Market B main and towards Link. Back into respawn. Great kill. So a little overextension once again from Patrick. But he did do enough.
हाँ चल ठीक है ये भी गया.
Not gonna be the case. The plant's gone down. It's a 2 versus 3.
Plan किया है ना.
हाँ. To kind of isolate the fight onto the player on site. All he needs to do is anticipate any throw. Slide's going back up again.
सब पड़ी पड़ रहा है भाई.
He's gonna let his teammate do the bit of suppression for him. Further he goes closer. Gets the first. Josh doing everything.
चल भाई डिफ्यूज दे. डिफ्यूज दे तू.
All he needs to do is just stay alive.
भाई.
Defuse and he doesn't even need to do that. He gets the kill from Poppy as the nervousness of trying to run in towards him and fight him. Give is now 7-5. Slither lead, but they will find themselves ahead at the end of the first half.
Always one of those, situations at the end there where if you're Poppy, it's really? We gave him the ultimate? Because there's no way you're winning that. Even if you win the 1v1 in the Gulag, you got to get time to run back to the site on someone who probably has already stuck the defuse just by how much time is actually bought by Jar in the ultimate, right? So, yeah, really unfortunate for Global Esports at the end there where they go in, guns are blazing, right? Lightning Fingers activated over for Patrick, getting up through the guts of mid, wrapping around, opening up on towards Moja. You got Crystal, who as well is throwing in towards that Hunter's Fury, right? It's looking pretty plausible for Global, but at the end, doesn't really happen. And another big salute over to Jar, I guess I'll say in this one too, right? Because his kills on that defensive side, ending with 17 at the half. He's only up from here.
Yeah. Now it's pretty quick B hit over here. They've gotten control pretty easily, and they should be getting the plant done in just about a second. Mosier has found one. Now Xavi goes in. Actually, never mind. They don't want to go for the plant here. They just wanted to fight straight up, and they want to make Global Esports feel the pressure. And that's left the IGL alone, and he's going to go down as well. Ja is on a roll, and so is Mosier. But now as a team, are just taking control of microsectors together, and they're doing it really well. I thought they were going to go for the plant man, but then comes the flash from the main side from Nexi, and it was perfect to set up Xavi and Mosier both together.
As soon as you feel like there's 2 or 3 players and you've counted that bit of early utility in towards market, you kind of know that you can't slow it down and that you've got to keep on going as well. I mean, contingency out from Jar, you're following that, you're seeing no recovery from Global Esports to try and challenge and getting back in towards the side.
भाई कुछ की चैट में ना ज़्यादा पढ़े लिखे लोग आते हैं, ज़्यादा पढ़े लिखे जो लड़ाई करते रहते हैं और YouTube पे आते हैं अनपढ़.
And for Global Esports, I mean, this round was sorely needed, I feel like, to get a goal on this defensive side.
भाई YouTube पे कल मैं देख रहा हूँ रूशी को गाली दे रहे कि इंडियन प्लेयर एक भी नहीं लिया. जी हारनी चाहिए हट. रूशी को औकात दिखनी चाहिए कि इंडियन प्लेयर नहीं लिया. अबे भाई इंडियन प्लेयर सिलेक्ट हुआ ही नहीं.
देखो पता है इंडियन प्लेयर कितने आए थे
कितने?
सिर्फ 12. ट्राईआउट्स में लोग 12 लोग आ रहे हैं और इन लोगों को 6 साइन कर रहे हैं. चल 5 मिनिमम. 5 प्लेयर तुमको साइन करने थे, खाली 12 लोग देने आ रहे हैं. उसमें से भी 400 लोग ने फॉर्म भरा. समझ रहा 400 लोग. तू रेशो लगा 12 में से 400 का क्या रेशो बनता है
यार? ये बात उनको कौन बताया जो थोड़े वैसे से हैं.
वैसे मिनिमम क्राइटेरिया थी कि तुम लोग 2 एक्ट है ना रेडिएंट होने चाहिए.
हाँ.
ये बंदा जो लिख रहा है वो है थोड़ा काठमांडू का चूतिया, तो ये होगा सिल्वर या मैक्स टू मैक्स क्या गोल्ड.
सिल्वर प्लेयर बहुत अनपढ़ सिल्वर आयरन प्लेयर्स
kind of adding up to his skill tally seemed a little too low for him.
देख भाई अगर देखो इतना ही है ना, मैं एक देखो सिंपल सी चीज तो सोचने को बोल रहा हूँ। देख पहले तो इंडियन ऑर्ग है, वीसीडी में वीसीडी तो छोड़ दे, इंडिया के लेवल पे सबसे पहली ऑर्ग है जिसने फ्रेंचाइजी स्लॉट लिया है, अर्न किया है, ये बहुत बड़ी बात है।
अगर कल को जीतती भी है तो ट्रॉफी इंडिया ही तो आएगी,
इंडिया ही आएगी, वो भी एक बात है। दूसरी बात वहाँ पे जितने भी स्टाफ है, जितने भी ओनर्स है, को ओनर्स है, सारे के
पैट्रिक को हटा दिया, नहीं पैट्रिक को हटाया नहीं, पैट्रिक अपनी मेन अकाउंट से खेल रहा है।
हाँ, उसने नाम चेंज नहीं किया बस, और कुछ नहीं। वहाँ पे तुम लोग सारा इंडियन स्टाफ है। सियोल में जाके उस बंदे ने कंपनी खड़ी की है भाई, आज तक तूने सियोल तो छोड़ दे, तूने आज तक कभी अपना पासपोर्ट बनाया है क्या? पहले वो पहले बात कर,
वही जिन बंदों में पासपोर्ट नहीं वो बंदे बात कर रहे हैं कि भाई
घर के बाहर गया कभी अपने
घर के बाहर गया होगा, वो मम्मी वो बहुत चाटा मार के क्या बिस्किट लेके आ, वो करने गए होंगे ये लोग।
दुनिया देखिए बाहर
काठमांडू के चूते।
And now into the freshie as well. I mean, look at this pace change coming out from Global Esports. They are the aggressors on this defensive side. It's Yudotan for 3. Bazavi, he's looking for more. Uni, it's not happening.
और होगा क्या,
you
कल
miss
हम
it.
लोग ने 5 इंडियंस को लिया,
होगा
क्या अगर ये लोग हारेंगे ना, तुम अल्टीमेटली फिर गाली दोगे रूसी सर को जाके। हाँ हुआ था 2022 में जब SEKIRO की टीम थी, वो जब फ्रेंचाइजी स्लॉट नहीं मिला था तो लड़ रहे थे वहाँ पे, अपने एपैक रीजन में कर रहे थे वो लोग, तो
मेरे पे है पासपोर्ट।
हाँ
अबे तू राजवीर चुप रह, तू मत बोल बीच में, तो अपना लीग ऑफ लेजेंड खेल जाके।
Poppy went down pretty early by the way towards lane, and that I think kind of helped Yudotan because they didn't expect him to be there as well, pushing out towards
आगे जाना है।
Yeah, you got to talk about a successful bonus round to start off your endeavors on this defensive side though, and that's exactly what you love to see from Global. Yudotan as well, who also available on the flip side for Jar, who's still silently achieving what he wants to on this attacking side, getting that kill contract to be available too. So in this slow scaling up through B main is a little bit more rapid as Global Esports are not moving and budging from A whatsoever. This might actually transition into
एक
an
चीज पता है,
early retake.
तू फॉलो करता है नहीं करता है, मैं जो NA की टीम है उनको अच्छे से फॉलो करता हूँ, इंडियन टीम को भी फॉलो करता हूँ। वहाँ पे एनर्जी फॉर्म करके एक बंदा है, पता है ना देखो, वो चैट वाले को बोल रहा हूँ भाई सुन ले, वो बंदा ये है फ्रेंचाइजी स्लॉट का एनर्जी में उसको स्मोक्स प्लेयर है और सेंटिनल प्लेयर है, ठीक है, वो बंदा खत्म।
चैट वाले बंदे कौन से चैट वाले बंदे हैं? ट्विच की चैट हो गया, मैं तो ट्विच की चैट में पढ़ रहा हूँ।
हाँ तो वो 12 घंटे मेहनत करते हैं भाई, 12 घंटे।
अरे मैं बताता हूँ, इंडिया के ई स्पोर्ट्स में आधा टाइम क्या है कि आधों को बस ई स्पोर्ट्स में नाम नहीं ई स्पोर्ट्स में थोड़ा सी नाम बना के उन्हें जाना है कंटेंट क्रिएशन लाइन में,
हाँ
कि पैसा बन जाए वहां से। उन्होंने मेन वो नहीं करना ई स्पोर्ट्स, जैसे रॉसी है, रॉसी मेन भाई, रॉसी मेन फोकस ही उसका ई स्पोर्ट्स है, कंटेंट क्रिएशन कम है।
ना के बराबर है भाई, अपना वो रेगुलरली स्ट्रीम करेगा, क्या व्यूइंग नहीं आएगी क्या? 1,000 की व्यूज आराम से खर्च लेके रखता है वो, हम हमेशा, वो भी उसका कितना 1.5 लाख का खाली उसका अकाउंट वो है, 1,000 2,000 लोग देखते ही देखते हैं उसको, लाइटनिंग फास्ट को देखते हैं भाई।
right spot to play on his utility, and it's not there. He's gone. So the rest of the squad, they fall like flies, and now it really is the time for Global Esports to try and take some further space, try and change some rotates, I feel like, because if this round does get dropped, well, it becomes bad to worse, and now the jig is up. Positions are revealed, and this is immediately going to shift into a quick post for now.
Yeah, it's
an easy one. This one they're gonna get the he has insurance as well in case things go wrong. Xavier is gonna keep that in his back pocket, as the Naus might be getting a little itchy to actually, you know, kind of push out, maybe explore some regions, make Global Esports feel more pressure. But they regrouped. Global Esports have regrouped, and they've just kind of made Patrick check tiles just for a second in case Nexi was maybe, you know, thinking about rolling around there. Now to burst out, there goes the stun from both their agents. There is a counter stun as well, not going to be good enough. The flash is going to keep them back. He needs to get in here, Patrick. So much util being dumped here. Mosier, ready for it? No, he isn't. It's going to be a burst on the face. Once again, it's the Sheriffs. It's the Vandals. One by one, the weapons being exchanged, but they're still doing the damage. Global Esports continue to somehow work their rounds.
and they work
भाई
hard.
खतरनाक राउंड निकाला
पैट्रिक को गुस्सा आ गया भाई
Not too afraid of the
सब
time
लोग लो
spike
है
at all.
बट
It
देख
seemed
लिया
like they could have gotten a little nervous because of that.
Imagine कर कोई
भाई क्या
Waited
रीटेक
patiently
निकाला है
to find
भाई
the right time to set up.
उसका वो डार्ट मिस हो
And
गया
if he hadn't gotten that kill onto Mocher, I think that
विफ भी हो गया ना एक तो अपने जा का
That's not a.
भाई
that's not
जाके
Patrick,
केडी देख एक
who,
बार
that's
भाई
Patrick, yo, because my jaw dropped to the floor a little bit. I don't know how he's been able to survive in that one. Honestly, there were a lot of chances that players had guns ready, and it was just him on the screen. But that's just the open areas that the members of Naus are actually sitting in towards to allow that one to come towards them. And at the end of it, I mean, there wasn't enough damage delivered to global members for the Hunter's Fury to find any of them, right? 3 quick bombs.
भाई ये ट्विच में गवार ऑडियंस कहाँ से आ गई लड़ाई करने
No time to get any shock darts out and deny that defuse as well. So
ये इतना ज्ञान कौन दे रहा है डीसी पे बैठ के आजा डीसी बताते
generally it will be your duelist or generally
मेरा दोस्त है
a star-studded clutch player like Papi on the roster, or you've got somebody like Yudatan who has just been so consistent in bringing forward clutches and bringing forward consistency.
बंगाल रहता बंगाल
You know, those are the players you're looking for. But the young gun, the new fresh guy on the agent that abuses things, that's a big one. That's a huge one. That's the way that global esports get back into this game.
Absolutely. A timeout here that was called in by now.
भाई 23-10 भाई
I could see that, Juby was giving quite a bit of instruction to his team as well as to how to proceed in these next couple rounds because they desperately need to cover up that deficit that they've gotten so far.
You know what it is?
Do have
Step 1, destroy Jar. Step 2, well, nobody else is shooting, so win.
I get that. I've seen that script before, and it seems like it's gonna be Patrick that's trying to do that. Great, he's already in their spawn. Ja's gotten one though. Patrick's doing the rest of the work for his team.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of duelists.
Jar gets kills, the rest don't. I mean, it's still happening.
Like I said, I've seen that script before, and you exactly Ja, he's gonna lose this duel. It's gonna be Patrick once again.
Ja ko mara.
The lightning strikes 3 times this time around. A 4th
Patrick को आ रहा है comeback है
Shavi's gonna take him out 1v3 now. He's got a minute to work with though, so could make a good play. But look at the positions of these 3 players. They're so far apart at the moment. 2-1-B.
उसको बोला होगा go tiger mode.
You got to consider this as 1 versus 3, right, Uni? You just got to group up together. If I'm looking over at that radar and I'm seeing 2 trap wires at the A site against the Sova, I'm probably just repositioning that trap wire that's on the site itself and cordoning off the site completely in its entirety, right? You then don't even need to give it a chance.
इसे बोल दे चुप हो जाए जी का कोच नहीं बनाएंगे इसे
false start. I mean, that location is expected to be false, so this should already be giving you the 100% security that it's ending to be.
Yeah, most certainly. Xavi's just going to slowly crawl in and look at that. They call the rotation. They're going to go in towards Market now, expecting him to be there on the site. Xavi's got no idea. Market is pretty much open. He's going to have to play on the back of his gut here. Needs to go for the plant. There comes the sound. Yudatan's going to start rotating off. Stun comes in through.
There's no time.
You don't know that he's actually back to sight. And yeah, there it is. The stun lasted long enough for Kelly to swing him out and take him out. Global Esports on 8. They're going to slowly creep in closer to Naus here.
अभी भी buy round है ना उनके पास.
Because Naus do have one more round, in terms of breathability. Because even if they lose this one, they're still in the lead by at least 1 round.
ये देखो पता है कहाँ का copy है?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing again is just brilliance from old mate on the neon, right? Patrick Hu just running around, guns ablazing, lightning strikes 3 times as you mentioned. But once more over, it was Jar yet again looking for the kills around the map. You take him down, and it feels like it makes things just a little bit easier. So we really have a massive duelist battle to be prevalent in this map right now, and it's going to continue on again with a massive installment.
NRG तो मैं सुना बहुत पिटे थे बहुत
NRG अभी क्या खतरनाक बन रही है भाई सेंट्रल क्लास हो गया देखा तो जीती थी वो
Yeah, actually great retaliation for
Cloud.
One paranoia was actually
all
of them.
Last month ही वीडियो देखी पिटाई लगी हुई उनकी
नहीं कहाँ पिटाई हुई है कुछ भी बोल
I'm not sure
देखना पड़ेगा
हो गई मैच हो गई इनकी भाई उनके घर पे वो हुआ था
ओ
Kelly has finds the third, brings out his sheriff. Will he find the fourth? No, Shavi's gonna take him out there. But Crystal makes sure that the flank from Nexi is not gonna support him any longer. The drone has to make things a little bit easier. Once again, it's gonna be Xavi in a 1v3.
He's just going to walk into the crosshairs of both of these members.
Yeah, patang.
Instant
Nice
decapitation
one,
again from Patrick. He has certainly awoken in the later stages of this map. And it's good adjustments from Kelly S in this scenario as well, right? When you've got the utility coming through, you're not turning around to dodge any flashes as well, because, you know, you got to recognize now I'm playing Breach, now I'm playing Gecko. You can see the trail that's coming your way if a paranoia is there. So it literally is crosshair focus, aim train on your opponent's gunplay for global esports, which I really feel like in these past couple of rounds after that thrift, recognizing that now से playing numbers.
मेरे को नहीं लगता भाई अब निकलेगा अब थोड़ा नाउस आएगी भाई.
On what positions they want to tackle. If Global have recognized that, they are playing the game that they should be right now.
Oh my god, look at the aggression here. Josh been taken out by
भाई जागो मारा वही.
Look at Kelly S, another great position. The IGO will only get one though. Trade off is instantaneous. Now able to maintain man.
जागो मार के ना गेम में अपने में वहाँ पे कैली वैली सब जितने क्रिस्टल
ऊपर वाली चैट पर ये बंदा कितना वेला है, हर मैच का हर राउंड याद है भाई, तो देखता है टूर्नामेंट, उसे देखने पसंद है मेरी चैट में.
For a retake, the ultimate would be large if he goes for a mid traversal. However, he doesn't necessarily need to give it up early because there's no advancements towards the spike sites yet for Naus. He's still got his utility around the A site, so he's okay for himself to dance there. And good initiative from the remaining global members to take B main space. They know it's either mid to B or it's mid to A because this util has seen nothing. Dark cover one way over it short will disincentivize any pushes there, but also give up some information to Naus that they can start to wrap around this site to A. And there's that info from the camera uni that I mentioned earlier.
बाद में आ जाइयो.
कोई बात नहीं. कितने बजे आप पर मैं
नाउ प्लान.
Walk in from main, and that's going to be the problem. 2 versus 3 now. Drone to reveal a little bit of information. He's got one smoke to work with. Maybe can isolate a little bit, but look at the amount of smokes already on that site.
कंपनी क्यों फ्लेक्स कर रहा है?
One of them's faded away. 2 of them
भाई
gone.
तू वेला बोल रहा है ना, इसके लिए
And
मैंने
there comes
बोला
the flank
ना.
now. Shavi's taken
वेला
advantage
मतलब
of
मैं
the
काम धंधा
information
नहीं
that
कर
he's
रहा
gained.
हूँ.
He's going to create some chaos for his team to actually walk in.
तेरे को नहीं है.
No, back they come from elbow. Smoke's going down. Out comes the lightning from Mosier. Gonna be enough for him.
1v1 ओमन.
Once again.
Oh shit. Oh भाई निकाल गए. 3v2 आ रहा है भाई, 3v2.
As Poppy, the man himself, the king from the Philippines, clutches it out for global.
अरे तेरे एज के जितना है क्या ये बंदा?
Why does anyone remove Poppy from Omen? He is the Omen agent player. He is so significant when it comes to relocation and timing on from the shadows, shrouded step locations, but also recognizing just pure timing on when to use an Omen's abilities and when to not as well. Sticking it to Eman at the end when the dark cover goes down as well. You think you've thrown a dark cover as an Omen, you think you can move kind of immediately, right? You got to wait for it to bloom. You got to wait for it to become cover, and he doesn't. A little bit unfortunate for Naus, but amazing for Global.
Yeah, and once again, they just carry on that aggression that they had. But look at Mosier, he's found his own.
Okay, bye.
Global Esports take mid. Now say we're gonna just kind of wrap you around and take B.
TCS में जॉब नहीं लेता मैं.
TCS बेटा मेरे को 4 कंपनियों का ऑफर आया है. उसमें से TCS को मैंने ठुकराया है.
Once again, he's in the same position as he was.
The only real problem right now is the Spike is in B main and Jar is in their spawn. There's no Omens available to relocate whatsoever to the side of Naus, right? So they are a little bit stuck on this eco territory situation. Neural Theft in is just going to secure where Jar is and where the Spike is currently getting planted.
मुझे क्या, मैं तो unemployed हूँ.
But you're really going to try and defend it. You're going to be able to do it. No, you're going to get eaten by Hunter's Fury. And nearly dead for Moja. So, I don't know. 2 versus 3. Oh.
Side छोड़ के भाग जा.
There's a cage. So Moja needs to be careful. He's going to play a 1v3. They're going to swing him out. And they're going to take him out. Global Esports solidifying.
भाई जी ले जा रही है bro. जी ले जा रही है OT.
गया भाई comeback किया. Third map.
Put up 11. And their aggression seemingly continuously working for them as they don't now compared to last map.
ये बंदे LE go क्यों लिख रहे हैं भाई? Lethal Esports कब की बंद हो गई?
Letting Patrick do his thing go alone.
Lethal Esports चली नहीं.
They're sticking so much as a team and it's working out perfectly.
और Lethal Esports का मेरे को सीन बताया, मैं दोस्त ने उसकी टीम में था वो. Lethal Esports में main player jet खेलता था. बोलो भाई पैसे ही नहीं देते.
Jar has really slowed down on the kill department as well because he's been
तो ये
punished,
राजवीर को वहाँ पे ही लगा
isolated.
देना.
He's not able to find a lot of the space, and Global Esports
टीम
aren't
बंद हो
giving
गई.
him the
शायद
opportunity
कंटेंट
where
क्रिएशन टीम हो गई
they're
अब.
working around individually anymore, right? They're together as a unit, going fast in a couple of these early rounds.
मार्जिल गया तो था लीडर
Jar is
Esports
kind of
में.
relying upon has been these
बीच में मार्जिल को ला रहे थे वो.
This double tap is activated for him to refresh and play back on the timer. He's not been
But
able
मार्जिल भी ज़्यादा टाइम टिका नहीं.
I am looking at the positioning in this round for Global Esports. If you want to counter a kill contract, playing in standard positions, standard lanes on that B site particularly, is not a very good realization on what you might be expecting from Naus at the moment. You hear the shock dart. That's got to give you information as crystal that this ultimate could potentially be coming on in, which it does. There you go, and it's dodged as well. Really well done from Crystal to move away from that one, but technically you have relinquished control of the site.
Yeah, now they're going into market. Oh, this is what we were afraid of. They did it the last time as well, forcing Global Esports all the way back, even from market, finding two, and then look at how quickly they've repositioned as well. It's such good discipline from Naus. Take early control, fight them, push them back, and then go back yourself and play in great post-line positions. This is a great retaliation from the Filipinos, but can they hold off on the retake that's going to coming in? It's still a 3v3, 3v4, forgive me. One on site, they take him out. It's going to be 3v3.
अबे भाई.
Just keep shooting bullets, one after the other. Now it's relinquishing control here. Next he does the one. He's going to have to stay alive for as long as possible.
3v3. Nice. 2v3.
Right now, but his teammate is too far away, and there's no way they can stop him from defusing. Poppy's gonna get it all the way down.
बैठ जा.
भाई उन्हें क्या उछल के टैप दिया ब्रीच को, वो देखा? कैली इसको क्या पड़े है?
I want to give massive props to Papi's paranoia in that one as well. The fact that goes down onto the side at the right time, allowing the team to get the kill on the attempted cross from the stairs to the main as well. You can see that now they're trying to try and play from a post plan in a 5 versus 3 spike down moment as well. That is a huge recovery to come through from Global Esports. And then at the end, recognizing that, hey, Sova's nowhere near the action. We can defuse it if we waste it.
एल लग रहा था भाई जो अभी फिट रहा है पता नहीं जा. भाई इन्होंने डिफेंडिंग में अटैकिंग कर रहे थे, ये देखना. इन्होंने पूरा प्ले स्टाइल ही चेंज कर दिया. ये देख. Crazy high.
10 seconds in the round and has a kill.
पकड़ा ही चली है.
Yeah, the pressuring market once again.
भाई ये टीम होती है मजेदार. जैसे पीआरएस कैसे खेलती है.
How quickly he's come on the flank. He's gonna lose his ultimate though in a couple of seconds.
पीछे से घूम के आया बंदे.
Bank upon his guns and Udotan does his best. Keeps market in his control.
Nice, मार दे चलो जा
one by one.
नहीं
And it's all on to Eman to hold this corner. He's not gonna be able to do it. Jaws all by himself. Can he
ओ अगर ये निकाल देता ना भाई.
pull off sunset in the back? We head
बोला वो चैट में कौन था बंदा?
13-10s in a row to come on through. This is what you call competitive gameplay. Great
मैं डेफन हो जाता हूँ.
for Global Esports as well.
ये मैच के बाद ही बुला लो.
बोला ना 2 मिनट में आएगा, मेरे को टीवी देखा जाएगा.
आजा भाई आजा. स्कर मैं डेफन हो रहा हूँ.
2 मिनट मैं हाथ धो.
डेफन या मैं डिस्कॉर्ड ऑडियो म्यूट कर लेता हूँ. मैं भी तो सुनूंगा. डिस्कॉर्ड की और नहीं जा रही स्ट्रीम पे. चल बंद कर दी.
Valiant attempt for Jar. Once again, by the way, a brilliant performance over on Split. Doing the same thing over here on Sunset, but just not another now. I mean, we are all squared tied up going into Haven. And remember, folks, we did see a Haven yesterday, and we did see how strong it was for Global Esports.
Yeah.
It was close.
It has been, it was close yesterday on Haven, and now do have a good amount of reading that they could do from yesterday's game that they had, Global Esports had, and given that Naus themselves are coming off of playing Haven against Rapid Lo-Fi, I believe in the upper quarterfinals in stage 3 of SEA, they did win that game 13-6, so they've got a pretty solid neon comp as well on that map of Haven.
जाने भाई क्या परफॉर्मेंस दी है.
Have to tie their shoes a little bit more tighter than they did last time around because
भाई जा को मैं देखूंगा भाई. जा का एम देखना है मेरे को एक बार क्लिप्स वगैरह.
If at all, maybe if they change things again.
नाउस जाए ना ठीक है.
Another different,
7 फर्स्ट ब्लड है भाई. 7 फर्स्ट ब्लड.
I'm not going to be surprised. In fact, it's only going to give us more entertainment watching that next game. But this has been Yeah, go on.
I'm looking towards what we saw last time on Haven for now. Sinjar actually was playing the Omen, right? So it's either going to be something refreshing and new again, like this map was, or it's going to be going back to something that they've already tested.
इधर क्या राजवीर भाई, राजवीर वीसी आ जाओ, 5 बंदे आगे भाई. हेलो, कोई ग्लोबल ई-स्पोर्ट्स है, प्लीज जर्सी दे दो. थैंक यू. अच्छी जर्सी है आपकी इस बार.
We're going to find out pretty soon, aren't we? Because we do have Haven coming up at the end of this little stint that we've got. Now, I wasn't expecting, and of course, doing the veto for, Juvie to actually go for Haven. I thought he's going to, ban Haven and go for Pearl.
तो सच में मैसेज आ जाए भाई. भेज भाई एड्रेस, हम तेरे को भेजेंगे जर्सी. गेम कब खेलेंगे भाई? बस ये स्ट्रीम के बाद मैं थोड़ा सी चाय पी के असैसिन क्रीड की स्ट्रीम चालू कर दूंगा. असैसिन क्रीड खत्म करके फिर वो एंडो पैरासिटिक डाउनलोड करेंगे.
3 players exchange up roles from the previous to this one could be a possibility in the next one as well. And
यार चेक करूं मैं यार एंडो पैरासिटिक भाई. अबे लॉग आउट क्यों हो जाता है बार-बार?
what happened the previous day?
गेम में लॉगिन भाई.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking towards MRM at the moment as well, right? In the kind of lacking performance that we see on this controller role, he's going back on towards the breach. I feel like he's a little bit more fluid when he can get that out over on towards Haven. But then again, we are just seeing who performed yesterday on Haven against Orangutan, right? It was the opening map, so I think that actually has something to really play for it as well. Map number 1 with this new roster in the official capacity was the close one. When they recognized what they needed to do, the second map was pretty flawless from the sunset, right? Now it's a new team. They've had 2 maps with a good amount of rounds to consider when we've got both of them ending 13 to 10, right? That's 23 rounds per map. Some great tape that they can reflect in their mind at the moment on, all right, we know what worked for us yesterday on
भाई वीसी आ जा. राजवीर किधर रह गया?
From now, so what we haven't seen and
डरता है क्या? बड़े राज्य लिए तूने चैनल मेंबरशिप ब्रो. आओ वीसी.
We know what our strengths are, we know what our weaknesses are. Let's play towards them coming on to map number 3.
नहीं
If you've got a new
वो तो उसने
strategy
की होगी इंटर्नशिप.
for global esports,
कर तो रहा था, यहाँ आया था दिल्ली.
For now, I mean, let's see something new, I guess, if you want to, but I would personally like to see their old agent pool shine through again.
दिल्ली आके फिर नौकरी मिली थी इससे, पता नहीं छोड़ दी इसने की नहीं.
The players are just going to take a little bit of water break, and so we'll be right back with Haven to see who's going to end up at the end as the winner. Just take my time.
दो हो गए. एक एस्पर है मेरा, ये रेगुलर व्यूअर, हाँ स्ट्रीम देखता है. अरे एक तो यही है राजवीर, आ नहीं रहा. राजवीर एस्पर चैट में अगर है हाई लिख दे. हाई, सारे हाई लिख रहे हैं. राजवीर कम वीसी. Como estás? चुपचाप देखते रहो, टाइम पास मस्त हो जाता है. हाँ राजवी लिख रहा पढ़ाई कर रहा. मेरे को व्हाट्सएप पे. आएगा आएगा आ गया, आएगा. है दम है. कौन आ गया? यही तो है. मैंने डिस्कॉर्ड म्यूट कर दिया भाई. हाँ म्यूट है, नहीं आवाज आ रही. मैंने कहा आजा, मैंने कहा पिज्जा आजा। मंडे नहीं, आज ट्यूसडे है गरीब। अबे जान है जड़े। मैं नहीं करता, मैं भाई मैं देखता हूँ, स्पेक्टेट करता हूँ और वो करता हूँ। मेरे को कंटेंट निकालना है लफड़े से। मेरे को लफड़े का कंटेंट आना। यार एक बार किया था मैंने, वो क्या बोलते हैं, नोएडा वर्सेस वंश का डाला था वैलोरेंट के अंदर का लफड़ा। मेरे को हेट कमेंट आ गए, ये जो तेरे जैसे बंदा है ना जो लड़ाई करवाते हैं, इस वजह से वैलो ऐसी है इंडिया की, ये वो। मैंने कहा है। मैंने कहा मैंने क्या कर दिया भाई। मैं बैन हूँ। किसने? सीधे बोल नहीं, लीटल भी आ गया। स्ट्रीम लाइक कर दो। पिज्जा जो कॉन्सेप्ट में देखा वहां पकड़ लेंगे। बस होने वाले हैं। क्या? वैन कोड? वैन कोड बोल रहा है? अबे ओए, कल वंश हैक हो गया, पता भी नहीं कैसे, ठीक है? तो तू बच के रही हो मतलब
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a third map ahead of us. It's been quite neck and neck between these two teams. Naus and Global Esports have taken a map each, and they've won their own respective picks. Now we're heading in towards
आप आठ दिख रहे हैं मेरे को
भाई 9 लाइक थे 8 क्यों हो गए एक कौन अनलाइक मार गया
कौन कौन
क्यों भाई
राजवीर ही होगा राजवीर ही होगा
हाँ भाई मैं ही हूँ
देखा जा लाइक कर फिर
मैं नहीं कर रहा भाई 500 रुपये लूंगा एक लाइक के मैं
जा डिस्कॉर्ड से निकल जा
क्या कर रहा है तू क्या हो रहा है ये
क्या
ग्लोबल ई-स्पोर्ट्स की स्ट्रीम में इंटरनेशनल लोग क्यों दिख रहे हैं मुझे बाहर से लोग
अबे मैं भी वही सोच रहा था मुझे समझ नहीं आया
इसके रोसी पॉसी होते थे ना इसमें तो
अजीब से
भाई क्या बोल रहा है
क्या
from what we saw yesterday against Orangutan, right? So getting out of the gates straight away, it's shaking off the nerves in yesterday's series. It's figuring out
SKLOC injured है ना
if we can. Right now, it's a very different scenario, though, right? It's 2 maps done and dusted, 13-10s, really close action.
भाई
This is a series now that really can go anyone's way.
Absolutely, and it's given to the fact that Naus have got the potential to
CS वाला 4 सेकंड नहीं मालूम होगा ना
against some of these big teams right there, right? Global Esports, of course.
उसका बैन अभी तो 1-2 महीने पहले हटा है
a month and a half, probably 2 months old.
भाई क्या हो गया अब तो एम्प्लॉय बन गया एम्प्लॉयर
difficult for them to create that chemistry that Naus have been building for I think at least about 2 years now.
भाई
We will be seeing what Naus can do best on this map of Haven. They've played it a multitude amount of times, but
एंटीडोट है एंटीडोट और मार्जिल एक टीम में और उनसे बढ़िया पता है सुन भाई इसमें भी है नेपोटिज्म है भाई उनसे बढ़िया एक बंदा है जो खेलता है उनके 6th मैन है वो मेरा दोस्त का दोस्त है भाई वो सच में बहुत अच्छा खेलता है उन बंदों से भाई इनका नहीं दोस्त का दोस्त है वो मेरी उम्र का है वो अबे ओए
That's why I was a little bit surprised coming into Sunset that, we've got the Neon with the ISO, right? I could see that probably being a possibility. But I'm also looking towards a weakness on the side of Naus in that series as well, right? It was Eman on the smokes, let's be real. So
वो मजाक में बोल रहा है ऐसे ही
because that's the only scenario that I can really see in how they continue a double duelist lineup. It's if Jar's on
मजाक में बोल रहा हूँ
Eman is on smokes because you're not
उसकी क्लिप डली हुई है मेरे चैनल पे हाथ जोड़ते हुए हाथ जोड़ते क्लिप है वो मेरे चैनल पे मेरे वीडियो सेक्शन में जाए वहाँ पे हाथ जोड़ते हुए जो बंदा देगा वो यही है म्यूट हो गया
I don't want to say mundane, but it kind of is mundane meta agents.
Yeah, it's kind of gone that direction where just if you're not playing the Neon and Breach, you almost like, it's just you cannot take that.
मैंने AI जनरेटेड यूज किया तभी तो 120 व्यूज है वरना उससे पहले इनसेन मोबाइल डील वाली है उसमें 32 है देखनी ना
It's pretty easy to get that, but hey, we will talk about what's going to happen on Haven from the side of Global Esports.
अबे हाँ मेरा कुछ भी है लाइक मेरा नो जॉनर चैनल में लिखा तो है डिस्क्रिप्शन में नो जॉनर
Gets a little bit
कुछ भी डालूंगा। क्या है भाई, सब्सक्राइब फॉर मोर मस्त तो है सेकिरो सेंसर।
Hey boys, we're playing a little bit more confidence. We're gonna play these 2v2, these 3v3 situations with a little more confidence, no more sit.
इतना धीरे चल रहा गेम बोलता।
And in general,
अबे एक तो ट्विच में कहाँ से आने लग गए यूट्यूब का बंदे।
play, but you guys will see in the server different changes. You guys let me know.
I mean, to be fair, I did, see we all
अबे बट
see in that last map, right, of Sunset, the 3v5s, the
अबे भाई
3v4s that you guys
इंडियन ऑडियंस का भी तो फर्क पड़ता है कि कौन पढ़ा लिखा है कौन अनपढ़ है।
even though now we're in such good both positions, these players figured it out really well. Clearly, the calling these both positions was really good, and they understood, how to counter and made it really
अब
great.
जय दिल्ली में तू जगह क्या एक अच्छी जगह से पूछेगा और एक जमनाबादी से पूछेगा तो भाई दो अलग आंसर मिलेंगे।
Kind of maybe put out a statement win on this map of Haven, or do you feel like Aorus are going to give you just as tough a competition as the previous two maps?
हाँ मतलब पटेल नगर का अच्छा होगा, साउथ दिल्ली का थोड़ा हवाबाजी।
This team is always good, and when Jaw's playing like he's playing, bro, it's tough, man. This guy's plus I don't know 37 it feels like. He's just running around.
नहीं ऐसे ही बनाया था मैं तो।
If we can shut him down, we can have a couple of wins, but
यूज के लिए।
it's gonna be easy for sure.
What I'd like to know if that on that map, if you can even.
मैं तो खुद बोल रहा मैं तो बोल रहा था मैं तो हूँ।
To kind of have Patrick be fast on the defensive side and get into these duels really early, or did the team decide to do that mid game?
No, it's definitely a plan in general. That map in general, Sunset.
मैं डर गया।
Be aggressive. If you're playing Neon and you're not being aggressive, you're not being aggressive. That's just the reality.
They did find a counter maneuver for your plays, right? Every time you grabbed a little bit of a aggressive control towards B main or A main, they would instantly find themselves in your spawn at times.
तो बोल देते उन्होंने एक्सेप्ट भी किया है।
Was that a call from you during the timeout where you were kind of
क्या तुमने बोला नहीं तो वही तो मैंने सेम बोला। मैंने कहा आजा।
In our spawn, what was the time? What was the things happening in that timeout? If you give us a little insight of that.
No, I mean the reality is that's the first time I've really seen a team consistently react that way. Most teams don't react. They might go to the other site, but very rarely do they end up in your spawn. 6 rounds and a half. So it's definitely a unique look for us, and it's something that we had to adjust to. But we came with the dub.
अभी नहीं होंगे ना, अभी तो $100 पे होंगे।
Yeah, I mean one of the
16 बहुत है बहुत। होंगे एक भाई पहले ये भी तो नहीं हो रहा था, मोनेटाइज भी तो नहीं हो रहा था।
Number one, did you expect Jar to be coming out with the ISO? And number two, those retakes that you guys are coming out with, they're at the back of sight time and time again. How did the team kind of
तो भाई हो जाएगा,
change those retakes in the end?
आगे ये भी तो होगा।
Yeah, I mean it's just an adjustment.
अबे तो वॉच टाइम ऐड मिलते हैं भाई 1000 सब्स पे 1000 होंगे 500 भी तो हो रहे 500 हिट कर रहा अगर मैंने तो 1000 भी कर ही लूंगा। और नहीं भी है तो क्या भाई घर का काम है मेरे पे।
Yeah, man, at the end of the day, by the end of the season, I want that to be one of our strengths is that we can adapt to anything another team does and have an answer
मेरे को क्या है?
waiting for a timeout.
Yeah, well, we're heading into Haven now. They've played double duelists so far in both the maps,
क्या उठा देते हैं?
Bring out the ISO. Are you expecting a double
व्हाइट फ्लैग क्या भाई, जो सच है घर का है, अपना चल रहा अच्छा खासा, मैं उसमें चले जाऊंगा।
But they could throw a curveball. Do you expect them to throw a curveball towards you?
I expect them to put Jaw on ISO again. That's what I expect. So we'll probably see the Fnatic comp. Honestly, that's what I expect.
नहीं आजकल पापा भी नहीं कह रहे, पापा भी एकदम बस बैठ के आ रहा है बस। अबे नहीं, पापा आजकल मतलब उस पे ध्यान दे रहे हैं ना, बाकी चीजों पे, ऑटोमेशन पे चला गया अभी। तो मतलब उन्होंने देख, अगर ये भी तो एक बात है कि ऑटोमेशन पे अगर आ रहा तुम्हारा तो मतलब मेहनत करी है पहले।
Could play that Yoru, or will he be sticking to the Neon if at all? They go for that confidence.
His Neon was a little bit disappointing on Sunset. So I think if you want to change it up and get a little bit of extra comfort and change it, and you've got, you know, no immediate
क्या नहीं सह पाता
in this sort of game coming
क्या
forward, I think maybe sure. Why not? Throw it on the Aorus. Let's just do it.
Yeah, I guess let's just go ahead, find out. You know, what's the draft looking like? The agents are being picked up as we speak.
अबे वो
And we've got okay.
ना नीचे
That's all right, no problem. We've got
तेरे पे क्यों है तू क्या कर रहा है तो
Yeah, they're doing it. Okay.
Yeah, he said it.
जॉब ढूंढने के लिए
Global Esports going to be sticking to what they know best, as now is really feeling comfortable on that double duelist, it seems, as we continue further on to
इनका तो सेम ही एजेंट लाइनअप है भाई सेम हर में
aggression being at least in the game plan for now. But once again, is this going to be something that they play like Fnatic, or is it going to be something like Sunset-esque, where if at all global
yes YT audience is so branded and painless
going to try and push them towards B, to maybe force up a link, make them feel uncomfortable? Because if a similar game plan is coming in from Sunset, Haven is a map where using that kind of positioning, where you get into the enemy's region of spawn, is actually a lot more useful than just Sunset, because of how big and, you know, how much variety of you know, movement you have on this map.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your first question that you say a little bit earlier, are they going to be able to play it like Fnatic?
भाई वही
It's always going to be one of those things where Fnatic is a team that is always tried to be emulated. You know, they're one of these top teams for a reason. But you also have to consider that Durka on that Yoru, he finds so much space and so much impact for like Althea to get those kills on the ISO, right? So I'm looking towards this one, and I'm considering, are we going to see the same sort of consistency and ability from Moja and from Jar on these agents? And C and Garage splits are pivotal of ability.
Oh damn.
Like this. And they're already holding W into a smoke the different way. Like, what can you do?
Yeah. Yeah. Nexi's gonna hold on for as long as he possibly can on the back of site there.
भाई Radiant बड़ी क्या प्यारा लगता है
Forgive me, back of garage, outside of garage, as he's gonna wait for Global Esports to make their move. But he's going all out towards this stone region. Now they come, one for him, another one to fall. No, it's gonna be Xavi to shut them down. As now is go for that aggression once again. They're not afraid of holding the front lines. Something that they should have considered on Sunset as well. But there's maybe I can see them treating this Haven C site as something that they did for the Sunset B, right? Like in Sunset B, they go for that
cardboard वाली
they want to go aggressive from the site itself.
मेरे समझ नहीं आ रहा उसके अंदर वेरिएंट क्या है वो क्या मतलब बाकी स्किन के वेरिएंट है वो सारी मतलब सारी फैंटम होंगी
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a pistol round gathered by now, right? So if you're looking for differences, you are really looking for your rotation timing, I guess you'll say for now, right? But you flip it
finisher हो उसमें
and I'm kind of considering for them, what differences are they doing here compared to yesterday, right? Because you saw firsthand, Uni,
फिनिशर सेम ही होगा ना बस उसका वेरिएंट बदल दिया
Global are playing against the Orangutan, right? Who run around the map a little bit for themselves as well. In towards this one, right?
खाली है सी साइड खाली है पूरी खाली है प्लांट
Secondary round where they stack towards A. So you'll give this one, but come gun round, right? Are we seeing more aggression from Patrick? Are we seeing more setups to come through from KLS? Like, these are the questions that I'm going to be asking to really see how are you putting your
वैसे में एक बंदा बी पे बैठा हो बी लिंक से क्लियर
Well, once again, we go on that eco, and Global Esports in this series have been pretty good on these rounds. As Deep Smoke comes in to try and let them get out of here. Ja initiates his shield as Xavi 8K tries to get a kill. The stun is perfect. Both
टर्न भाई अपने बंदे हो गए उसके भी यार इन्होंने बाय क्यों नहीं किया नाउस वालों ने आधों ने
But the damage done by Global Esports is pretty significant. Multiple weapons dropped here. Emin gonna try and run away with that Vandal, but he's gonna be allowed to. Yeah, he's gonna be allowed to. Yokum had to die to the spike there.
भाई ऑलमोस्ट हो था ये राउंड बाय नहीं गया इधर ने
Now it's gonna be getting away with a scare
पिस्टल पे
Yeah, close to the end as well, right? Lots of kills to come through. It does look awkward. I saw that undercut go through and I'm thinking, no, yeah, pistols, you know, 1 or 2 shots, they're dead, they're vulnerable. No, it looks a little bit more awkward to come on through, but Moja stabilizes, and now Uni is the important one. Kills collected earlier on means more vulnerability because of all of those light shields on the side of Naos, but more importantly, more strength over for Global just on weaponry, utility, shields, and early information where now you gotta be a little bit more cautious if you're playing by yourself as Udaton. At least you're still getting trapped by it currently that wasn't destroyed by that Shocky.
Oh, the tripwires allowed him to get in.
भाई योरो बहुत सही है ऐसे ट्रिप में फंसाने वो. Oh damn!
Gets away with it as well. All the way
Crazy.
He goes as instantly the trajectory has changed, and now on the back of Moja's ultimate now, thanks to that.
A side छोड़ भी दी भाई.
The A side for themselves, which is completely, by the way, empty. A great.
भाई A side clear, plant दो.
That's actually huge. The fact that he does pick up Dimensional Drift on the back of that kill actually means that they can full pivot and full path into this A side to establish an open home plant with a one-way. You have to go quick as Global.
Yeah, you have to, and they're going in as well. Nothing gets through, the trades are there, but now it's doing that bit as well. Too much chaos.
Team Ace भाई, Team Ace हो गया. जो बसड़ मची है ना.
But in the end, it's going to be now coming back on top. Global Esports, they start off on Haven once again with a little bit of uncomfortability. But this kill, man, was everything for now to win that round.
Chat में लिखा है imagine losing to a tier 2
Apex.
I'm
thinking about the differences if Udaton finds that kill compared to not.
Like,
you put a stopper on any C progression because Davi still falls back in that scenario to assist with the rest of the team now. Changing course over towards A. You don't have the clearance factor of the whole side as well. You don't have the rotation coming through from.
ये वो होते हैं जो मतलब जिनकी रैंक ऊपर जाती नहीं कभी, लेकिन ये esports को इतना सीरियस लेते हैं जैसे इन्होंने सब खेला है.
Kind of sets the scene for the whole remainder of the round, and we're back on the foot for Global Esports where they
कितना परफॉर्मेंस कर रही है, क्या कर रही है.
आगे परफॉर्म करे कितने ऐसे परफॉर्म कर रही है. प्लेयर पे मैट्रिक नहीं होता.
By that deep trap wire, and poor unfortunate Udaton again is in a 1 versus X scenario by his loans himself. Good for a bit of chipper damage, yeah, for sure, but still looks for
काउंटर पता है क्या है? ये बोलते हैं tier 1
now I'm pretty sure
भाई वो tier 10 का player.
Yeah, you can go down. Another one. No, Kelly's gonna be finding that trade. They do have a vandal work with John. Activates that shield. Instantly taken out. The double tap is gonna be still available to him if he finds a kill. That is. He's can't see to find it, but he's gonna let his opponents come to him. Emma's gonna do all the baiting work now.
tier 10 का
Shot's gonna get one. Emma's gonna follow it up.
एक बंदा लिख रहा है how is the tier 2 team beating T1 team.
Number 4. Pretty simple.
That we good now.
Not too much loss, just a one man.
So
and Global Esports now have a buy, but this is going to be a very important buy for them to win.
Yeah. Bit of a leak over at this seaside at the moment as well, isn't there? Udaton's utility just completely disrespected by shock bolts and by fake outs too. So I'm considering adjustment period is in order for Global Esports in that little scenario. Maybe a bit of deeper utility. Maybe you play bodies a little bit closer. You know, there's no neon that's running in against you, right? There's still forward pathing from these players. If we're not seeing Moja gate crash deep in towards the site, you kind of can set yourself up for holding strong angles around the site. And you have to have this very real discussion. These are the sort of early scenarios that a team like Naos will set you up for when you see the same sort of utility, you're expecting them to hit C and they immediately don't. It's another fake that comes through, right? So there's a very large importance right now and a good discussion and decision to be made for Global Esports. They've found some success creeping up through A, right? Are they going to try and get an operator on the A line? Or are they going to put Patrick over at the C line potentially? These are the things that you're kind of rambling against in your head, and I'm looking at the radar now, Uni, and I'm seeing positionally, we're going to get the Neon operator peek down through sewers. Potentially Crystal sets him up with a dart, and they change it up where they have a little bit more bodies over at the seaside.
Yeah, it could be a bit of a troublesome peak for him though, because look at it now. The entire team right now is going to be aggressing on towards A, and the cage is going to protect him. The camera's going to push him off as well. Ja has been recon.
How is the tier 2 team beating T1 team? एक बंदा लिखता है
Get away from
रहने
the
दे भाई
dodge right
मत बोल
now.
कुछ नहीं
And he
क्रिटिसिज्म
knows that
हैंडल
the ops
होता
here
टाइम
now,
आउट दे
they
देंगे
know they gotta play safe. They're gonna get the undercut, the paranoia, everything comes through. Shavi's entering the site. They push the op behind, and Mojer is gonna make sure that he does not push any further. Weapons being exchanged. Double tap activated, but he's going a little too far. The one way.
थोड़ा ज़्यादा सीढ़ी पुश मार दिया भाई.
And one after the other. Instantly, Global Esports capitalized on the mistake made by Job. He went a little too deep and gave up his life, and that was
Push,
the point.
push,
So
aggro,
alright,
बहुत.
that's it, push it and take him out right now.
अब सामने वाले बंदे कर रहे हैं उसकी गलती जो वो कर रहा था. Patrick.
Available to try and buy time, but it's exactly as you say, it is go time to get in there nice and early as Global Esports. You're ripping the neural theft in the mix. You got a Hunter's Fury as your own as well, but it really is just no two left feet to come through from Patrick. He's making sure it's one in front of the other. And the kills are being collected for him and the squad on Global as well. So you're on the board, you reset yourselves mentally and physically into the server, but I look towards the ultimate lineup on the side of Naus and I think, uh-oh, Hunter's Fury still available. You've got, you know, Nexi as well available with the neural theft, but more importantly, mate, you've got Jar with the kill contract.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go for it.
KW का मतलब पता है?
There he goes.
W भाई YouTube chat में.
And it's gonna be Kelly. Yeah, Kelly. He's got the duel as well. He's gonna win that duel, and that's a free kill for him.
Oh damn.
Patrick, he activates the other side of the map.
Oh damn.
That fight. And Global Esports losing members on every part of Haven right now. Taken out, and that's gonna leave the one and only Crystal alone on the A side. And I'm pretty sure he's not far away from being hunted.
A little bit confused for a couple of members on Global there. You know inside that you want to try and get the kill. You want to find the space for more impact in the team. When you lose a kill or two at the very beginning, you know, you lose the Gulag 1v1 fight. You lose your lightning guns over at the side of A as well, right? These two ultimates that are both, you know, one for each side. Gulag strength for now at the end there. I mean, you see the neural theft go down, and you're always going to understand. I want to get in to garage. I want to find some space. I want to try and get a pick and get out. You know, bring this round back into it. And it just doesn't happen at the end. Crystal only good for one on the escape, by the way. So far for now.
The utilization of that, you know, kill contract. They know exactly, you know, how to move in the minute they know that, okay, you know what, one player has gone out of the site, we have to rush in as soon as possible, even before, even if Ja loses that fight. But I think the big problem that ended up happening was Patrick's kind of impatience to kind of, you know, activate that overdrive and move in from the main side, and he lost his life there as well. Exactly. So that was a problem. Now they're pressing on C to get a little bit of information and close out this part of the map, because now they've been abusing it every single round. And Global Esports with a deep smoke. Not too much control, but they have numbers here.
Yeah, but the problem is, look at the utility. You still got the shield. A lot of it is peppering through, but the bullets at the moment, they're training in crossfires. Swift past the eyebrows, but it doesn't really matter for Global Esports at the moment. That's not the target.
अबे यार smoke push बहुत गलत था.
And now it's all on to the Crystal man. And once again,
फिर से Crystal पे आ रहा भाई.
Where are my friends?
भाई Heaven dominate. Heaven इनका मैप नहीं है. चाहिए वालों का Heaven मैप नहीं है भाई. मैं समझ गया.
They've got the rolling thunder now, so there could be a little bit of a retake gameplay that could help them, honestly, because of the pace at which Naus are constantly abusing that C site. I feel like the Rolling Thunder is a really effective tool for them to kind of just push them out of the site, take good fights, set up, you know, Patrick in good positions with that ultimate and the rest of the utility that, you know, Kelly can provide as well. But it's all going to be a question if or not Global Esports are going to actually, you know, continue on that path of, you know, aggression on that C side or not. What do you think, Komodo? Should they play a little bit safer now that they've got? No, I mean, it is an eco, but I'm talking about the, you know, the next round maybe.
The problem
is just individually the kills aren't being collected for Global. It doesn't really matter as a team at the moment, right? It's just the isolation of a couple of these Global members, and it's just the scaling of utility that now are throwing their way, changing it up from this C utility dump pressure, from this dry peaks coming on through. Now you're staring against Dimensional Drift, right? You still got that Hunter's Fury if they get pinged out. General combo that comes on through. And
deep जाते हैं.
And the kills are there. Finally won by Kelly, but it's exactly what I see. It's like magic. You read the script. Dimensional drift, ping out an opponent, distract them out with the goo on the screen, and Hunter's Fury comes on through, and things just crumble for Global.
Yeah, Crystal will find the one trade, and that's going to be it. It's still a 3 versus 2. It is actually doable. They've got 2 weapons now, and even though the drones are currently being exchanged, they've spotted one player. They know that Patrick has got a lot of utility. Recon's gone out. Stun comes through. He's missed that opportunity to take that kill down. He's
Oh.
slid out. No, he couldn't. He should have slid out there. Just probably pick up.
Oh भाई सोवा डिफ कर रहा है क्रिस्टल को भी
7-1 पे मार किया क्या 13-1 होगा क्या
I want
क्या
to
लगता है
highlight
अभी
for
यहाँ से
those
कहाँ
that might
जाएगा
have missed
9-3
the game yesterday, the Haven result for Global
जा
Esports,
सकता है
they had
9-3
8
हाँ
rounds on their defensive side. And you know,
या फिर अगर ये गलती से भी 11-1 हो गया
5 attacking rounds, the half was 5-7 by
भाई
Matt. It's always scary to broadcast, but we're there. It's now 7.
हेवन पे भाई ने फिर
11-1 हो गया ना भाई तो मेरे जिम में
And we do have guns, at least 4 global here, 2 light shields, but
भाई
you know, just the
मतलब हेवन में फिर इन्हें थोड़ा सी ना स्ट्रैट पे वर्कआउट करने जाता है कुछ नया सोचना पड़ेगा
they'll get on through. The only difference being that they have a very quick flank.
ये देख अल्ट आ गई ये ले जाता है फिर मार देता है वहाँ पे अल्ट में ले जाके 8-1 में ये देख मार गया
And that's going to call in for the retake. It's a 3 versus 4. Patrick's on the flank.
बैकस्टैब आया ओ भाई शिट पैट्रिक ने हक दिया
What have you done, Patrick?
यार
Patrick, how? Kelly does have the ultimate, and now that ultimate might end up going for a waste unless, of course, he executes it. Yes, he will. Find the player up close. It's a little too late. Javi expected it, but just the movement was a little too off.
Push.
Has to go back. He's going to wait for Ja to come on from the other side. It's going to be clear. Raining shots from him. Only the one, though, for Ja. It's going to be Emin to clutch it out.
क्रेजी भाई बच्चे FNC वर्सेस लाउड मेमोरी आर कमिंग बैक अच्छा अब तेरे को कैसे मालूम है FNC तू बड़ा वेला नहीं है FNC वर्सेस लाउड मेमोरी हाँ
When you've got Eman coming through on that one, I see a dark cover available.
ऐसे आ जाता है यार भाई देखा अभी फिर मैं इसको कुछ बोल दूँ फिर ये रिस्पॉन्ड कराएगा
अरे वो FNC वाला
the guys there, but they end up both
फनाटिक वाला जो कमबैक था
अच्छा फनाटिक FNC वो है हाँ लाउड फनाटिक हाँ ये पावर में क्या 11-3 भाई खतरनाक कमबैक था वो फाइनल में
एक बंदा ट्विच की चैट में लिख रहा है पापी भाई पप्पी दे दी यार भाई क्या है भाई ट्विच
मस्त ये काम ने मारा
इसे क्या लग रहा मैं इसे बोल रहा क्वेश्चन मार्क
नहीं रे मजाक कर रहे हैं मैंने मस्ती तो ली अभी यार वो यार कैली नाइस वन डर गया तो भाई मेरे को लगा नहीं मारेगा
पापी ले लिया है
भाई जावी ने 2 ले लिए
रे यार अंधों की तरह जा रहा है
भाई हाथ का राउंड
जेन्युइनली हाथ का राउंड था 3v5 था भाई
अवेयरनेस भूल रहे भाई गंदे तरीके से अवेयरनेस
भाई बेसिक्स है भाई बेसिक्स चलो सी प्लांटिंग
डाउन बैड ब्रो लिटरली
सॉरी
एम है अवेयरनेस नहीं है टाइमिंग का पता नहीं एंगल क्लियर नहीं कर रहे
भाई FNC वर्सेस लाउड सबसे बड़ा एंड नोन मैच है वैलो का इसलिए पता है हाँ वो तो था मैंने ही देखा था
लॉक इन पर सबसे कर्स्ट मैच भी था
9-3 का हुआ था उस पे
हां
पता क्यों कर्स्ट नहीं वो 9-3 वाला नहीं पता क्यों फनाटिक जब ट्रॉफी जीती थी ना एयरपोर्ट पे उसकी ट्रॉफी टूट गई थी
हैं
न्यू मिली थी उनको हां ये बात सच बोला उसने
पर उसके बाद से उन्होंने एक भी जीता
क्यों साउ पॉल के बाद वहां पे भी तो जाके जीते मास्टर्स क्या हो गया
वास्तव उससे पहले जीते थे ना
नहीं पहले साउ पॉल जीते थे फिर मास्टर्स जीते थे
अच्छा हां बराबर कंफ्यूज हो गया मैं
फिर कर्स नहीं है
कर्स खाली ये है जो चैंपियन बनता है वो कर्स हो जाता है कोई भी देख ले
भाई बट 3 बड़ी ट्रॉफी जीती है FNC ने भाई 3 बड़ी ट्रॉफी
3 का भी
2
ने साउ पॉल एक मास्टर्स बस
when I see the scenario
दो भी भाई crazy है.
तीसरी देखिए वो जब सबसे पहली मास्टर्स हुई थी सेंटिनल वर्सेस फैनेटिक हुआ था तब हुआ था उसमें रनर्स अप आए थे बस फाइनल्स में उससे आगे पहुंचे ही नहीं ये लोग
ओह टैप दे दे भाई शील्ड होती तो बहुत ज्यादा
try and make it a not a 10 to 2 half, not a 9 to 3 half.
क्यों देखिए भाई हेवी पुश एग्रेस कर रहा है भाई ये एक को मारा चुप करके जाना पीछे
Global Esports have stuck
एक
their
ट्रॉफी
gut
दो ही
of
ट्रॉफी उनके पास
sticking outside that C site. All four are here. Just one player hoping that nobody finds them from B. As now it's just quietly find their space into the B site.
Yeah, we'll scanning ahead eventually. We haven't really seen too much B-side endeavors of eventual plant locations, have we?
Be clear, be clear, be clear.
So I kind of feel like it would give a
man.
little bit of an incentive for Patrick to maybe even use the overdrive.
Shit.
Well, you called it. There he goes. He's gotten the first, and now there's 3 more to go. Just preemptively making sure nobody's coming in through that smoke so that he can find a free kill if at all possible. There's a stun that comes through. He puts his own. Patrick finds a second. And once again, it's the overdrive that's creating the chaos, creating the difference. And he's going to make it work all the way.
भाई बहुत बफ्ड एजेंट है भाई अल्ट में तो इसे ना बहुत भाई क्रेजी है
काला भाई राउंड काला
Who would win? 4 fully equipped gun utility boys or 1 Filipino zippy zappy girl?
Zippy zappy.
That is disgusting.
9-3
run around on Neon like that. That is absolutely
हो सकता है 9-3 हो सकता है
shouldn't happen.
9-3-8-4 देखिए probability तो 2 ही है अभी.
We're waiting for the Neon nerf comments right now in chat. I mean, of course, G fans would love to see this being exploited, but remember, guys, other teams can do this as well.
G winning on individual brilliance. भाई individual brilliance की बात नहीं भाई बाकी भी अच्छा खेल रहे हैं.
भाई उसको सपोर्ट दे रहा है वो स्मोक
कौन है ये भाई क्या
कौन है
साइक द वाइपर मतलब ट्विच की चैट में
Dummy's experience on Neon and showcase over at Ascension was probably the
decisive सबसे थोड़ी नहीं लड़ते बैठूंगा बैंक से मेरा माइंड पक हो जाएगा भाई ठीक है भाई नहीं है वो इंडिविजुअल परफॉर्मेंस
little bit overpowered.
Okay.
तेरी गांड लाल तो तेरी गांड लाल.
You still at the end of the day have to be able to put your mouse at the right spot, right? And you got to be in the right positions. So he's done well to at least try and bring a sense of
nerf Ja for real man for real.
But I mean, there's still death by 1,000 cuts for the team of Global Esports on this defensive side right now, and there's not enough bandages to stem the bleeding. Though I will add, Uni 9-3, yes.
भाई जागो एक अच्छी टीम मिलनी चाहिए.
To win at the half, but there's an 8-4 that Global could still get.
Yeah, and I think they are gonna try extremely hard for that. They do have 2 ultimates right now, and pretty useful ones as well to kind of gain control. A site's been given away from now says they want.
Why nerf Neon when you can bring back Jet old right click 2 updraft 3 smoke and Reyna 4 util back in the game. अच्छा भाई मतलब सबको बफ कर दो.
सबके साथ खेलेंगे.
भाई सबको बफ कर दो हाँ वो भी ठीक है भाई देख जेट
फिर लेके गया ये मार के है भाई मार के है तो दो टर्न मार के है
See, he's got good position right now, but he's in trouble. It's gonna be Patrick.
Right, left to check the
Xavi taps him out. It's gonna be Crystal to trade him out once again. Nexi keeping things alive at the moment. He's got everything to help him out. There comes the new theft. He's gonna try and stick the defuse.
भाई क्या उसने रिवील किया?
ओ एक सेकंड भाई एक
0.03.
0.03.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
You have to have your crosshair almost at the right position for when that ping of the neural theft comes out to win that one. If you're off by the size of your opponent's head at that distance, you don't get the kill. And you don't get the round. 0.03, man.
Even if it hit Yudatan's hat at the side, I think it would have not probably registered that bullet.
He didn't have the hat. He already used his neural theft.
He used his neural theft as well, Man, that
9-3 हुआ साला 8-4 का पूरा चांस था.
Look at this. He's reloading, and he just gets off the reload at probably 0.04 to re-equip the gun and get the single tap. That is insane.
I can already see Boom Esports' flashbacks from Ascension Final and Pacific, man.
भाई chat में लिख दिया प्रणव तेरी मम्मी डी
4v5 भाई, come on.
Yeah, opening
Damn.
towards Naus as well.
Cock dot damage.
I will add, causing some positions to be noted down deep in mid as well, but Jar has been spotted out at the front of B.
Poor guy. Blinded, stunned, and decapitated at the same time. Nexi does get one. Gonna have to cover back. Kelly almost got taken out there.
1 HP है भाई, 1 HP है.
On the back of that kill, travel to the A site and make sure that's where they get the spike down to the ground. It's a 2 versus 2. And Kelly is actually pretty low right now. That stun is perfect. Nexi jumping around. Pretty lucky that Poppy's not decided to spam into that smoke.
Yeah.
Last player
together as a team, comparable HP at the beginning. But Eman, he has the betterment of it in the end on a Kelly. Yes, I was looking uni at that 2 versus 2. The Omens had the HP, it was the other guys that did not. And for Eman, he's able to close that one down. I like the assault onto B. Don't get me wrong from Global. I'm just surprised that they actually did decide to go back over towards the A site because the
Global Esports message reply देना उनको YouTube पे.
Gets Crystal. If it does go the other way, the round probably does end differently.
क्या है YouTube पे?
Go towards Global. And I'm exactly on par with what you
Global
said as well. I'm surprised that Poppy didn't spray the smoke when the fault line goes through and then jumping.
Yeah, he could hear him jumping pretty clearly. I think even a bullet or two would have helped a lot. But now make the best use of that situation. They get the arrow advantage. And the outlaw comes out. Leaf in the wind. Poppy does get the trade though. Xavi overstayed his welcome. And that's the ace that actually opened up. Unless, of course, Nexi has something to say about it. This force fight from Global is going to be proved to be make or break. Because if they don't win this round, it might be the end of this series right here. Because they'll get up to 11. And then it's going to be an eco, which will give them match point.
It would be a mountain to climb and you don't have the right gear, that's for sure. But
I think it's GG. I think it's GG.
This round, right? A bit of a reset onto the time. You still do see 2 playing around this A site. You still got Nexi with his camera available. You can tap that out. You still got the trapway there as well. He's the one who's low on HP, however. And with nothing seen over at the C site, nothing over towards the B site as well, I think now's cottoning on to the idea that it was just a time reset back over towards the C site. Great cover timing. There's not much you can do about that if you are Global Esports.
यार इसके साथ scrim किया इन्होंने जी वालों ने.
Even if you do try to wait it on out, it's not really going to do too much, is it?
One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left.
Rape हो गया.
Spike down A.
Perfect for Mojo to get in at the right time.
क्या भाई क्या बोल रहा है?
Make sure that nobody's pushing up Ja from the other angle.
मेरे को बोल रहा है.
हाँ.
जी के साथ जो PRS का किया था ना लोग.
नहीं अभी क्या बोला था तूने?
Finishing things off in style. And now
रेप हो जाएगा ना उसका. 3 लोग बचे थे. क्या ही करेगा वो?
Scrape the bottom of the barrel to actually get back into this game.
11-3 कर्स. अबे 11-3 कर्स कौन बना रहा है?
11-3 9-3 बोल सकते हैं. 11-3 भी होता है कभी-कभी.
2-11 कर्स देखा है मैंने. 11-3 कर्स कभी नहीं देखा मैंने. 2-11 देखा है.
12-5 देखा है मैंने.
2-11 कर्स मैंने खुद ने कर रखा है भाई.
To build character,
12-5 मैंने VCT में देखा है.
To continue a growth development, which is exactly what they're looking for right now. But for now, I mean, they're still looking for that on their own.
Nice.
And Jar, well,
Jar को मारा.
Juni, look at that one. He actually drops the first kill.
Yuratan.
अबे FNC और से लाउड में भी 11-3 था. अबे FNC और से लाउड अलग है. ये अलग है.
Reclearing the space that Esports just got in. Drones coming in though towards A. I'm not sure they expect this. Perfect. Xavi gets the first one and instantly Global Esports are now stunned to go back and Evan stops them in their tracks. Kelly will get the trade back, but now they're not backing away from the fight at all. The recons reveal both of them. Crystal is gonna get Xavi. Yeah, and they're now just going all out to fight this out. Must have been a little bit easier, but now it's a 1v2, and both these players are one shot from the outlaw, so they need to be careful because they know that Mojo's got this outlaw, by the way.
30 seconds left.
Yeah. The only thing is the timing is well in this one out. There's the first fake out two. Don't forget.
No,
why?
Why?
Where are the comms?
Make a big deal about it.
Oh no,
man.
where is the idea that
Bhai,
one's
ghum
coming
gaya
from
kya
there?
apne
That is shambles. And now it is map point and match
भाई
point. Theory's
कुछ
point.
भी भाई
Now and Uni, there's 9 of them.
Yeah, there are.
मैच पॉइंट पे आ गए.
With me here was the fact that Naus, even after being revealed, even after taking so much pressure on towards mid, they still stuck to that fight. And they brought it down. The two players who were there, they just committed. They said, okay, you know what? No matter what, we're going to get away with as many kills as we can. And they made sure that the situation at least came down to a doable one for Mojo. Right, honestly, now
13 तारीख के बाद कमबैक होगा. हाँ कल हो जाएगा. कल हो जाएगा.
तीन लोग के बीच में मुंह पे ठोक के आया उसको.
इंडिया में.
Gotta say, Patrick has had a phenomenal series over the first 2 maps.
कल आ रही है announce video. SEKIRO is back.
As well, when they do start to regroup together, so you've got to see some individual brilliance through from Global to get back in towards this one. They've lost control completely over.
SEKIRO सबको मार रहा है भाई गंदा वाला.
Too much of a fortified wall to go and get through too. Sappy utility that's there and the 3 members. But at least they navigate away back in towards this seaside. Hey, off-putting Eman back.
भाई fallback crazy है भाई. अपन ने भाई अगर रैंक में देखे ना, रैंक में कोई फॉलबैक नहीं करता. ईगो पीक है भाई कि आगे आ गया अब तो मार के जाऊंगा एक.
And while the stack on A is going to be pretty good for them to instantly make their rotations available, Global Esports will find it for free. Smoke's going down instantly. Yura-tan, do you want to challenge that smoke? No, they're going to just hold on to this and play for the Rolling Thunder.
You have to Rolling Thunder and take deep space though. I feel Global at the moment. You can't allow for the dimensional drift to come through, which they do, and now Jar finds Crystal. Things go from bad to worse as it's all coming to a close. I don't know how Zavi managed to find one there. Positions found on Yudo Khan with the neural theft coming on out, but Jar is on a rampage.
GG's भाई GG's.
Tap onto the D.
GG's.
Mojo is the neural theft again, but the defense is just being stuck at the moment. They say nay. As Mojo will put a close on this one and Jar with the defuse universe. It's 13-3 to Naus. Oh Lord, Haven is their playground.
Man, that was a strong showing from
चलो भाई.
start to finish.
अब कल मैच करेंगे बाकी. बाय बाय.
Pretty that ISO Eurocomp. They've really showcased it in the best way possible, and I think that Global Esports have a lot of loops to fix, man. A lot of it, of course,